Hello and welcome to an all-new episode of Yeah, I've Played. As per usual, my name is Matt Hall, and please, everybody else, introduce yourselves because I don't think we always say who we are and what our names are.
That's
I might say Matt and Jordan, but I'm realizing a lot of people who listen to the show might be like entirely mixing us up.
There's a very good chance.
Listen.
I'm Andrew Taylor.
Don't fuck with that.
No, I'm Jordan Hill.
And I'm Andrew Taylor, the one with the weirder voice than the other two.
I don't know about
The
that.
more insecure one of the three.
No, I like it. I think it's cool and sexy. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I
just
like how
think-
weird I am.
I just think
It's sexy like Pee Wee Herman.
I think I stand out sometimes in the vocal category. But what are we here to talk about today, Matt? Aside from our names,
and the timbre of our voices.
yeah, cadence, timbre.
Timberland of our voices.
Timber. We're going to talk about Max Payne 2, The Fall of Max Payne, a film noir love story.
That is the full
Is
title.
that the full title?
Yeah.
That is the full title.
It is the full title?
Much like how
Oh.
Alan Wake was a psychological, thrilling action adventure
Well-
explosion literary blast. Like, it's-
In your
It did say Alan Wake, and then on the box it would say a psychological thriller. I don't think that it was in the title
No.
as much as
the
Max Payne title.
Yeah.
The Fall of Max Payne.
And I didn't look this up ahead of time for some reason, so I'm doing it now, which I apologize for. I'm usually
Hidden Machine exclusive.
yeah,
very like over prepared for this. But the game was released in October of 2003, and I follow a few different music and game journalists online who basically have shown through different texts, magazines, trade magazines, press releases, that almost every time you see a release date on Wikipedia or anything where it's like, happy birthday to this thing, it's almost always wrong. So I'm going to say, take this with a grain of salt, but October 14th of 2003.
Okay.
It came to the PlayStation 2, the original Xbox, the Duke, and Microsoft Windows.
There you go. PC
2003. Were you guys both born in 2003?
Masters. Fuck off, yeah.
Briefly before, yeah.
I'm serious though. I don't know. Like,
No, I'm almost 30.
Yeah, I was born in 94, so in
Yeah, we're
2003.
both 94.
okay, I have no idea how.
Yeah. We were both like 10.
Yeah. Okay.
9 or 10. Mm-hmm.
So did you guys
when I-
play this when it came out?
Yeah,
Were you aware of it?
I said, what is Max Payne? And I put it in and I said, Mona Sack survived? And then
It's not that crazy of a question.
No, I didn't play Max Payne.
No,
2.
I
1
did-
or 2.
I
or
think
3.
I remember at that same age, I was really infatuated with gaming magazines. That was like the coolest fucking thing in the world. And I had what was it called? Electronic Gaming Monthly, I think is what it's called. You guys have that one? Or like the PlayStation?
EGM, yeah.
Yeah.
Famous game
Game
magazine.
Informer.
Game Informer.
Yeah. I feel like I do remember seeing Max Payne, but thinking like that's for the adults, and I did not.
I was very much at an age where I was still playing Diddy Kong Racing and Mario Kart
Yeah.
and Star Fox and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I was not yet murdering mobsters over.
Give it a couple years. Give it
Yeah.
a couple years. Yeah. Did you play it when it first came out?
Seamless transition. No, this game actually sold a lot worse than the first title.
first one?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
get that.
it was not a as much of a success. So
Were there other big titles around the same time?
around 2003,
Yeah.
I'm
Probably.
sure there were. But also, I mean, if you look at the marketing, like the first Max Payne game we have here, you can see he's a fugitive. It kind of looks like he's like, in the spotlight, and you can see the police tape, a man with nothing to lose, everything ripped apart in a New York minute. It's like, it's very edgy. The box art for Max Payne 2 is inspired by this in a way, but they basically simplified it to just the posterized like images of Mona and Max.
Yeah. And it includes in the title noir love story,
Yeah, which
then you're like, oh, that doesn't, you know what I mean? That's not going to get me rock hard.
and I remember watching an interview with someone who was close to the production at the time being like, the title was too much. It was, and the marketing was not really, they just felt like some people felt like maybe it wasn't handled great.
I had already left by the time the box art was finalized, but I don't think I would have used the cover the way that it ended up. The name of the game was just so long and it took up so much space. Max Payne 2, The Fall of Max Payne, a film noir love story.
And so, just to give a little context before we get into discussing the game was developed for Take-Two Interactive and Rockstar. Basically, as Max Payne 2 was announced, they also announced the sale of the Max Payne franchise to Rockstar and Take-Two.
Goddamn.
I'm kind of using those brands interchangeably, but Take-Two Interactive is the parent company that owns Rockstar.
Yep.
And then Rockstar did take on Max Payne, and over the course of, I think, 8 years or so, released eventually, Max Payne 3.
They ran the series into the ground. We're just kidding. That game's actually not as bad as everyone says, but we'll get to it.
Find
Yeah,
out.
we will get to it eventually.
Yeah.
So this was developed for Rockstar, and it was kind of the first time that a big video game IP like that was changing hands without the studio also being sold off.
Yeah.
Right.
So the fact that Remedy could remain independent and still,
And from what I understand, they were kind of just like, we're going to dump a bunch of money on you to make this sequel, but then we're taking it from there.
yeah, they took
And
everything.
Remedy
The
was like,
game engine, the whole shebang.
they were kind of like, cool, we'll make another one. We think we can, but we'll just make another one. It wasn't like, we need to make this amazing experience, but they still delivered. I
No,
think it's a really great game.
Yeah, I've seen Sam Lake in interviews say that they didn't write Max Payne 1 with a sequel in mind.
Right.
It was pretty much like that's the story. Very self-contained.
They left it, and I think obviously we'll get into it. That should be the motto of the show: is we'll get there, we'll get into it. But there's a couple things that I think that were set up in the first game that in the second game you're just like, okay, that doesn't seem logical for how the first game went. But they left themselves a couple things where
I think they found those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did because they were not. They intended to not do it at that time.
Because
Well, not-
anything, stories are always open-ended to a degree because you
Right.
can't cleanly tie up everything if it's realistic because
Yeah.
people are living lives. But like they did clearly pick up on a couple of things. But like you said, some of it felt like a little bit like they tried hard.
yeah.
You know what I mean? To kind of carry this through.
some
or to,
characters that you're just like, their behavior doesn't seem to be in line with who they were in the first game.
Or even-
But, eh.
There's one, we'll get to it obviously again, but one of the major who should have been a major character didn't really feel fleshed out and didn't really do a whole hell of a lot, and I was kind of disappointed. But
Max Payne.
I'll tell you who that was later.
Okay, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
And so this game actually sold so poorly that Rockstar Take-Two had to reforecast their finances for that quarter and be like, or for the year actually for 2004, and be like, ooh, we were kind of banking on this to be a hit, and it wasn't. So it did not hit the projected sales, and that's why you didn't see a Max Payne 3 right away. And when you did see a Max Payne 3, it was a pretty drastic shift,
Yeah. It seems like the game in posterity, is that the right way to say that?
Sure, if that's what you mean.
Retroactively, like it gained the following that it deserved. Maybe just the economic and the marketing at the time when it released, much like Alan Wake.
Yeah,
It didn't release to smash sales and then kind of built up a really obviously larger following than it ever had.
critically though, it was very highly regarded, and it's a beautiful looking game. Gameplay is great. Just before we get into the story and everything, let's talk about the game mechanics. It's almost a 1-to-1 with the first game, just improved on.
It really Jordan, did you end up playing Alan Wake's American Nightmare?
No.
Oh, I wish you had. Oh, I wish you had. But
Well, you
because-
never can now.
No, Sam Lake deleted it permanently.
Gone.
Forever.
No one saved the
Like
files.
everything on the internet.
It deleted it from
They'll
every
never
hard
be
drive.
able to find a way.
We don't know how. It
It sucks that once something's online, it's probably gone forever.
There's definitely not a
just-
copy at a local thrift shop I've seen recently.
push it out into the world and then it's gone forever. But it really felt like me since I began the Remedy games with Alan Wake and then moved upwards and now we're going backwards while skipping Quantum Break. It really felt like that kind of seamless jump from Alan Wake to Alan Wake's American Nightmare. You pick it up immediately. Matt gets the idea. It feels the same, but just better, and like more comfortable, and like a lot more polished. And that's exactly what Max Payne feels like to Max Payne, or Max Payne 2 feels like to the first game.
I really enjoyed the sort of like bullet time shoot dodge you can do in any direction now.
Yeah,
You
that
can
was
kind of
cool.
like 360 around the room. Also, the really cool bullet time reload animation,
Oh.
which is like seems to me almost ripped like directly from the Matrix.
Yeah.
Like the bullet time thing was actually
Where you
more
do, like,
inspired
your
by
super cool
like
spin
Hong
and,
Kong.
like, fucking
Yeah.
You know, like
Shoo, shoo.
they're trying to take like the Hong Kong, John Woo style, which you mentioned the first one.
Yep.
Yeah.
First art. In case you haven't checked it out, this is the second episode of the Max Payne reviews. We did recently cover Max Payne 1
Yeah.
for 3 fucking hours, so scroll back and check that one.
There's one guy
But,
watching this like, oh shit.
I was watching an interview about the development, and they were like, it was kind of fortuitous that like our game launched at the same time that bullet time was popularized in the U.S. by the
Yeah.
Matrix.
Yes.
And so they didn't necessarily take it from the Matrix, but it coincided at the same time. I think that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, for sure. It really does feel good. I kind of went out of my way to skip reloading when I was in bullet time, though, because it kind of cut the action. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Well,
hear you.
I was like, jump, not shoot dodging. But
It's
I was
supposed
like,
to give you a chance to reload without being hit. Mm-hmm. So,
Oh,
I mean,
does
it
it prevent
pauses
you
the
from
action in a way.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize
Yeah.
that. Because every time I'd be like, this is a really cool move where I'm doing an unnecessary spin to put a magazine into my pistol, doing a backflip just to, cock a gun. But it was really cool, but I was just like, oh, I'm about to get blasted. So
Oh, yeah,
I
no.
went out of my way to skip that, so now I feel like a fool.
It was a defensive maneuver.
Yeah.
You want to say something?
I feel like in this game, they really, from the first game to this game, as far as combat goes, they stepped up like enemy AI a little bit.
Yeah.
Clearly, it's not like at a modern scale, but in this game, it's like they will follow you and they will go around and they'll try to find another route to come at you. And if
Yeah.
you wait in a room, they will inevitably charge
come get
in.
you.
You know what I mean? Rather than
Yeah.
you having to trigger this specific, like you walk over this trigger and that sends them around the corner.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
there was once or twice in the first game where I was like, this guy doesn't see me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
where you're basically standing there, but you just haven't crossed the threshold yet.
Yeah.
And that's when suddenly he comes charging at you.
I don't think we talked about this in Max Payne 1, the video that we did, but did you guys ever have the enemies like throw a grenade like at themselves?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mhm.
Which I think is really funny.
And they go, oh!
Yeah.
Look out!
And they all have, everyone always has like a dying yell or something. And it's funny when they're like, yeah, look out. And they're all like, oh! And you're just in the other room, like, what happened? That happened to me obviously less in the second game than the first game. But it was also, what I'm getting to is that like, while it felt like goofy AI, that's kind of also something that like an amateur mobster idiot kind of like, grunt level guy might do on accident.
There is, I appreciate, I've noticed in this game that they do, and in Max Payne 1, they like are aware of that to a degree where they're like, they do kind of treat these people like they are just these bumbling mobsters, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? They're just
Yeah.
hired guns. There's a scene that you get to later in the game where you find two mobsters upstairs watching porn together on a TV,
yeah.
just like
Yeah.
alone in a room.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, they're like getting all like riled up in there.
That's
They're
what I'd
watching-
be
They're
doing
watching
to him.
Max Heat.
Yeah,
Yeah, Max
and
Heat.
like that feels intentional. Whereas like sometimes like I do agree that it's like funny, but like that doesn't feel intentional. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It feels like it is just like kind of a mechanical error. You know. Whereas in the second game, I didn't notice as much of that. They really stepped up the actual combat of it.
I
It
would
felt
s-
smooth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
combat?
The first game felt kind of like stop start. It was
Yeah.
good. I loved it. Like I loved Max Payne 1. I think I liked it more than this one, even though this one was a great game.
No
but the-
blowjobs in the second game.
No blowjobs in the second game, so
I think there was a blowjob in the porn scene.
I'm
Okay,
sure if you like,
all right.
yeah.
My judgment will be pending until I can verify that. But yeah.
But this game just the combat felt smoother. It felt like you were more easily able to like just kind of keep running and gunning and keep
Yeah.
going. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It just felt better.
I was going to say something very similar to that, which is I think that is in large part due to the level design, great in both games, but level design and enemy placement in the second game
Much better.
are they're much more balanced to where like, I think you guys both mentioned kind of like, just, I don't know, some rooms maybe felt ambushy
Yes.
Yeah.
in the first game where like, you walk in, you're like, you don't even see where you're getting hit from. In the second
No.
game, like, I feel like it just flows much better, and not to say you don't sometimes get taken by surprise, but it's not in the same way.
No, not at
it's-
all.
And it's, I don't know, you can just kind of like run through the levels in a way where they feel more like levels in a traditional like platformer sense where you're like going through the level
Yes.
Yeah.
than like a map. You know,
You're not going like, oh, I'm in this area, now I have to enter this area. And I noticed too, they kind of added a little more like exploration in the sense that the areas that you are in are a little bit more open and there's more like wrong ways for you to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And occasionally there's something we'll get to later where it's you get two choices on like a way that you can go through the mission. And neither one affects the outcome of the mission, but it's fun to have that little stuff to kind of change. It's like with dropping the grenade in the dumbwaiter in Max Payne 1 in the kitchen. You know what I mean? It's kind of a similar thing to that in Max Payne 2. I don't know if you guys did that, but we'll talk about it.
I found a couple things like that. But let's get into the story. I think we've discussed the gameplay. In case you didn't play the first game, you can watch a previously on Max Payne thing, which is very similar in presentation to what they would do in Alan Wake between chapters that go previously on Alan Wake.
Oh yeah.
I just thought that was cool to see, like, with their next game, they built on that same idea, which is, I mean, it's something that you see on TV shows, but
Yeah.
it's presented in the same, like, similar font and everything. It's, you know, it's cool.
Which is nice because sometimes games can force that a bit.
Oh,
where
yeah.
they're just like, Mario, I haven't seen you since last time when you jumped through the bat and had the big fight, and you're just like, ugh. You know, like when that happens in Mario games.
Because it's
that-
very
that
hard
very-
to like follow the continuity of the Mario games.
They get complicated.
Yeah.
It feels very forced when they give you that exposition like that. So it's cool that they had that just like click here to remember what fucking
Well, and
happened.
it's like in real time you had 2 years between releases.
Yeah.
And whereas we went literally finished Max Payne 1, talked about it for 3 hours, and then played Max Payne 2.
Well, I also think the important thing for people coming into it was that they got to see the characters from the first game with their updated models, because almost, I think,
Yeah.
literally everyone in
That
the
actually
game
didn't click for
has
me.
a different actor portraying
Yeah.
them now.
What?
So
What are you saying, Matt?
So Andrew did start playing the game with the Sam Lake face mod. Did you stick with it the whole time?
Now is my moment to spread my truth in my consistent belief that only Sam Lake is the true Max Payne. And yes, coinciding with your assumptions there, Matt, I did play through the entire game with the fan-made Sam Lake mod for
It
Max
looked like
Payne.
such shit. Did it do the facial animations throughout the game and everything?
It kind
just
of
a
did.
static
I feel like you
JPEG?
just like
So-
marred the experience.
I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, it just takes like I think the same image from the first game of
No,
of
I
Max's
don't think
face.
so.
No, it
No.
might have been manipulated to fit the structure of.
It does not look the same to me.
No,
We'll
It
do a
doesn't-
side by side right now and let the viewers decide. We've discussed this many times. Andrew thinking something looks like something else, and the rest of us don't necessarily agree.
I thought it was very funny. I do think
Funny, yeah, but for a dramatic game, I'm not looking for funny face mod.
maybe.
I mean, Matt, you did play through it with the nude mod. So
Well, yeah, but
And Max's dong is hanging out the entire time.
I like a horny game.
Yeah.
still be
but
dramatic
yeah,
horny
with your
is
dick
drama.
out.
But
That's
I
fair.
did play through the entire game, and I think there are some facial animations because it's just the skin replaced, but
It's just his
not
face
nearly.
peeled off and sewn
Yeah,
on.
sucked back
And was
on.
he replaced in the cutscenes as well, in the graphic novel cutscenes?
No.
Weird.
No, yeah, it was because they would have to like Photoshop that. And
Right.
I almost wish they had to see how bad that looked. You know what I mean? But I think it was funny. I enjoyed it. Would I recommend it?
You still
Yes,
you still get to see
because
Sam Lake in it.
Only
you
Sam Lake.
Right. That's the other thing. Sam Lake is in it.
know? He's in the game still.
When you first fucking start. Not to jump ahead, but there are like in the first game. There's the TV shows.
Yeah, we'll discuss those.
And we'll get into it. But yeah, one of them stars Sam Lake playing a crazy guy. So it's just like I'm playing Max Payne with Sam Lake's face, watching him on TV. And it gets even more meta because,
I was about to say so fucking meta, dude.
yeah, it's super meta. but
Well, I
also
think it's even
because-
more meta if you're playing without it, because it's like holy shit, like that he's looking at the old version of him.
Matt fucking
Yeah.
hates the Sam Lake face mod.
It sucks. It looks like shit.
Oh man, the worst part of it is and we'll get off this, but when you download that mod, I think there's a couple of them, but the guys that made it, They called themselves like Men's Room Productions or something. You know how like everything in like the early 2000s was. I mean, we had like our friend did Top Hat Studios.
Yeah, I
And
have the DVD collection over there.
Let's watch it.
Think tank
I
for
do
that.
not want to watch it.
Stupid video. Let's watch that. But they added their splash screen to the beginning of the game. So when you start up Max Payne 2, it's like a men's room sign with like the stick figure, and it's like spinning. It's like a 3D model. It
I
says
hate when
Men's
modders
Room
do that.
It says Men's Room Studio, and it has a toilet flushing sound.
Every Fallout New Vegas
That
modder.
pretty much sums up what I think of you as a gamer.
The worst part of it is but the I think there's the guys that made it.
We just had like a fucking 5-minute like ball of confusion moment here over how does the game start. It is fucking confusing because so in Max Payne 1, it starts with the end scene and then goes, "You're probably wondering how I got here. Well, I'll tell you. It's a very sad story."
This is
And then it's linear.
earlier.
You know? Max Payne 2 starts in the manor at the present moment. Then there's a graphic novel cutscene. Then it goes to the hospital earlier that night.
Which is like the start of chapter 3.
yeah.
Right.
Or
Then,
part 3.
Then, and this is all in the first few minutes of the game. This
Yes.
is like the first like 5 minutes.
It's episode
Then, so it starts now, earlier tonight, back to now,
Yeah.
goes to the manor one more time, and then goes to the previous night. And then it's a linear game.
Yes.
So that was confusing to me when I first played this game because I played them out of order. I played them in reverse order. So like I was already not super familiar with the with the game or telling the story out of order like that.
3, 2, and then 1?
Yeah.
Whoa. Fuck that. I'd be so confused.
Big brain. It's confusing. So basically, in the now moments, you're seeing that Mona is dying in your arms, and she says, I wound up being such a damsel in distress. A nod to the first game when she says, "I'm no damsel in distress. That's my sister."
Blah, blah, blah.
And she drugs your whiskey. Then you go to the hospital, and you're seeing that Max is in the hospital. He's banged up, and he has killed Winterson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was,
You don't know
you're
who that is.
Who's Winterson? You assume it's implying that Winterson is a cop.
Yeah.
That's all you really know about.
So you're like, oh shit, here's a theme that maybe we'll touch on in Alan Wake 2, but like you're like, whoa, is Max a bad guy now? Question mark.
Right.
And it takes you a long time to get the answer on that.
Well, and I think it always, I think all throughout the game of Max Payne 2, you're wondering, is Max a bad guy? Like, that's what he's asking himself.
Yeah, that's what he's struggling with, and that's also what they're trying to get you to kind of... Because you're kind of trying to decide, like I was at least leading up to it, like trying to figure out the motives that led to that moment. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's difficult to piece it together.
Yeah, you have no idea.
No. And not to immediately put a bummer on the story, but this story just didn't engage me the same way that the first game did. I don't know if it was just because it was on a smaller scale and
I was going to say, it has a much different
personal.
scope.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which Remedy would continue to, like we said last time around, continue to use these themes of family and grief in all of their games going forward. But I think that this is like the smallest story they've ever told.
Yeah, because it's with all of them, like with Control, it's you're trying to find your brother, but also there's this government organization that's trying to stop the world from ending effectively. So you got to kind of handle both of these things.
Yeah, and you even exit reality as we know it.
Yeah.
into
And then
other
Alan Wake,
dimensions.
it's like,
You gotta save
I
your
gotta save
wife.
my wife.
And then it's
but
like,
also,
there's another dimension.
yeah, there's again another dimension that I have to fucking deal with.
I'm
And in
trapped
Max
in.
Payne 1, it's like, they killed my wife and daughter. I gotta kill these people. But also,
he's fighting all the police.
there's this secret society injecting this drug into, like, it's Ronald Reagan in the 80s. You know what I mean? Injecting crack cocaine into the inner cities.
It's almost like
fucking-
the opposite. You'd think the first game would be that smaller experience, and the second
to
one
widen
would be
the
this
scope.
gigantic. So, yeah, it's
but I think
interesting.
that speaks to the fact that they didn't intend
yeah,
to make a
right,
second
because
one.
like also how much bigger than the Illuminati can you go?
How much bigger than killing most of the Illuminati, too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, where all of them but one guy died in a room, you know what I mean? And you're
Right.
like-
And so, you go back after the hospital scene, you go back to the present moment, and it says, a false start. The hospital bed wasn't the beginning. It was past the point of no return. The fatal choice already made, and would get worse before the end. The past is a puzzle. Like a broken mirror, as you piece it together, you cut yourself. Your image keeps shifting, and you change with it. Wow. That is some deep shit. It could destroy you. It could drive you mad. It could set you free. And so basically, you see...
Was that a poem you wrote about Max Payne too?
just sharing it, yeah.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good, buddy.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I am a songwriter. So I think I can write a poem or two.
That's cool.
I'm a creative type.
That's cool.
And so then you see Max kiss Mona, and it fades to black.
We're like, what?
Which is
married.
Oh God.
Yeah, and so and I think that's the bigger thing we should discuss before we get into the game for real. Did he not wait long enough?
I hear you, and especially with
2 years.
like borderline the first woman he interacts with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like feels vulnerable with the first one. That's who you're gonna like.
He's like a dog in heat, a freak without warning.
I kind of feel like this was Max Payne 2, The Rebound. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because I'll save my joke at the actual end of the discussion.
All right. At one point, they kind of like fill in this gap by saying, Max himself says like, and finally, for once, I didn't feel like dying. And it was because he had Mona.
He had
So she
something
was-
new to live for again or whatever.
Yeah.
Stupid, dumb shit they decided to...
I don't care about
Like,
love stories. I really don't.
But, and that's not some like testosterone-fueled things, because there have been good,
I think
great
it's both
love
because you're in
stories
very
told.
unhealthy relationships and
Probably
have
what it
only
is.
experienced unhealthy relationships. So it's hard to
very
care
true.
about love when you have no
I don't want to see
positive
any,
examples of
any
it.
depiction of a relationship.
I hate all women, so that just, really colors my experience with romance.
Not all relationships are between a man and a woman.
I won't accept that. I'm kidding about all these things.
I just hate vulnerability.
Yeah.
No. But no, it's
Maybe not long enough, but I'm
maybe
glad.
not, but he also kind of addresses that where he's like, we're just yelling over each other right now.
And I was just making a joke.
I know.
I'm serious, Matt. What are you saying?
No, he addresses the whole idea of where he's like, I kissed her on the mouth, but she should have been my wife's lips or whatever, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. He has those moments where he's like, I feel weird about this shit too.
He also has he's like, I had a dream last night where Michelle was dead, but it was okay. And I was like, ooh.
It's not really what he said, but
What is that?
it's as he's dying, he like sees his wife and he comes to peace with it.
Oh, okay.
That's like the final words in the
He's
game.
like, yeah, he's like,
Oh,
He's not like, I had a dream my wife is dead and it was okay.
it was fucking,
Like,
it was-
you're
it
taking
was cool
all
as
the
hell.
fucking impact out of the statement.
I didn't remember where he had said that. They just like
He was like, I saw her dead, and for the first time, I was able to feel okay. You know what I mean? For
Yeah.
the first time, it didn't like destroy me. You know what I mean? Like,
It's supposed to say he's finally, after these 2 giant murder sprees, he's found a semblance
he's
of inner
taken
peace.
enough life
there's just like a
to make up.
Not
for
to spoil the ending, but that's how it goes.
little Max quotes just like come to me as I'm going about my day because like a lot of them are very memorable, even if I don't know them verbatim. There's like that one where he's like,
They're really memorable, but I don't remember any of
not
them.
verbatim. I said verbatim. He said something about like a bullet was the period on the exclamation point that was this life or something like that. I'm like, that's fucking.
Wait, he goes for like the Dick Tracy. You know what I mean? Like
I'm Dick Tracy.
fucking. I don't know if that's what he sounds like.
That's what he sounds like. I'm Dick Tracy.
Okay.
Wear a banana raincoat.
I regret asking this question, so I'm gonna commandeer this conversation and say after you kiss Mona and it fades to black, it goes back to New York City the previous night, where there's been a call of gunfire at a warehouse, and Max he goes,
There's been gunfire.
you know what's funny
I'm Dick Tracy.
about Sam Lake and Max Payne? If you guys are familiar with Sam and Max, the freelance police,
Oh, that's funny, yeah.
that's kind of funny to me.
They're the inspiration.
I believe so.
Is that the one we played, the third game? We were for our long dead play Let's Play series?
No, I don't
Kane and
believe
Lynch
so.
2 together.
Kane and Lynch. My bad.
Yeah, Sam and Max Secret Police are anthropomorphic
Oh my
animals
Yeah,
who
you're
do a
right.
comedy detective cop show.
I blew it.
It's like,
Yeah,
I
it's
was
like
thinking-
very different from Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days.
Yes. similar names. Guy and Guy.
Jesus Christ. So Max is like, oh, that's Vladimir Lem's warehouse. I'll go check it out because he still kind of owes Lem a little bit. You know, they're
Yeah,
still
they're
kind of
still-
tight. He
They're kind of buddies, yeah.
Vladimir Lem gave Max the arsenal he needed to take down Punchinello. And so even though he's a Russian mobster, He's gonna he's a cop. What do you want? They're all fucking corrupt.
Right. He's spoken to them feeling like you know what I mean, like brother from another mother. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like,
yeah. So they have a certain bond. So he's gonna go check out what's going on there.
No longer portrayed by Marco Seresto.
really
No.
jarring. Like, they didn't even try to find someone.
Not super
They're
close.
like, hey,
No, not at all.
bald, very Russian-looking man, like Eastern European-looking man. We're gonna have a dude who looks like he's straight from Finland with a full head of real nice blonde hair.
Yeah.
Like, this guy
jump
walked
there.
out of Sweden.
Which is a bummer because I thought Marco looked really
IKEA.
cool as Vladimir. I thought he was a cool character.
Yeah, he was.
So, and not that he wasn't in this new iteration, but I
But also,
like that original design.
nobody in this game had those little sunglasses, little circle
sunglasses.
glasses.
Glasses?
Nobody. Fucking horse shit. Even though Matrix was so big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And
Well,
Hellraiser.
anyway,
That one guy from Hellraiser. He had the little.
You get to the warehouse.
yeah, that was like 10 years prior to this, but
Okay.
um,
Well, it saw a resurgence in that same time. Remember?
pretty sure that was around the time that the very worst of the direct-to-video Hellraiser movies started coming out.
I think you mean best. All
Um,
right, let's go.
no.
You want to linger on Hellraiser?
No, you know
Yeah.
Hellraiser. That's a
So-
cool song
That
that came out much earlier.
You really don't want to talk about the story at all.
I'm afraid to. I can't let these guys know that I didn't actually play the game. Yeah, it was cool.
So, Vladimir Lem, as is explained in the prologue and everything, like the previously on, both Vladimir Lem and Vinny Gognitti, who are characters in the first game, have risen in the ranks of the criminal underworld. They're both
Yeah.
kind of like struggling gangsters. And they are
that was-
now in direct competition with one another for supremacy of New York City
And that was made
gangland.
possible because so many crime families were just fucking obliterated by Max
killed
Payne.
Punch
Yeah, there's a
you
power
got-
vacuum.
So they were kind of struggling, and through those ashes, our Gognitti?
Yeah.
Vinny Gognitti.
Some people say Gognitti.
Vinny
in the game, I think.
Cockney.
I think
Yeah.
even in the game they say both.
and Lem were made their ascension.
Or Leem.
Leem, Vladimir Leem.
Vladimir Leem.
Vinny, voiced by our buddy, whose name
Our
I
personal
forget.
friend.
I think it's Frank, one of our personal closest friends whose name I forget. Frank something. The guy sitting by that voices Barry Wheeler.
Yes,
from Alan Wake.
I feel like that was a little confusing. Vinny Gognitti
Yes.
and Barry Wheeler share the same voice actor.
Yes. Frank.
Which I didn't
something
notice. Did you just catch that right off the bat?
instantly on his second voice line. I'm like, that is Barry Wheeler.
I didn't catch it at all.
He's got a. I really love
but-
Barry Wheeler, so
No, never mind. I was gonna say, but did you catch that Trench was Max Payne? But I was
No.
gonna say you hadn't played Max Payne when you played Control.
yeah. But since then, and I mentioned this to you, when I have looked at Control footage recently, it is such a trip to hear Max Payne's voice coming out of Trench.
Yeah.
It recontextualizes everything, and
That's the richness of playing all the Remedy games together. You're like, oh, like Trench is already a significant character, but having that prior knowledge of like all the weight and emotion attached to the Max Payne character, Remedy knows that inevitably informs your perception of Trench.
precisely, and
And
that, like you said,
it's fucking cool.
It enriches it. I
Fucking
haven't.
smart guys. These guys got big brains over there.
Yeah,
They really do.
because
Because it could be bad.
Could be bad.
There's lots of series where there's reoccurring voice actors or reoccurring people, and it's like, cool, he's kind of doing the same character. I don't know.
Yeah. But it's and I haven't done this, but I truly believe, and I think Matt, you agreed with me, if you combed through all of the Trench audio and things that he says, with your knowledge of Max Payne, you already kind of said this, but it makes it a much different impact, and it's just very cool how they did that.
Yeah, and then the same thing too with with Matthew Peretta portraying both Alan Wake and Dr. Casper Darling. Like that adds another sort of
Right.
I think you even messaged me recently. You're like, when we talked about Control, we didn't mention that.
Fucking both Alan Wake and Professor Dr. Darling both get lost into another dimension.
What? Huh?
How the fuck did we not mention that? It's such a huge
Because
thing.
after a while, if you start looking at the Remedy games too closely, you'll just have a list of 5,000 echoes.
Connections you can-
Yeah.
That's like Andrew wanting to make the Condor There's a new potential like code name for the next Control game called Condor, and he's like, "Do you think it's Control Door?" And I'm like, "I understand why you're making that connection. That's fucking dumb, though."
To be fair, Andrew said this is kind of dumb.
Yeah, he
did
did.
say-
You did preface it.
But
with
then I
it.
backed it up with what I think is some solid.
You came at me with some
logic.
flat earther logic.
when the Condor trailer drops, we'll have this conversation again. But
Yeah.
basically, to talk about the first 4 minutes of the game, which it seems like this keeps happening to us.
It's all right. The people like it.
We'll find our pace.
Somehow they do. You go into the warehouse and you hear gunshots, and you go around the corner and you get a little cutscene where you walk up and you see a TV. On the TV is Dick Justice, which is a TV show. So Dick Justice, both Dick Justice and Max Heat were original names for Max Payne when the game was still in development.
Oh hell yeah!
I did hear that. Yeah.
I wish it was called Dick Justice. That'd be so good.
Dick
Yeah.
Justice is pretty good.
So far, that I think they actually took out the trademark on Max Heat and were ready to go with it, and they were like, Max Payne's better.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
For sure.
But it's a direct parody of the events of the first game playing on the television.
Yeah.
This is the first time that you'll see where, in the first Max Payne game, you see Address Unknown, and it's just an Easter egg. It's a little reference to Twin Peaks, and that there's, there's a little bit of like, oh, maybe, you could draw some parallels.
Yeah.
But this is where they really go ham on the meta narratives that you'll see
Yeah.
so prevalent in future Remedy games.
And I love the soundtrack for it, and it's like done in like the blaxploitation kind of style
Yeah.
of like those
Oh, yeah.
old like
like Shaft or
Yeah, it
Petey
was cool.
Wheatstraw.
like Dolomite.
Yeah.
And it was just so good. He's got the big afro, and it's like as he's going, like the scene cuts. And
But he's like, he mimics Max Payne's, cries as Michelle dies in his arms. Oh, baby, no! Which, I mean, I think it's really cool of Remedy to go, man, that was a very powerful, impactful moment in the first game that was kind of cheesy.
Yeah, that maybe we
and they
didn't
don't
nail.
mind making fun of it.
Let's dunk right on it. Yeah. What was the name of the Adult Swim show? It was in the same style as that
Black Dynamite.
I loved Black Dynamite. And this obviously, reminded me of that a little bit.
Black Dynamite's like a parody, a continuation of those 70s blaxploitation films.
Yeah. Did you guys? What's cool about this with the TVs in this game is that they just keep going. Like they cycle
they'll
into
just-
commercials. And
Yeah.
the show comes
and it'll
back.
be like, Lords and ladies will be back.
We need to talk just for a second. We got to
We
talk
will
about
get
Lords and
there.
Ladies.
We've got to make any progress in
We
the
do.
story at all because we're still in the warehouse. And we've watched the
Fine,
TV.
let's talk right now about the TV shows. Go.
Lords and Ladies, or is that what it's called? Like My Lord.
Yes, it's
My
called
Lady,
Lords and Ladies.
Lords and Ladies.
I just played it last night, so trust me.
Absolutely, it was funny in the first game. Funnier in this game. I don't know what to say
Is
about
it in
I
the
don't know.
first game?
Yeah, I think so.
Lords
But
and
it
Ladies
was-
is not in the first game.
Yeah, it's like My Lord, My Lady.
No,
my
nope.
Lord. I
Is not in the first game.
Is it?
feel like
I-
it was.
I
I
think
fe-
it. I think it is.
Pretty sure
I,
it
I'm
was.
remembering it in the brothel hotel area. It's on one of the TVs.
Because
Right
it's
in
just
there.
like a
I'm
couple
cool
still images.
With being a dumb guy in this one, but I'm standing my ground. I
standing
don't
your
think it was in the first game. I don't have any memory of it.
We're gonna take a little cut here, and we'll see if Jordan was right or not.
Hey, idiot.
So, like I said, yeah, in the brothel, like hotel area, you do see it, but it's presented more like a traditional like '90s
Romance, like
Soap opera.
soap opera. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very
Days of Our
cheesy
Lives,
looking. Yeah.
romance.
Whereas in
soap opera.
Max Payne 2, it's a period piece.
Yes. It's like Downton Abbey versus Melrose Place.
Yeah.
And
So
yeah,
Not familiar with
I
that.
forgot. I'm a big fucking idiot.
yeah,
I got egg all over my
It
face.
has a story arc.
right.
Like, as you
and the
watch
story
it.
arc again is a meta narrative about the main game.
Yeah.
As is there a story arc to Address Unknown. And throughout the game, there's an Address Unknown marathon, and in it, there's a character named John Mira, portrayed by Sam Lake. Much like one of the characters in Lords and Ladies is also portrayed by Sam Lake.
I didn't know. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
my lord. He's the Lord.
was the Lord?
He was the Lord.
Oh my
Who she's
God.
after the whole time. She's, you know what I mean? They're
So
I had a
fighting
hard
for
time
her.
getting a good angle, and I have bad eyes. So
He's got a really defined job.
there's also like
Yeah,
a
wait,
poster, I think, in Mona's apartment where
Sam?
Yes.
of Lords and Ladies.
I feel like I digested this game very well. Now I feel like I haven't. But anyway, I loved it. It was
So
great.
yeah, so John Mira is walking around Noir York City, and is being followed by a doppelganger. You know, who's a killer. Well, basically, you know, it's the idea of you know, the murderous doppelganger, which is another theme you'll see throughout almost every single Remedy game.
Do you see it in Quantum Break at all?
Well, in Quantum Break, you don't really see evil doppelgangers so much as there are multiple versions of people moving throughout time.
Because they're all in different timelines and possibilities.
Yeah.
So not necessarily an evil version.
But it could be
Yeah,
you just
not
as a
necessarily,
dickhead
but
in another,
sometimes
you know?
Yeah,
your
just
motivations or intentions shift in different timelines.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very that we'll get to that game eventually. I'm excited to see because it's
Fucking massive.
it's just so dense. There's so much to take in, and there's so many different ways you can experience it. I'm very curious to see how we all how it shakes out.
After Max Payne 3, that's our last. Quantum Break is the last Remedy game that we have to cover aside from Death Rally.
Yeah, we'll just shut down the channel.
Just shut it all down.
The thing that I thought was really cool about
Oh.
Address Unknown, and you know, again, you have these two running meta narratives in the TV. Well, three, I should say, with Dick Justice. These three running meta narratives, kind of playing off the themes of the first and second games as you go through the story, and then in the first DLC, I believe, for Alan Wake, in the bathroom, it says Mira was here on the wall.
What?
Oh,
Which is a
wow.
reference to John Mira from Address Unknown.
Damn.
Which when I first played Alan Wake, I was like, what does that mean?
I think I remember reading that and just being
Dave
like,
Mira's BMX?
it's a really weird cameo during his career.
That's cool though.
Yeah.
So then, but then the question's like, yeah, is Scratch also?
Well, it also goes
Mira.
to show you, like, hey, everyone who's saying that Alan Wake's not connected to Max Payne, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that's very
Fuck
silly.
off. You're
Yeah.
wrong.
You're a fucking idiot, dude. It's embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for you, which sucks. I don't have a lot of like embarrassment points
Juice?
left. Yeah.
I think about it sometimes and go through panic attacks on their behalf.
So after this, you actually encounter what will become the first enemy in the game. You meet a guy who's like, "Oh, hey, buddy, calm down. I'm just the cleaner." And you're like, "Well, I gotta talk to the boss. There's reports of gunfire." He's like, "Yeah, come on this way." And he's so sketchy.
No, he's being super sketchy about it.
Yeah.
And then he won't open the door for you. He's like, you go ahead and head in.
Yeah,
I'll stand over here out of the
Next to this cabinet.
yeah,
Right, and
behind this wall.
you go into the next room, you see a dead body on the floor, and then it's on.
Yeah.
Just like the dead body you saw in Control. No. So all these guys in cleaner jumpsuits start attacking you. You make your way through the building. Eventually, you go upstairs. Who pops out of an elevator?
Jim Bravura.
Mona Sachs.
Oh no! Jim Bravura pops out, blood, brains leaking out of his head.
Killed! He did die! No zombies!
And so Mona Sachs comes out, pops two of the cleaner guys, and jumps back into the elevator.
And she says, Max, and you say, Mona? She's like, we gotta stop meeting like this.
Yeah, that is what happened.
And he said, didn't you get shot in your fucking head?
And they go, blah, 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 blah.
What I like is that she disappeared into an elevator in the first game, and then pops out of an elevator in the second game.
Right, as though it's the same. She's been perpetually in the elevator.
And one sort of weird mystical elevator.
Some say that she's
Like the ones
been
in
the
Control that can take you to the other.
Yeah,
Like
the
whole
in
time.
Control.
elevator. And she's a girl, just like Jesse Payne. She has red hair.
And so
She dyed her hair red. She dyed her hair red.
wow, just like in Address Unknown.
Wow.
Uh,
And the end of Squid Game. Why does he dye his hair red?
I don't know about that.
I've never seen it.
You guys didn't watch Squid Game? No. I really thought at least you would have watched Squid Game. The guy dyes his hair red at the end and no one knows why.
Spoilers.
That's not a spoiler.
Anyways.
So you make your way up through the building, taking out the cleaners, experiencing the top-notch
You're
combat.
really cleaning things up.
Oh. They have a woman who is a weapons handler and seemingly some sort of love interest for Vladimir Lem, held hostage.
Oh, yeah. Abigail? What was her name?
I don't really think I'm like.
I don't remember. Let's
She has a name.
we'll confirm it here and see if Andrew gets points or not.
Do you want me to react for if I do and don't, so you can cut that in later?
Sure.
All right.
Gives the same reaction.
Yeah, yeah. Which one was which?
I think it was obvious.
Oh, like those.
You're the editor.
Editor. Well, I hardly even know her. So you pop into the room and they're like, kill her. And they shoot the woman in front of you.
Yeah,
Like,
blast
once
her.
again, a woman dies on your watch.
And you try to call yourself a white knight.
Yeah.
You try to tip your fedora.
Max Payne 2, a white knight story.
He says,
No, I did. I
he
actually,
says, "Milady," and he shoot jumps or whatever.
I tried to quick reload because I thought I didn't get there fast enough. I thought that I didn't I thought if I shoot dodge in, you know what I mean, and
Yeah.
fucking bullet time and
Right.
fucking get them, then they won't. No, she just
No,
gets
you can't
shot.
save her.
Yeah.
If you do that, the game actually ends and everyone's happy. You saved her, and then Vladimir Lem's like, "Thanks, Max Payne. You know what? You're a good guy."
So, you basically show. Fuck. You lose her. You lose her. And so backup arrives. You go back to the police station, and they're like, Max, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, what are you doing? You know, it's sketchy.
Yeah.
It's sketchy that he went in by himself. It's sketchy he didn't call for backup sooner.
And it's sketchy that he's just murdering people. He's
Yeah.
like I get that they also have guns and are shooting at you, but if you think from the perspective of a cop, you got to call for backup, then wait for them to
Yeah.
get there, then you have to be like, hey, we have guns, then realistically one of you should be shot before you start shooting at them. That's never how it goes, obviously.
No. Yeah.
But
No, there's no
You know.
rules of engagement for Max.
no,
No.
It's just. So you go back to the police station and you find out that Winterson, the woman who died earlier in the game that you killed, essentially is your new partner.
Yeah.
And she is investigating.
Because Baldur's fucking dead.
She's investigating a case, and one of
He
the
is.
well, and also you're not in the DEA anymore.
That's right. So they won't let you be.
so she's investigating a case.
She's investigating a case, and Mona Sachs is a prime suspect. Prime subject. She is a prime specimen. So
Good.
Want to listen?
you
Was the suspect? in
don't
Max's
say
case.
anything. You're like, you see the photo of Mona, and you're like, I don't possibly know who that is. Mona who?
I don't know who
I
that
have
is.
to. I shit my pants. I gotta go.
I shit my pants in slow motion. I crap dodged.
Shit dodge.
Were you guys suspicious of Winterson?
Nope.
Not at this moment.
Did you feel weird that Max was harboring a fugitive, essentially?
A little bit.
It kind
There
of
was a. I mean, yes and no. Because it's yes, because you're he's a cop, but you're also he's never really been a good cop. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem like he's
Great
ever,
cop, maybe, but
Yeah, you know what I mean. But he's never bad cop.
Yeah.
But no, he's never followed the rules, and he's broken rules for people like Vladimir and Mona in the past. So it's
Right.
kind of like that. You're you go okay. You know what I mean? I can see it. You know.
I didn't get that. I wasn't suspicious of Winterson until it was pretty explicit that there was a connection between her and some stuff.
It's after Bravura fucking reads you the riot act.
yeah,
yells
we'll
at
get
you.
to that soon. So
But I gave Max the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, I don't know the situation, but I don't think he's still a cop, even though he's kind of a bad cop. You know what I mean? Like he still tries to do the right thing by the law, be it even if he goes about it the wrong way.
It seemed
So-
weird to me right off that, despite the fact that you're partners, it seemed like you were both working on separate cases, almost.
yeah, I don't really understand how she's
Yeah.
his partner.
Because
per
they
se.
were kind of like, no, this is Winterson's handling this one, not you, Max. And you're like, aren't we fucking partners? Wouldn't we both be handling the case? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
Together.
It, very weird, but also I know nothing of how partners work.
No idea. And at
But
the
you'd
end of
think
the
they
day-
would at least once in a while be together in the same room at the same time.
Yeah.
Which they never are unless they're both at the police station.
And they have different.
And even then, they're there's a wall.
yeah, they have
separating
different, offices.
So you decide to go and follow up with Lem. And Lem has taken over the former Ragnarok nightclub and turned it into a fancy restaurant called vodka.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the sign in the warehouse scene when you're walking around. You come
Yeah, that was
across
cool.
Ragnarok, yeah,
No,
that
you
was
come
sick.
across the old Ragnarok sign and then the vodka sign before
Yeah.
you're told that that's what it's
Oh,
being
yeah.
remodeled as.
Yeah. Pretty sick little world building thing to be
Yeah.
like, wow, people are really doing stuff in a real place.
This is really his warehouse.
Yeah.
So-
And it didn't feel like a reused like map either. It was totally different. It
Oh,
wasn't like,
Club Ragnarok?
Yeah, and what I'm
Or
saying is like from
Club
the
Vodka? Sorry.
Yeah, get it right. It's not like they just literally took the level from the first game and just put it in the second game.
Oh,
It felt
yeah.
a lot different. There's obviously similarities.
The scenery and stuff, everything had the same feel. You know what I mean? The same aesthetic
Like
as the first game.
castle-y kinda.
Yeah, but it also very like decrepit, and you know what I mean. Like none of the
Yeah.
walls are painted very well unless you're in like the manor,
Yeah.
And but it didn't feel the same. You know what I mean? It was like it felt the same without being the same. I guess is
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Same
Yeah.
essence. So it was cool to like re-experience a familiar place without
Yeah,
being
it's real
the
because
same
you're like,
thing.
oh, he really has made it his own club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vlad's really a big baller at this point, shot caller,
20-inch rims.
on his Impala. Uh-huh.
Yeah, exactly. So you get there, and he's actually under fire from Gagniti's men
Yeah.
have raided the place. So you meet up with a man who is named... Oh, I didn't write down his name.
Billy.
Is it Billy?
I think so. I think his name's Billy.
He's something the cowboy.
Yeah, I think it was Billy the Cowboy. I could be wrong.
I don't remember.
Yeah. This is like your buddy.
We'll put it here. It's like my buddy?
Yeah. He's your buddy in the beginning. Do you want me to react to see if I was correct?
Not again.
For both of
Yeah,
them?
here's your reactions.
They're so subtle.
That's what I was going to do. It's weird that you knew I was going to do that.
I let him die really fast.
Really?
I tried to keep him alive, and then I was like, what the fuck, dude?
I kept him going for quite a bit, I think, if I remember right.
Yeah, I wasn't paying close enough attention, and I don't know when he
I
died.
just tried to
I
take
haven't-
the lead, you know what I mean? As long
Right.
as you like kind of stay out in front of him, it seems like
And just to be
pretty good.
clear, so what's happening is you're making your way through the club, trying to find Lem, who's being, kind of, held down by gunfire.
yeah, he keeps coming over to you and he's like, I can't get out of here, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's on
Like
an
fucking-
intercom.
Right, and so one of Lem's men is like, "Hey, you're Max Payne. Come on, help us." And even though you're a cop, you're just getting involved in a gang war.
It's like, all right.
on it, even though technically, like, there's laws being broken here, but they're just killing each other. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And you've just come in and you're like, let me get in on this killing.
You make your way through. You eventually get to your first mini boss fight, basically with Vinny Gagnitis. You got men storming the area.
Up top,
Yep.
Yep.
And Gagniti escapes.
he does. He
got
says,
an accent.
"Ow!"
He's got a knack for it,
And then he jumps into his car and he rides off into the sunset.
leaving a trail of Christmas lights.
He got me. He got me a couple times. Did you guys die?
During this one, no. I didn't really run into too much trouble, combat wise, until a little bit later in the game.
All right. I think I was just in the perfect wrong spot to keep
Yeah.
dying right there because it wasn't too bad of a fight.
I died once or twice. I died a few times throughout. I actually played on hard boiled for the first time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
This time, and I was surprised at how well I handled it. I do think this is an easier game than the first one.
It was,
Yeah.
and I think part of that has to do with what we spoke on earlier, with them improving the enemy AI
Yeah.
and improving the enemy placement, where you said it's not as much ambush stuff, and the aiming felt a little bit better. I still
Yeah.
had to drop my sensitivity. You know
Yeah,
what I
I
mean?
think I did too.
Like by half, still, but it felt a little bit smoother, and it felt like
Sorry, you're so
it
boring.
also I know it also felt more like headshots mattered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where in the sense
Yeah.
where it's like you could unload half a clip of the Kalishnikov or whatever into someone's chest, but then if you spray up on accident and 2 shots at his head, he's dead right away.
Yeah.
So
Get ready for that to change a lot in the third game.
yeah, but it did feel easier though,
Yeah.
and I don't know
But
if that's
it was
just
a-
because it's we're evolving. You know what I mean? And that's just how where games were headed a little bit, where there's less of a difficulty spike, so that because games were hard, so you'd keep playing it.
Right.
Right.
And now it's kind of more we want you to enjoy the game.
Are you saying that headshots don't count in the third game, or?
No, I'm saying just the sensitivity and how aiming works is very different in the third game. When you're
I
playing
imagine
with a
it's more
controller.
modernized, especially if it's on a
Big time.
controller against
Yeah.
mouse and keyboard. We're playing mouse and
Feels a
keyboard
little better
for
on
a
mouse
game
and
from
keyboard
2003.
in Max Payne 3 in some ways. The
Yeah.
aiming's better on mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
unfortunately.
There's a interesting like Z targeting thing where like you can press a button to like auto target enemies.
Ooh, I don't like that.
There's a lot of controller assist stuff.
Yeah, which
Which means I might not do it, to be honest with you.
we'll have to get there.
I might
but-
not pay Max Payne 3. No, I'll use mouse and keyboard.
So after this scene, we have our first scene in Max's apartment. You get to see how he's been living.
Wow, that's depressing, man.
Yeah, he falls asleep.
that's about
and
right.
He's in a dream. You notice everything is backwards. All the text on the posters and the CDs and stuff. You're hearing things backwards. And you're like, you're going down the halls, like you're hearing weird shit. This is fucking cool. I think this is a great way to implement the dream sequences for the first game without any of the awkward platforming.
Yeah.
I was so happy that any of the brief platforming moments in the game were not during your fucking slow motion, weird camera angle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, can't actually shoot dodge moments. And it still worked. I like that they were able to put it in the same sense where it's like, it's every time you go to bed. Rather than like in the first game, it's like you just got injected with this drug. You've just been drugged. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it sticks with the same like.
Because he ends every night at the bottom of a barrel and bottom of a barrel. What the fuck am I saying? At the bottom of a bottle and Jesus Christ. Max Payne drinks himself and takes pills every night to fall asleep.
He drinks himself.
He drinks. Did I say that?
Yes.
Max Payne drinks himself to death and dumps a bottle of
Everybody's
painkillers.
taking pills though. It makes it kind of seem like painkillers aren't that big a deal because I think Bravura pops one or two also when you're like talking to him.
Right, but Bravura also urges you to go to AA.
He does.
He does. He tries to get you. But I mean, like, cool. So I'll stop drinking. I'll just get hooked on these fucking oxys over here. You know what I mean?
Right.
switch it.
And I think what you were referencing earlier is that Max is doing urine therapy in this game.
He's been. Yeah, you can see the
He's
bottles.
on the cleanse.
He is drinking himself. So
He calls it God's
you get
nectar.
woken up by well, in the dream, someone like slips like a photo of Mona under your door.
and you say Mona.
Does he do that?
Yeah.
Mona.
He's-
That's more what it
he's-
sounds like. It more sounds
no,
like
he's all-
Mona.
He's all fucked up. He says Mona. And then he falls on his face.
Play the sound clip right here
Mona.
for
See?
comparison.
I was right.
I'm glad I have these drops queued up for us right now.
cool soundboard. I like that there's some consistency. That he drinks the Kong liquor. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I think I saw that. I don't know
pay
if I
attention
don't know if it's
to
like Kong. I remember Casey.
There's the Casey
The
beer,
first
but
game.
from all three games, it shows Max drinking Kong brand vodka or gin or something. You guys didn't notice it?
No, I don't pay attention
just
to that
don't
stuff
remember.
very much.
Oh, okay.
I do look at all that stuff at the moment, but if I don't draw any connections, I kind of let it go.
It's just kind of cool world building where like Max has a drink of choice,
Right.
a specific brand.
So I mean that's kind of cool.
Matt doesn't think it's that cool. I thought it was cool. I'm gonna come.
You get woken up by Mona Sachs, and she's like, "They're following us. They're watching us. Blah blah blah." And then shot through the window. There's a sniper across the
yeah.
way. And
Started
I thought this was
blasted.
really fucking sick.
This was awesome.
This whole sequence where you're in Max's apartment is just awesome.
Like there's some really cool set pieces in the first game. The second one I think just took it to the next level. And
They were
this-
able to
this-
put more detail into the set pieces too. You know what I mean? As far as like when you enter a room, there's more impact sometimes because you're like, oh, this isn't just like four walls that they've tried
Yeah.
to make
Totally.
look a little cooler.
There's
you
a
know?
lot of, I'm gonna keep saying world building, but there's tons of like little knickknacks and stuff around at Max's apartment that like just that colors your understanding of how he's been living.
Did you shoot out the sniper, or did you just run away from him?
I think I just
ran
ran
away.
away.
Yeah, for sure, just
I didn't
ran
know you could fire back.
Yeah, I killed him.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah,
I think we got,
with a pistol.
I think I got him later. Maybe not. Yeah, I got him later.
Well, you do eventually go to the room that
Yeah.
he was sniping you from.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. You're going all the way over across the building to get to the other side to where the sniper is.
But it's not that easy.
No, so you go through the whole building.
There's locked doors.
There's locked doors. The
Grandma.
cleaners have shown up. So at one point you do find a woman who's like, "Oh, come in. I have a shotgun or some pills for you." Did you guys find the secret behind the washing machine?
No,
No,
what
it was
it?
behind the washing machine.
A big green dildo.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you
Hell yeah.
serious?
Yeah.
Thank God. I didn't find the pills she told me were there.
I found
Said
them.
they're in the bathroom. I couldn't find her bathroom. I was like, you lying old bitch.
I found him.
You did? I didn't. I mean, maybe I'd already found them or something. You know what I mean?
It's possible.
Was
But,
it really
like-
a big honking dildo?
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah. That's not just part of your nude mod.
No, it's not a nude mod. The nude is built into the game.
Yeah.
I know. I understand.
We'll get there.
We need to be precise.
Because grandma is kind of horny. She's like, oh.
There's two grandmas, I think.
There are
there's a
two
couple
grandmas. You're right. There's one that's badass, and then there's that first one. But
She's badass.
One who's
too.
very
She's like-
senile, but yeah.
yeah,
So one offers you a shotgun. I think one offers you pills, or maybe they both do. But yeah, I think the one who gives you the shotgun, or no, the one who gives you the pills, you go in the bathroom, if you look behind the washing machine there, I think,
dildozer,
is a bit little green dildo. Little, it's normal sized.
regular dildo.
Yeah, you can look at it up close with a sniper rifle if you want to read what it says. I don't remember what it says exactly. We'll put it on the screen here, but it says something like Freedom Blaster or something. Bullshit.
Dick justice.
So, as you go through, you run into a bunch of NPCs, which I really enjoyed. There's a hooker and a homeless guy who's a former police officer who you can ask to follow you and assist you.
yeah.
Did you guys do that?
I didn't-
accident.
There was the. It's the homeless guy who ends up sadly getting. I don't think he followed me because I believe he got killed.
Oh, there's another one.
There's another because there's
There's
one guy,
there's one homeless guy who's like, if you want to go this place, you gotta go downstairs, talk to the janitor or something. And you
thought it
do,
was-
and when you come back, he's been shot.
Yes,
That
And
was the same guy.
he's like laying in his bed dead.
it's like the same.
model.
It's
maybe.
basically the same character, but it's
I
not.
don't think I think I interacted with the homeless cop, but I didn't get him to.
Oh, well,
Follow me, I don't think.
if you interact, I think the E key or whatever with him, he'll be like, all right, I'll follow you, and then he'll fire as well, and so will the hooker as well. Or you can be
Yeah.
like, stay here, and they'll
I'll take care of this. You stay put.
Okay, I'll wait here.
I'll take care of this on my
I'm
own.
Violet.
Hey, Violet, baby. I'm your man.
In your dreams, Juicehead. You gotta get me out of this.
Your place or mine, huh?
Hey, I was talking to Handsome here.
and they'll fire on enemies as they approach that area that you stationed
Oh,
them.
okay.
That's
hell
what
yeah.
I had him do.
Yeah, which is kind of a cool little thing where there's like a minor like co-op element,
Yeah, there's a couple of those moments in the game.
AI co-op element, which I thought was cool that they brought it back in Alan Wake as well. Seeing those
Control.
themes, yeah.
Where you could summon a ranger, yeah.
But I think
Right.
honestly, out of all of them, probably aside from Sheriff Breaker, these are the best ones. The fact that you can be like, stay here, or like you basically give them commands of like
Yeah, more or less.
follow or stay. But when they stay, they still are on active duty, which is sick.
They're not
Yeah.
just sitting there like waiting to get shot in the
Yeah.
room that they're in.
And they interact with each other if you like bring them to one another.
Oh hell yeah!
I had him in the same room, yeah.
Yeah. And so he starts flirting with her, and she's like, "Ew."
But she's also like really decked out, like in her outfit.
She's in her work clothes.
Yeah, yeah. So, like, or
She's
when
in her
she-
uniform.
When she walked in, I was just like, oh my god. Doesn't she also work for Femme Fatales or whatever, that phone line?
I don't know if they
Calling to talk
say
to
that.
Press 3 for Mona.
Yeah.
So we'll get there. We'll get there. You go downstairs. You have to get a security code from the janitor, the super, whoever,
Right.
Couple
and
little-
he's singing Poets the Fall song.
He
Oh,
sure
is he? Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know what it was, but I assumed I was like,
It's,
this
it's
is
the
probably
end credits theme to Max Payne
Oh,
2,
okay.
yeah.
which was their first single later.
Oh, okay.
They
It seemed like you had a lot to say, and then
they've developed. So I think
What do you mean?
their songs are a lot better now.
All right, I think that's one of their better songs.
Really?
Yeah, I think their music is very cringe.
It's not for me, but yeah, I didn't like that one as much as the
hear
other
that
songs.
Poets of the Fall.
I'm sorry. I think a lot of it is
No, I hear you.
massively cringe.
Marco Seresto is gonna come kick your ass, dude. He's
I
huge.
welcome it.
He's Vladimir
I'll
Lenin.
gape my cheeks wide open for his foot.
His foot.
We'll get it on film so that we can stick with the Remedy theme of the channel.
yeah,
Yeah.
so we always have some, Remedy coming out.
I mean, who am I to say?
no, I hear you.
I just listened to the fucking new Nas record on your recommendation.
Oh, yeah.
Not really a recommendation. You just told me
I just said it
existed.
was there. It's okay.
It's so okay.
That was also my.
Much like most Nas records from the last like 10 years, it's very competent and very
Yeah,
forgettable.
I was like, oh, the production's really good.
Yeah.
He's sticking with his themes.
I'll never. I couldn't even hum one of the songs to you right now.
Nope, I couldn't remember any of the hooks.
Anyway, it's cool that this song is a reoccurring theme throughout the game. At one point, you're in an area where the criminals are playing it on a piano, and then
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It's just neat that it shows up. Oh, also Mona is singing it to herself in the shower at one point.
Oh, I was too distracted
When her
by
fat tits are out.
some other stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when it
something in that
actually
scene.
does come in full force at the end of the game, I think
You're
it's
like,
it's cool. It's impactful.
Is this also where the guy gives you the code?
That's what I said.
And that
That's
code.
why you're talking to him.
Yes,
That's why we got to this.
Because you can interact with him later. He gives you the code, which is 667. Mm-hmm. The neighbor of the beast.
man.
Funny remedy joke right there.
So
He's like, stay down here, and he's like, no problem, dude.
Yeah, I know the code. Wait,
Oh,
yeah.
fuck.
when you do eventually find the sniper's nest, he's in an apartment building across the way from you.
This is our build.
You
This is our apartment build. He'll shoot you.
find that they've been surveilling you, and they have photos of you, and they've been taping your conversations, very reminiscent of when you find that Hartman's been taping all these conversations with your wife in Alan Wake in the office, and also very similar to when you find in the prime candidate sector of Control, you find they've been monitoring Jessie and surveilling her. Just a very, the thing you see in all these Remedy games going forward as well are these big reel-to-reel tape decks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really like those.
Yeah.
Big fans.
It's like, I even like Hartman, Dr. Hartman in Alan Wake, totally see him recording phone conversations.
100%.
I have used reel-to-reel tape.
I'm sorry.
It's not something I would use casually for something like recording a phone call.
Not when they sell little things that are about the size of like a TV remote for probably like $40 that you could order on Amazon.
A little sound.
Yeah,
remote.
and even back in 2010, if I was,
Go to a Radio
let's say I was
Shack.
still using cassettes.
Yeah.
Why not just use a cassette tape?
Yeah, then reel-to-reel.
Why use a
little
big
cassette
ass
recorder, you don't need the
reel-to-reel?
reel-to-reel.
Well, I think that factors
You
into
buy
the
Fisher Price. You know what I mean? Like little.
Sound great. I think that factors into the. We touched on it a lot in Control, like the our perception of objects and how like if you ask the three of us, literally us, to envision an object, we can all visualize like the concept of that object even without the details. And I think like a tape recorder just takes the form of a reel-to-reel. Like that's just what we think of. Just
I
like
disagree.
you're an idiot. It's just like the save button, like is still a floppy disk on a lot of things. Like if there's a save icon
Yeah,
in
I
a lot
get
of
that.
programs, and like we haven't had floppy disks in 7,000 years.
I guess I still think of a tape recorder as like I would think of like a little micro recorder, like a memo to self.
I think
think
like
of the
Goodwill Hunting style, like Rob, like fucking psychiatrist who's
Yeah,
got like the
exactly.
it looks like a Walkman in their hand with like play, record, pause.
I
every
think of
fast forward.
the one that looks like a camcorder that we used to
You
have
just
as
said
kids.
you think of a reel-to-reel.
I'm saying no. I'm not saying I wouldn't think of a reel-to-reel.
That's what you
I
said.
think-
You literally
What?
said if you would ask the three of us, what would you think of a tape recorder? It'd be the reel-to-reel.
No,
then
I
you
said
called me
if we
stupid
thought of an
for-
object together. I think
Yeah,
like,
the object being the tape recorder.
I'm not saying it. Not necessarily us. I'm just saying.
You
calling
literally
upon
said
that.
us.
If you ask the three of us, literally us.
Literally the three of
Giving a
us.
fucking example of that concept, not specifically for a tape recorder. If you ask the three of us, literally us, to envision an object, we can all visualize like the concept of that object even without the details. And I think like a tape recorder just takes the form of a reel-to-reel. Like that's just what we think of.
It felt like
Okay, because
I didn't
It
mean
is
to
what
say
you said.
specifically of a tape recorder. Hello, gamers. I'm Epic Gaming extraordinaire Andrew Taylor. What we've just watched was tragic. Clearly, Matt Hall has made an effort in editing this video to make me look like a fool. I'm here to set things straight. Now, I have been in contact with a psychology professional. No, really, I'm serious about that part. And I've been informed that this concept that I'm discussing in the video is that of archetypes. We're all familiar with what an archetype is: a mentor, a hero, a sage. But as it turns out, this concept also applies to objects. In my example, a reel-to-reel player is an archetype of a recording device. Archetypes can be defined as a recurrent symbol or motif in media. And as we take a deeper dive into what archetypes are, I would ask that you please continue listening me? Please continue listening me as I tell you about archetypes. Even if I fumble, I'm going to keep saying these words as it turns into blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. Hopefully, by this point, Matt has begun to begin fading the audio down, or at least, putting a cool low pass filter on there so what I'm saying isn't as coherent, because clearly I'm not saying anything at all. I'm just blabbing to the camera. And this should be the end of the bit, hopefully by now, but I kind of think Matt's going to keep this entire thing in just to make me look even more dumb. Thanks for watching, gamers. I think we all have different, for that one, that specific example, but this is something that they talked about.
You're saying other people, even though you did use us as an example, you're saying the general population, you said, what's a tape recorder look like? You'd think they'd think of the reel-to-reel. But then what you were saying was the phone line, the sex worker hotline call.
Fucking depressing. That's sad as shit.
Yeah, so
Well,
Max
first.
asks for a woman named Mona, He presses 3 for Mona,
And, she
and
says,
he's just like,
"Hey, baby,
how do
my
you
name's
fix this?"
Mona.
And it's like upsetting.
She's like, it's cool if you want to talk, baby, but you got to put in your credit card number. We can talk about whatever you want.
Killing them didn't fix anything.
And she's like, okay.
Very dark. I mean, funny in a way, but very, very fucked up.
It's a more because we have horrible.
I laughed
horrible
like an
people,
idiot at first, because I just thought
it's very sad though.
like,
For half a second, I
Max
thought it
was
was
gonna
like
jack off, and then I was like, oh, he was not gonna.
I thought it was gonna lead to like that's how he contacts Mona. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh no, this is just. I thought maybe it was still in the period when he thought she was dead, maybe.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so he was like,
whistle.
and this was just a way, or he was just looking for someone to talk to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so the other call that is recorded is Jim Rivera telling Max to get into AA.
Yeah. It's like a sobering moment, you could say. Mm-hmm.
He explains, you got to get into AA, Max.
As we learn in Max Payne 3, despite having a momentary, this like passing sort of interaction with acceptance and peace, Max does not know how to hold on to that feeling and continues his downward spiral.
Yeah, man.
And, kind of a realistic depiction in a way of a person who has either killed or watched be killed every single person he's interacted with over the past 15 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The intro to Max Payne 3 is rough to watch.
So,
it looks great.
Anyway, after you clear all this out, you head to Mona's place, which is an abandoned funhouse.
A little wacky.
And the theme of the funhouse is the show Address Unknown.
Hell yeah. This is so sick. I had such a good time with the game up until this point, but this is when I was like, fuck, Max Payne 2 rocks. This is so cool.
Mm-hmm. So there was no combat in this.
In the first, not for the first time that you're in the funhouse.
Which is cool, because I remember thinking like, man, I can't imagine what it'd be like to actually have fights here.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You do get to experience that later.
And all of Address Unknown, as we discussed earlier, is a sort of meta-narrative, about Max Payne, but also about Max Payne 1.
Yeah.
Noir, New York.
Noir, New York. Noir, New York.
Noir, New York.
And there's like, you're in the Pink Flamingo Mental Hospital. That's one wing of the funhouse. That's one of the locations from the show. And there's all these mental patients who are V junkies.
Yeah.
It's the same sound clips. You're seeing the big green syringes and stuff. It's.
I wish you kept the death sound of the junkie.
Of the actual
I
junkie.
thought they do.
Did they?
I thought they were using all the same sounds.
Oh, really?
I could be wrong.
I heard like similar cries coming out.
Yeah,
and
because
stuff.
they kill some of them there.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on them, but maybe I missed it.
So when you do finally get to Mona's apartment, which is like in an upper sort of area, you have to go out and go through the window and everything like a creeper. She is in the shower, and you do explore her apartment for a little bit. You can watch Lords and Ladies for a little
And
bit.
each other's bodies.
And then you explore her fucking box
So, I don't think you explore her fucking box.
with your
You
cock.
guys totally fuck.
Yeah.
Eventually.
I don't think you ever get to fuck.
You
You totally
fuck.
do.
You totally fuck. You put it down.
He puts it in there.
I'm pretty sure you're about to, and you get cocked blocked by the cleaners.
No, Max keeps fucking while he's shooting at him.
Okay.
He starts using his cum loads as the bullets.
He goes into shoot dodge.
Sorry, I thought they.
He goes into bullet time and he blasts.
Anyway,
So Mona, yeah, she's taking a shower, and you do see her boobs if you're using the widescreen patch, because the game is originally in 4:3. So of course they cropped the image in such a way as to not actually show the nudity. But the perverts at Remedy did not go, well, we're not actually going to show her nude in the game. No reason to model her bits. No, they modeled her bits.
They wanted to show us how
and
those
so when
fat tits
you
fart.
so if you're playing on a modern setup, you want a widescreen. There's a great widescreen patch. Not as easy to install apparently as the Max Payne 1 patch, but
Sound fix, yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't do it.
you didn't play on widescreen?
No.
No, I don't think
I tried to do it, and then I got kind of confused for half a second. And then I realized I could still play the game perfectly fine, and I was like, whatever.
Yeah, it's not necessary.
I probably should have, but yeah, I didn't do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought I went through like great lengths to send you the patch and everything
I
too.
think you did. I think I forgot about it. I just
Interacting with you is great.
I played the game.
You went to the trouble of putting in the Sam Lake face mod.
That was easy. That was an easy one.
You went through the trouble of asking me to help you troubleshoot the patch. So anyway, so I guess you guys didn't see this, what I'm talking about.
Her
but
fat tits farting?
Her fat tits
Maybe
farting?
I did. I haven't touched. Yeah.
Sorry, no.
Yesterday and today, my brain's not working. I might have played it with widescreen. I think I did install it. I'm sorry I let you down.
I'm telling you I didn't, for sure.
I doubt that Andrew actually played the game. I think he watched someone play it.
He
watched a weird video about it.
Yeah, I watched a really weird video.
Top 10 scenes from Max Payne 2.
The first scene in Max Payne on our list of the top 10 scenes in Max Payne 2. Anyway, I was just saying it was kind of goofy because I first saw I was editing a video exploring the Remedy Connected Universe, and I used someone else's long play footage because I didn't have footage of Max Payne 2 at the time readily available. And I was like, whoa, I did not see Mona's boobs the first time I played this game. That is weird. Did they do a breast mod? Did they because people do all sorts of horny mods for games.
Yeah.
But no, it's just it's literally just the camera placement. And we're talking about it for a long time, but I just thought it was funny that they went ahead and modeled it.
They put her nips on blast.
Yeah. And then, you can go into the dev mode and switch the character models. And the Mona nude model, you can load that in as
just what Mona is.
Yeah.
Even when you're playing
as Mona.
As Mona.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Just like
that kind of buffoonery did not make its way into Control.
They learned.
It was 2003, and you have to think most of them.
It was a smaller team,
and it seems like they retain employees or whatever. So they were probably also a fair bit younger, at the time. That seems like a bunch of 20-year-olds just being like, we should make video games, man. You know what I mean?
Let's
and then
put boobs in it. But this whole thing going through the funhouse, I really, 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 really like this part a lot. There's a cool meta thing, not only about Max Payne 1 and 2, but also about story and video games and narrative in general. I don't know, it's just because he's given this monologue and he's interacting with stuff and I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts on this whole sequence?
It was like a blur.
No, I mean, I thought it was really fun. I thought it was one of the more visually stimulating sections of the game. And I did really like a lot of the concepts that they touch upon, where it's because you're walking through the set of a funhouse based on a TV show that's supposed to be a meta critique of the game that you're currently playing.
Yeah.
And it's a whole weird. There's a lot of layers to it that
Yeah.
kind of like.
And
by
the cardboard cutouts and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I definitely shot a couple of them
yeah,
in
me
panic
too.
because you're
Yeah.
just like.
Did you get that one that was in a window up top?
Yeah.
I got that guy. Yeah.
That's a cool one.
Ah! Kill him.
It reminds me that whole scene. I don't know if anybody else will get this, but it reminds me of the opening tutorial level from Cruelty Squad. It's there's a very similar layout, and I don't know. That's all I could think of. Mona tells you basically like the inner circle is killing people. They want to kill anyone who knows about them, and they're going to kill Max. They're out to kill Mona. But there's a defector who's willing to speak, and he's like, "Ooh, Alfred Woden." She's like, "No, Max, it's a different guy." Okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
And she goes, "I can bring you to him." And so you go to the senator's apartment. He lives in a nice big apartment complex, fancy place.
And
And this is another really cool level.
yeah, this was really cool.
I really like this. So Mona is at the front of the building on a headset guiding you through.
Yep.
You go into a building, you find a dead guy in a bathtub, and you're like, "Oh, that's not him."
Right.
As you go through, eventually you do find the senator. He's already been killed, and the cleaners storm the place. They've already been there, but
Yeah, like they're there when you arrive.
yeah.
I think that's when you find him in that final room, and you hear the guys because they expanded on like the NPCs like talking.
Oh, yeah,
You
quite a
hear
bit.
Them. There's a lot more in this game, and they're like, "We gotta get this shit cleaned up. It's gotta look like no one's been here for years," or something like that. And then like you blast him. That's when you find him dead. But it was cool that
They have a lot of funny dialogue.
there was a lot
in
of funny
this.
dialogue, and it was just cool because you learn about like the jobs,
Yeah.
and like more about them and their organization and what their mission is through what they say. That's it.
Well,
What did you think?
Of this part of the game.
Yeah,
well, and then you also you do fight Kaufman at the end, who you think,
Yeah.
"Oh no, Kaufman." He's just like a slightly more powerful cleaner.
Yeah, he didn't
I thought-
really like.
yeah.
It
You
wasn't
mean-
noticeable. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I just shot him a couple more times probably. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I didn't notice.
It was like sort of reminiscent of like the Rico Muerte like boss battle. Where you're just like in Max Payne 1, there's like a couple boss battles. You're like, I
was-
guess that's the guy.
Right.
yeah.
When he's getting the blowjob behind the counter, and you're like, that was just another NPC in that room.
Guys thought he
Like,
was- I don't even remember fighting Coffin.
Well, you do.
you kill Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
I killed him. Oh God.
Yeah. Jim Carrey has some words for you.
Oh no, he's knocking at the door with his weird hair.
The police storm the building because obviously all this shit's going down.
Can we put in footage of Jim Carrey from the Game Awards where he's like eating the camera?
Sure.
He won't do it.
And the grinder! Are you listening to me, boy? Are you listening?
I hated that
Yeah.
so much. I don't like him.
Jim Carrey?
I think he's fine. I don't like him as I like him more as like a
Character?
as a
As like a
as a
philosopher.
character. And
Yeah.
what do you mean?
More so than like when he's trying to be Jim Carrey funny guy.
Isn't that a character?
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
but
That's
like-
kind of his whole shtick.
No, I like him more as an earnest like person, like in interviews and when he's like talking
yeah.
about like comedy as a theory and stuff, or when he's talking about just life experience. Or even I think he was on the Norm Macdonald show.
I like when he goes off the rails and he starts talking about how we're all just acting and none of it's real. And
Yeah.
no interaction you have with anybody else is actually a real interaction and everybody's just using each other.
I
And
like
I'm
some of his
I like
weird
when he
meta
goes-
stuff about
Yeah.
society.
Yeah.
I like his
I like
fucked
to
up
hear him.
political cartoons.
He gets like
you ever look at his art?
wide-eyed. He has the it's pretty
weird.
Yeah, but he gets like real wide-eyed when he starts talking about that stuff too, and he's like, nobody's actually giving you their real self when they're speaking to you. Everybody's just putting on a show.
He'll
for
do that on
everybody.
like red carpet, and they're
Yeah,
like,
uh-huh.
it's like
gonna say,
Entertainment
yeah.
Tonight.
It's
Like, what are you
correspondent.
doing at
And then-
Fashion Week? And he's like, I thought I'd come and do the most pointless fucking thing I could think of to do tonight, so I came here. And they're like,
Jimmy-
oh, and he
Jimmy
goes, look at all the
Fallon.
beautiful people. This is stupid. Why are we
Yeah.
all here?
Like I like that more than like,
Hey, look at me, I'm being crazy!
it's like okay, all right, Robotnik, that's
like-
enough.
I like both.
I
Well-
enjoy both as well.
I like Jim Carrey.
I don't.
I think he's a...
He was my
Right.
favorite.
Well, then I'll show you right now a clip of Andrew's peak comedy
Idol.
idol
That is...
in a really good performance here.
Go do it, son!
That was pretty good. I like the accent.
He's like Pac-Man.
He looks like Pac-Man. You gave me a weird look like.
So the police storm the building after all this happens, and they're like, "What the fuck? You're with again, Max? We just gave you the what the fuck at the warehouse.
Uh-huh.
Now you're here. You know Mona's a suspect.
Mm-hmm.
You're with her doing some weird reconnaissance mission and killing more people.
Yeah.
And you're like,
No, shut up.
stop! I am doing my job.
Somebody's got to do it. You're like, no.
Someone's got to kill these guys.
So you get back to the police station. They've arrested Mona. And
They got it locked up.
Max is shitting his pants.
I was just singing that song to myself yesterday. Man, I was working at Arby's and that song came out, and it was on repeat in the kitchen, and I couldn't stand it.
Here he's trying to start his own country.
Yeah.
Akon? Mm-hmm.
Akon?
He's actually done a lot of humanitarian work. I was shocked.
Starting his own cryptocurrency called Acoin,
Hell
which
yeah.
is less of a cryptocurrency and more just a decentralized form of currency for his nation he's creating.
That's scary. This is Akon?
I don't think
This
it's
is
scary.
Akon, the rapper, yeah.
All right.
He wants to make Wakanda.
Akonda?
Akonda.
I think it's cool.
I
do think that starting any sort of sovereign state is a good way to get yourself shot by the
That's-
government.
I guess
I
that's
don't
what I
think it's
meant.
going to go well for Akon. I think he has good intentions, though. Aside
Yeah.
from him saying conflict diamonds aren't real.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he refuses to acknowledge that it's something that happens. He just goes, he's like, if you were to like go to Akon, you know about conflict diamonds? He'd be like, what do you? I've never heard of that. You know, that's kind of how he like addresses it when it's ever been brought up to him.
That's weird.
Like, how do you feel about conflict diamonds? He's like, I'm not sure what you're talking about.
That's a very political answer.
They talk about that in Quantum Break.
Conflict diamonds or Akon?
All of it. He's actually in it. They scanned him.
Akon's in Quantum Break.
I don't want to spoil it for you, but you started talking about it, so.
So this is the second area in the game where there's no combat. Is the police station. You get back to the police station. Jim Brewer is putting you through the ringer, and I thought this was very.
I love the police station.
It's very much like the police station in Max Payne
Max
or
Payne.
Alan Wake.
I also
Fuck
said
my
Max
ass.
Payne.
And it's a very like it's its own kind of like environment. You know what I mean?
yeah.
In the sense that it's a fully realized area where it's like that you
It's
can interact with
huge.
everything.
Layout's kind of weird. But
Did you ever did you guys continue to go back to Jim Bravura's door?
No.
No,
I was legitimately intimidated. What does he do?
I went back a few
Wait,
times.
what'd you say?
I was legitimately intimidated.
Oh, it sounded like I was Jimly intimidated.
I was Jim carried me.
Uh,
I was
Jim's
Jim-
door? No, I was Jim tamed. Jim intimidated.
Jim intimidated.
I was intimidated.
But no, he just keeps giving it to you. You come back to the door and he's
Oh,
like, next
Max!
person that knocks on my door is gonna lose a job, and I don't think you want that to be you. You know what I mean? Like every time you go back to the door, he's like, I'm pretty sure I told you to leave me the fuck alone.
Oh my
What do
God.
you do? You know what I mean? Like just every time you go back, and it's like a unique thing. I only went back like 4 times.
Yeah.
But it's unique every time.
Damn,
That's
I wish I had
cool.
done that because everything else in the police station made me laugh out loud. I thought it was legit.
Did you guys explore the cell blocks?
Yeah.
Like the one, not
So-
the one Mona's in?
Yeah, so let's start
sorry.
in the upstairs area. So you're there
In the
and they're-
offices?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Basically, they're like, please don't fuck with Jim. He's very mad. So you go over. There's a officer taking a statement from a guy who had just murdered his wife and the mailman or somebody.
Something like that, yeah. And like, oh my God, that was hilarious.
And he gives a very long story, and he's basically sounding like a targeted individual. He believes that everyone is against him, and there's this conspiracy that he didn't actually kill them.
And the investigator's like, so you're telling me they killed themselves in your bed with your knife?
Yeah, and something like
Or
that.
something. Yeah.
And then
He's like, yeah.
you go into like another room, and there's like a projector where you see like a shot of the murder, and like it says like they made me do it, and like the crime scene photos are up on the projector. I thought it was cool. Like the projector was very reminiscent of the projectors in Control. And it was just cool to see like an early iteration of that tech, like seeing an in-game film projector, because it's not super common to see film projectors running in a video game.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing Fallout or Bioshock, you don't run into them very often. was like, just because those two games are littered with that aesthetic.
But
Are there working film projectors in Fallout?
I feel like in Fallout, you
I don't know if
press a
you-
button and then it like becomes a
Only in
cutscene.
I think only in like the vault sections. You know what I mean?
Cool.
Not like exploring the wasteland.
Yeah, not out.
But
And then if you go to Winterson's desk, you get a weird phone call. Mm-hmm. And you're like, Winterson's phone, and they just hang up on you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which should be the first clue.
Oh, and then she's pissed about it too.
Yeah. She's a sneaky snake.
She says, "Don't touch my fucking phone."
She guys going to the break room where the two guys are watching TV.
The two guys were watching porn.
Oh yeah, I shot the TV.
Why?
Just to fuck. I walked. Oh no, I didn't shoot it. I walked in and I turned it off.
Yeah.
And they both go, "We were watching that."
Oh
Hey.
yeah.
Did you touch the AC?
I did not touch the AC.
There's a big sign in the AC that says "Don't touch."
Oh yeah.
If you touch it, it breaks. And then it starts getting too hot in the building.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Like, does everybody collectively start to complain?
Someone bitches at you about it.
Oh, okay.
Someone's like, "Who fucking, you know?"
Those two guys talking about coffee or something. Did you guys see that? The two guys that
No.
were watching TV. They were like,
Oh yes.
"The fucking coffee, I hate." They're like, "Yeah, like." There's
I
only,
interrupted
like, a
their
drop left."
conversation by turning
okay.
off the TV because I walked right
did
in and
too.
just turned the TV off, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we were watching
Whoa!
that, yeah."
Oh,
I
we're
can't do
police.
any accents.
So you can go to the front desk where there's a prostitute again, being kind of like checked in or something.
It's your appointment.
But then the last area is the jail cells.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you want to say about
okay.
those?
So there's excuse me. There's two separate cell blocks. The one that Mona's on, which is where you're supposed to be going, and then there's another cell block that's pretty much entirely empty. But you can hear two guys chatting at the end.
Yes,
and
you go down there.
And you go down, and they're talking about, the one guy's talking about, he's like, "So I'm in this stolen car on my way to buy some illegal guns." He goes, "I get pulled over." He goes, "Now at this point, I don't even have the guns on me," which is hilarious. And he like keeps going and about how they like don't even realize the car's stolen. Try to say he's drunk and he's got the DUI. Then like, or in whatever, he does the sobriety test. He's like, "I'd never drink and drive." You know what I mean? Like he goes on this kind of like anti-drinking and driving rant. And then he's like, "And what I didn't realize the whole time, there's a gun underneath the passenger seat."
But the other
didn't know
part of that
'cause
is
it's a stolen
that
car.
every time he says something, he's like, "So I do this." The other guy goes, "That's fucked up."
Yeah.
And that's like, he goes, "Oh, that's fucked up."
Yeah.
And it's like that's it, you know.
That's a continuing theme. And then inevitably he's like, so they arrest him, that's why he's there. Turns out the gun was like used in a murder. And
Yeah.
he does again, "Oh, that's fucked up." And then he goes, after that long rant, he goes, "What are you in here for?" He goes, "DUI." And he goes,
Ooh, that's fucked up.
It's a very good bit. It's a very good bit. And so in another on the other cell block, you got Mona, and then there's also a man who can't stop vomiting.
yeah. He's like, "Oh, we just cleaned that up."
Yeah. You come around the corner and just.
Mona is begging you not to leave her alone in the police station because she fears that she's a target of the cleaners, even in the. And Max is like, "Mona, you're crazy."
And this is the first hint where she's like, "There's people in here, trust me, who are working for them." You know what I mean?
But-
like,
And you're like.
Did this remind you of anything from the future?
being, I don't know.
So
There's the police department in Alan Wake.
Alan Wake.
and
being
there's a
locked
guy
up.
who's begging you not to leave him alone in the cell because the darkness is
yeah.
gonna come get him.
That's right.
And it's like it's,
Oh, he was
it's like
right.
a,
He's like, "Can you turn the light on for me, please?"
Yeah.
And so you can turn the light on or whatever.
but he doesn't want to be left alone in there. It's just I was like, man, that's such a callback
Little
to
Easter egg.
the Mona being like, "Don't leave me alone in the police station in the cell here." It's like the same scenario.
That is pretty cool. Yeah. Why are you looking? Why me?
I thought you were gonna say something.
It's cool. I'm just like in my mind remembering that segment.
You're exploring it through your mind palace.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's any other connections to be made.
There
You
is
do
one.
see-
I asked you about one. I don't know if you got back to me. I feel like it was a message you ignored. I could be wrong.
I would not intentionally ignore a message. I would
I'd only
accidentally,
ever do it.
absent-mindedly miss one. What was it?
Do you remember finding the man who died in the cabin in Alan Wake? Mm-hmm. The moonshiner?
The guy.
Or the same guy. It's the guy from the jail cell.
What?
Do you know what I mean? Remember he was like, he was going to steal some of the moonshine from the Anderson farm? and you find him dying in the upstairs of the cabin.
Which
I
cabin?
didn't make the
It's one of the
connection.
cabins on the Anderson farm.
I didn't make the connection that was the same fucking guy from the jail cell.
Oh. Well, he says he gets attacked by his friend. His friend had become one of the Taken.
Okay.
And when you go downstairs, he's like, oh, I guess that's so-and-so. And the guy with the axe comes in through the window and he attacks you. But he said, like a real bad follow-up to a real good movie where the best friend is suddenly the bad guy, are his dying words. This is about the reaction I got when I sent you the message online.
What was that? What's that in reference to?
It's in reference to...
Who's the best friend that becomes a bad guy?
Well, we'll find out by the end of this discussion.
All right.
I feel like
okay.
I'm the only person who played this game.
No, I didn't
got
know
it.
if he was okay.
I was
see the
thinking
connection. I didn't know if he was like referencing like a specific thing, like a movie or something. You know what I mean? Like he was referencing a specific movie.
He's
in the same way
referencing
that like
Max Payne 2.
Yes, I got it.
It took me a second to get there. Because I'm like, Max Payne doesn't have any friends.
But yeah, I was gonna say
Well,
best friend connection.
essentially.
Oh yeah, I know, I hear you. He has like people who he like
That was my block. I
likes
was like,
more than other people.
So totally unrelated to this. No. Mona's like, don't leave me in here. I'm gonna get hurt.
She says they're gonna axe me, Max. They're gonna axe me, Max. And, he says,
And Max
"Mona."
goes, I don't fucking care, man. You're gonna be fine.
It's like, "I took too many pain."
safer you could be, Mona.
I've had
a
like
cop
15
shop.
Quaaludes.
Mona,
today.
this is the safest place in town.
That's
that
good.
was like a meat of. It sounds like a South Park voice.
Yeah, you're almost going for Eric Cartman.
I don't think that's true.
But you're getting there. You're getting closer.
You walk away. You go, Mona,
Say, shut up, bitch.
Mona,
Bitch.
sit down.
Jesus.
It's fucking stay
Mona?
there.
You start
Mona?
rattling the
Mona.
cage.
I do not. I am at work and you're embarrassing me. I already got caught killing a bunch of people with you. I don't need this right now.
You're at work right now. This is
got-
my job, okay?
You do this one more time.
At the fun house, I don't care how you talk to me. But at work, I need respect. You walk away.
Why's your shower so big? It's a gigantic shower. We didn't mention that. It's like
I didn't notice.
the room. Like the room was the
Well, it's also
shower.
like a fun house, and like to me, it's implied that it's like a communal. It was initially a communal living situation, so she's borderline showering like a fucking locker room. You know
Oh
what
yeah,
I mean? Like
that makes sense.
you walk away from Mona, leaving her in the prison cell, undefended.
You see on the surveillance cameras, the guys busted in the prison. The cleaners blew open the wall.
Yeah. What?
Literally tunneled in and shot everybody. They shot the two that's fucked up guys. Even
Yeah.
they killed everybody. It's very
They
upsetting.
just start blasting.
Mona,
So anyway, I started
Mona,
blasting.
Mona.
somehow like drops down from the ceiling.
I thought she hid under the bed.
I thought she hid under the bed and then
Oh, really?
slid out.
Yeah,
like a
it looks
snake.
like she slid out.
I
from
thought
under
she
the
dropped
bed.
down from above.
She like spidered. She like
That's
fucking
what I thought she did.
Mission
I was
Impossible.
like, how did that work?
I'm like 90% sure she crawls out from under the bed. Like she rolls out.
If
from under the
if
bed.
I were storming a place and trying to find someone that if I was like, listen, we are going to break into a police station. We're going to explode a wall and literally storm the building.
and kill someone who knows we're trying to kill them.
And there's going to be casualties, but we have a specific target in mind.
Yeah.
I would look under the bed. I would go,
If you knew that she was
Especially
also in
'cause
the
it's-
holding cell.
yeah. It's like,
It's also the only fucking place to hide.
yeah, you
It's
can't
one
really
object.
hide under the bed in a prison cell.
Because they're like they're designed for that.
Yeah.
Right.
So that you can't.
So I'll suspend my disbelief here. Mona grabs the keys off of a dead police officer and escapes.
Maybe we were both right. Maybe she was doing this, you know what I mean, like in the ceiling, but to the bottom of the bed.
Under the bed?
So she wasn't on the floor, but she was, you know what I mean, like flush with the mattress.
She's a strong lady.
She is.
She is a strong lady.
You bust your way out of the police station and you get picked up by Vladimir Lem.
But this was such a cool sequence. The entire process of like exploring the department, learning the layout, like getting a feel for all these people. It kind of reminds me of the Dark Brotherhood quests, and well, not in gameplay wise, but in the Elder Scrolls games where like you join this faction or any faction in any Bethesda game, you learn like but specifically the Dark Brotherhood, because you learn all these people, you get a feel for their
Do you mean in
personalities.
Skyrim in particular, or
No, all of them, because
I don't think I went to their lairs in the other games.
Oh, okay. They at least in Oblivion and Skyrim, and I'm pretty sure all of them. You meet all these people, then they all die. Like something horrible happens, and usually most of them are killed.
I thought the Dark Brotherhood wasn't in Oblivion. I thought it had a different name.
The Mythic Dawn. No, it was the Dark Brotherhood.
Oh, okay.
Mythic Dawn is a.
I thought there was like a hand.
That's the Dark Brotherhood.
Oh, I guess I just thought I had a different name.
No, there's some sort of separation. I know what you're talking about. Different assassination squad. But yeah, because that's what happens. You get a feel for all these people, and then they fucking all die, and you're unarmed. So you have to remember that. You have to like find a gun,
Yeah.
and then you have to begin like fighting everybody. But like you only have like a shitty pistol at first.
Another cool section where you like in Max Payne 1 where they reset your inventory and you got to like be resourceful and figure it out.
It's a couple of those.
Yeah.
moments.
I love that shit. Mm-hmm. It's
I like
very
too
cool.
when they you have to take that quick second when it's not as though you're totally out, but they're like, we left you with these 2 guns, you know what I mean? And you have like a clip for each one. And you're like, okay, so I got to like assess the scenario.
You got to make your first couple bullets really.
You're like,
count.
okay, so I have 8 shots for the Desert Eagle, and there's 2 guys in this room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have to kill them efficiently so I can get their ammo.
And like these are the situations where like when I first played these games, I didn't really use bullet time, and this time around I was like, I got to use it because I'm also playing on a higher difficulty level.
Absolutely.
These are situations where it's like, oh yeah, this would suck in any other game, but the fact that you have the bullet time,
and you can just
you can use the tools you have to
slow
get through
motion
these.
dive at them.
Yeah, I found myself only wanting to do shoot dodge and not use bullet time, but like I would die a couple of times and then I would just hit bullet time. And
I've
I'd be
been
like,
really
get through it.
confused with when you guys talk about shoot dodge and bullet time, like they're 2 separate things and not like.
they kind of are.
Well, I mean, like when you shoot dodge, you are in bullet time, though,
Right. You
correct?
can also just turn on bullet
Yes.
time.
Yeah, but it doesn't
okay.
drain your meter, which is interesting.
Shoot dodging.
No.
Right. It
yeah,
doesn't.
that's fair too. Yeah,
Which is thank God.
I'm just like sometimes when you I thought you meant that you weren't in bullet time while shoot
I
dodging.
see what you mean, yeah.
You made it seem like they were.
we probably should have been.
I
more-
didn't.
I-
Turn,
no, I
I
just
didn't,
had to
I didn't like turn on the bullet time that often though, where you can just turn it on while you're walking
Yeah,
around.
no,
I
yeah.
kept forgetting it was a thing.
It was
As did I.
primarily shoot dodging. It was only like I only used it a few times when it was like there's someone on a balcony who I've been shooting at for 5 seconds, and then I'm like fuck it, and I just bullet time and blast him in the head 5 times, and then
Yeah.
bullet time and keep going, because he's moving back and forth too much. You know what I mean? But
So, when you do get out, though, Lem picks you up and he asks you a question about fate, and he goes, if the only choice is to do the wrong thing, is it really wrong? Mm-hmm. And that he kind of says, like, that's his. You all right over there?
Yeah, I was just.
I feel like there's just like something crumbling onto you.
There's a lot of stuff going on upstairs, and they're just slamming a bunch of sawdust down on me.
He basically says like what his, guiding principles are, and that he like doesn't feel bad about doing bad things because he doesn't feel it's, if that's the only choice you have, then it's not wrong, which I think is, spoiler, foreshadowing his, heel turn toward the end of the game.
I mean, that even gets addressed. You know what I mean? Like where he's like he basically was saying this to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I also like Max's response where he's like, even though Max kind of almost exists, you would assume by a similar credence, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like he has a similar motto or whatever. He's like, if that's what you're doing, then I think you've already, like if that's the mindset you're operating in, I think you've already made your decision. Or like something along those lines where it's like, there's more to it than that, and clearly you've already made the decision if this is the fucking,
Yeah.
conversation we're having.
And the other thing that, I thought was a funny sort of like, this was the first one that really stuck out to me, besides like, there's The Sudden Stop, which is an Alex Casey book.
Yeah.
Because, Max Payne says something about the fall and the sudden stop, I think. Or no, that's Alex Casey, but he's referencing The Fall of Max Payne.
A noir love story. You just fart from your shoulder?
Yeah. I've been practicing.
Now I can't remember what the actual quote is.
What are you looking up?
Max Payne says, oh, God damn it. I can't believe
This
I don't
week
have the
on
quote
Max
here.
Payne Says.
Our lobsters.
This is killing me.
Scorpions.
He says something like, a whiskey and a warm bed The Things That I Want by Max Payne. And he lists a bunch of stuff. That's one of the Alex Casey novels.
Oh, okay.
The Things That I Want.
Oh, that's cool.
I think it's funny. It's like The Things That I Want by Max Payne. They built it into the next game.
It's the whole.
Stop being deniers that they're connected.
It's the
I'll
whole
fucking
shit.
Lose it.
I feel like you wouldn't have to provide any proof other than the covers of the Alex Casey novels looking just like Max Payne. Like, why is there more?
That's an Easter egg. Shut up.
Oh, sorry.
I know
yeah,
people
you're
are
right.
just
It's a
people.
reference.
People like to be like, you don't understand how intellectual property works, and that'd be illegal if they were doing that. I'm like, I don't
It's
think
the
you.
same
I don't think
fucking
you
cover.
understand how intellectual
Yeah.
intellectual property works.
Yeah.
Intellectual.
I
I
think
can't
you
say
understand how intellect works.
Interrelated.
So The Things That I Want is the first chapter of part 2 of the game. And so Lem brings you over to Mona's funhouse. Mm-hmm. And this time, you go to the funhouse
It's full of bad guys.
full of bad guys.
Full back.
Oh, and this was badass too.
Full bad boys.
This was really cool. I like the part where they're like, address unknown. That show was great. And he's like, I never watched it. And he explains the whole plot. And he's like, cool. Thanks for spoiling it for me.
Right.
Yeah.
I threw
also-
a fucking grenade at those guys.
I like that where it's
did
like
too.
the first time you go through, it's similar like the police department kind of where like you go through and you see everything and then like shit blows up, goes down, you have to like go through the broken wall and like discover, you know what I mean, find your way out. And in this it's like your first walk through the funhouse, you're in the funhouse. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You're going through like the predetermined path. In this one you kind of get like the behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're in the scaffolding and you're going around behind the set pieces and stuff and it's cool to see it from like a different angle.
Going
You
through
know
the
what I mean?
annals and like the backstage.
Yeah, you're through the bowels.
There's actually a couple parts where you're able to activate one of the set pieces.
Whoa!
Yeah, where the
okay,
giant
that one was
the giant
lame.
needle
The
Oh, the
needle,
needle's
yeah.
cool,
comes
yeah.
in.
Because you
And
can
then
kill a
the-
guy. You can kill like 2 guys.
The boxes.
The boxes, yeah.
The boxes were funny. Like,
They're
what
like
the hell?
shaking.
It's falling over.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, threw a grenade at them too. And I was like, oh, you idiots.
Naturally.
So you get through this, and I don't know why I'm confused.
I'm trying to remember because there's a fire sequence.
That's not yet. That's
But
later
not
in the
yet.
game.
Okay.
Yeah.
You revisit places a lot in this game.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
do.
Which is why it gets a little bit confusing. And because the story is a little bit disjointed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel like I had such a good time just playing this game that I didn't suck it in as well, or soak it in
Yeah,
as well.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I played it over the past 4 days.
Yeah.
And I'm having a hard time recalling some things.
Which is so weird.
Well, it's because I think, like we've mentioned already, in Max Payne 1, it's kind of like story's engaging, combat, you know what I mean? Not as engaging. Max Payne 2, combat, super engaging, story,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Maybe takes a back seat, but
It's-
like maybe it was just such a good experience that I just like wasn't as I was just like, yeah, let's go. This is
I
awesome.
didn't miss the main beats of the story. You
No.
know what I mean? But it's like
The beat that I'm missing is how do you get from the funhouse to the construction site? I guess you meet up with
You have-
Mona and you just go there.
Yeah, but I think that's just it. I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you find Mona in the funhouse or whatever, and then you go. To
So
the
you're at
construction
the
site.
you're at the Castling construction site.
Did you say Lem brings you to the funhouse though?
I thought so.
No, because don't you have to go get him at the construction site?
No.
No.
He picks you up from the police station
Yeah,
basically.
he picks you up outside the police.
And you're like sitting in the car talking.
Similar to like in Max Payne 1 when you walk out of the burning restaurant
that's
and
right,
he's just
yeah.
like, "What's up?"
I got you, fam. Get in.
So this
Not how I expect you to sound, Vladimir.
this sequence blowing up, essentially there's like a bunch of cleaners, and they're this is like their turf. So they start
Yes.
taking their suits off, and they're like wearing like other outfits, and they've kind of like their disguises are off.
They got their
basically.
shorts on and
Yeah,
And they're the balaclavas.
they're wearing
yeah. So they're looking more terroristy
they're
now.
wearing their etnies, you know. Just cash.
This I really loved the construction site level.
My
It's
note for
sick.
this is great sequence. This whole thing, so it's called blowing up because they have these giant pallets of explosives
Yeah.
and ammunition, and there's just shitloads of explosions
Yeah.
all through this.
So awesome to just shoot dodge into a room like blah, blah, blah.
I also like,
hit this thing and they make it explode.
I liked that it was like it's obvious that the big like rectangular red boxes were explosives, but they don't really make it clear right away that every ammunition box is explosive.
Oh,
Yes,
You know
these
what I
guys
mean?
are
So-
building an insane arsenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it
And-
is ridiculous the amount of, like, an army's
Like the
worth.
the armory that you find on the boat in Max Payne 1, you're like, fuck, that's a lot of guns. This is like an entire building.
With
full of
every
them.
room is like that.
Yeah.
Just pallets.
Which is cool because then that affords you this different play style where like you don't have to worry about ammo as much. And if you want to use the badass gun, you probably have enough ammo for it.
Yeah, I know. So I
the
believe you
enemies
get
do
the
as well.
This isn't when Max gets the striker for the first time, but you get the Kalishnikov, or however you fucking say that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them too.
Yeah, like, and you are just constantly at full ammo pretty much.
I use that the most.
I'd say
That's
that
throughout
and
the game.
Yeah.
Later game, I got into the striker for a little bit, and I started using the M4 or M14 or whatever, just because I had ammo for it.
Yeah.
You know, but I could really swap between that and the Kalishnikov because they were pretty identical.
I like the range on it and stuff, just how it felt. So, this section has a lot of verticality. You're going
Yeah.
through different levels of the building, and
Like crossing over like old parts that you had been previously, like when
Yeah.
you first entered.
there's like holes in the floor. You're like looking down through shit. And,
Yeah.
there's a lot of opportunities to like throw grenades into rooms and
Yeah.
throw grenades at guys. And also, this is a great example of the AI being like, sometimes like getting out of the way of an explosion, like,
And then like coming around and flanking you
Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
know the building better than you do. You know what I mean? Where like they'll suddenly come around the left and you didn't even realize you could get back through that.
They were
you know what
very-
I mean? Like
Opportunistic as well. Like there'd be times where like in a lesser well-programmed game, if I was like, it's not a great example. If I was like a floor below them and they were looking at the ledge down at me, like it was programmed in such a way they'd still shoot you.
oh,
You know
they
what I
start
mean?
going at you no matter what. Yeah.
Like yeah, like if they could see you, if they had line of sight, they're gonna shoot you.
and then half
You
the
know what
time,
I
once
mean?
they notice you, they'll like traverse a distance.
Yeah,
to
they'll
come
get
and try
to
to
you.
kill you.
they will go down several levels. So this whole fucking scene is just crazy. I mean, this is probably my favorite part of the game in terms of combat. These two chapters like side by side.
It wasn't the most visually appealing.
I liked the
Scene?
aesthetic of it though.
Yeah,
felt
I
very
liked the
real.
lighting and stuff. That's what I liked about it. It felt like you were at a construction site.
And there was
like if you
the-
were at this large scale of a site, you know what I mean. This would be the
Called Choir.
Castling,
Was there?
which I think is like the castling self-defense or home
the castle
security, because they're like,
Law?
because your home is a castle. Remember that
that's right.
commercial?
Yeah.
So again, like they everything that there's a commercial for on TV does get linked to somewhere in the game.
right.
Yeah, like the one. Remember the gun? It was the Patriots Colt 45.
Oh, what was
or
it
whatever.
called?
It was like the American Redeemer or something. Or
It was the Patriots something though, or
Yeah.
Americans. I just remember
Avenger?
it was like there was like a possessive S on it. Or I
Right.
thought that was very funny.
and the guy had spoken a voice like this: "None of your enemies will blow them away."
I don't think I put it in my notes. I didn't, but yeah, I really thought that was really funny.
I feel like a dummy. I had such a good time with this game, but yeah, details are lost on me.
Well,
It was the combat was pretty fast paced too. You are just kind of plowing through quite a bit of it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's like it urges you to keep going. And so unless you're really paying attention, sometimes just at least like your motivation for what you're doing in the moment can get lost.
You guys are catching
sure.
me catching me lacking right now.
That's cool.
it's not that cool actually. It's pretty lame.
Yeah,
Fucking
it's
loser.
3 lame.
So, this sequence ends, and you.
Blow the fuck up.
Well, I think what happens at the end? Don't you like get like crushed in some rubble or something?
Oh yeah, you're
Well,
right.
you get blown out of you get blown out the
Right.
window, and like you fucking hit a pipe, and you're like, I got it, I can hold on, and you can't because then another explosion happens, and you
Yeah.
fucking fall. You hit the board, you crash through that board, hit another board, roll off that one, hit the ground, and then you're like, oh, I'm okay, and then a fucking board nails you in your face.
Right,
and
and then
Mona
you're
watches
out.
all of this happen.
She's doing
Just
like Bob
Max,
Saget style commentary, like it's America's Funniest Home Videos. Oh, geez, I gotta go. So and we'll get to Max Payne 3, maybe even in our next episode.
Oh my god.
But there's a scene in Max Payne 3 where he takes a similar tumble,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And he's like not, it's funny because in both games he's like jumping around on scaffolding and taking all these tumbles, and he's like kind of fine.
Yeah.
And Max Payne 3, you can see he's just like
Like, God damn
It's
it.
also supposed to be like he's older, right? It's like
yeah, he is like 10 years older,
Yeah.
basically.
yeah.
There's so many.
It's like 25 versus 35.
Yeah.
This is really like, I think he does towards the beginning of the game. I won't give you the details, but yeah, there's this really cool like sequence where you like jump off a building, slide down like the rooftop of one level, shoot a guy. You do that to get advantage to shoot on a guy.
I'm not going to give anything away. I'm just going to walk you frame by frame
I'm
through
not
the
telling
scene.
you. I'm not telling you who it is. I'm not spoiling any story beats. And then he lands in a pool, and it's just so fucking sick. But yeah, his cadence is just like, he's like he lines it up. He sees that that's the only route, and he's just like, oh, he like gets up.
Right. Whereas in this game too, like it's just funny that he's more willing to take these like insane risks.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Well, and it's also, as Andrew touched on, and we'll touch on it again once we get to that part, but he says that like about 3/4 of the way through this game is when he's like, this is the first time I felt like I wasn't ready to die.
Yeah.
I didn't want to die. So it's kind of like he does have a death wish. That's half of this. Is he's willing to do these extreme things.
True.
Because he's like, fuck it, if I die, sweet, man.
Yeah,
That was the
'cause
goal.
He's not going to commit suicide, but
So-
he's not going to not let himself get killed.
At this point, you take control of Mona,
Oh.
which I thought was really cool. Where it just like I think it like fades to black and then it's like Mona sex, and
Yeah,
you're like,
and she jumps down off of a thing and she's totally naked.
yeah. So
Is that-
were you guys surprised by
You get
this?
Full bush. It caught me off guard. I
No,
wasn't
she's
anticipating
completely waxed.
No, she was.
Oh, okay, sorry. No, but no, I was not anticipating it. You guys did a good job of not like ruining anything for me. You know what I mean? As far as like big things go in the game, it was pretty fucking cool.
It was awesome.
I was stoked on it.
She handles identical to Max Payne, even
Pretty
th-
much.
She has
might-
bullet time as well.
Might be a little bit faster. I don't know.
She feels almost as though it feels smoother a little
Yeah.
bit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like at least like the way she moves, and I don't know if it just felt quicker because you're smaller.
That's what
You know what I mean?
Hard
But
to
you
say.
did feel quicker.
She also has like bigger long range weapons like from the get go.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Just the
the
carbine
one
or
gun you have,
carbine.
no, the gun you have is literally the same rifle you've been using, the Kalashnikov, but with a scope on it.
Oh,
That's what you're
interesting.
using, yeah. Because it's named, and I only noticed that because I was like, oh, cool, and I'm going to find another sniper rifle later in the game, and I was like, oh, it's just this fucking AK-47.
Feels
with a
great.
scope.
It's
It
so
does feel
good.
super
Yeah.
Like popping guys from a distance with that. And this is another one where, there's one section in particular where there's like, like a narrow,
Urethra.
I don't even know how to say it. It's like, it's like a silo-esque, narrow thing where there's scaffolding
several,
and it goes all the way down. And you look up, there's like 4 or 5 guys, and they just start firing on you from down
there,
below, from above. And like, you gotta kind of like go through the scaffolding.
Oh, I remember
Yeah,
this.
like
This
shoot
was
between
sick,
grates
yeah.
and
Yeah,
stuff,
and
yeah.
it's like, and they can if there's like, because you have like like a rough scaffolding with just like big planks,
There's
Yeah.
holes. Yeah.
and there's it's not like it's just work scaffolding, it's like scrap stuff. So like there are like gaps between the boards, and they can like fire between the floorboards and
Yeah.
stuff at you. Like it's very realistic in that sense.
That was a really good. I playing as Mona felt really cool, and I like that they kind of tried to be like she's the sniper. You know what I mean?
Yes,
She's the one
I
from
was
this.
gonna say that.
And so they kind of not all of it, obviously, but like a good chunk of the combat, even outside of like the co-op shtick things they do in a minute. You know what I mean? Which I don't mean to say shtick in a negative way. You know
No,
what I mean? 'Cause I
yeah,
liked
just
the
the-
sequence that comes up.
Yeah.
But even in just like your solo Mona fighting scenes, like it's built for you to kind of use that distance and
It
to
definitely
use the
encourages, that long distance stuff, which
you to,
plays
like-
in perfectly to that next part.
yeah.
Right. So yeah, it does build up to a point where Max is down on the ground, and you're way high up in the building, and you have to
You get to see it
use your
happen.
sniper rifle.
You get to see that incredible fall happen a second time.
Yeah.
But this time you're like over here and you're just seeing. It's so fun. That scene was so funny to me because
howled.
it's like he's just suddenly another like NPC character model, and you just hear.
Dong ding.
Because like when you see it, it's so dramatic. It's in slow
Right.
motion, and then suddenly they're like, "Here's it in real time," and you're just like, "Oh fuck, shit, fuck!"
One of the things
hits
that
him and
was
she's like, "Max, are you okay?"
and you still got your little
the headset's
headpiece
intact.
walkie-talkie. Like that's the way you communicate is through like headsets.
Yeah.
Like Xbox Live.
Max, Max yells out. He says, "Mona!" And she says, "Max, we have the headsets. Remember?" And he's like, "Oh yeah."
Max, you didn't say over.
My favorite part all the time is like when she's trying to talk to him on the headset, and he's like, "Can't talk right now." And then he's like, "But this is happening right now, though, and also this is happening, but can't talk.
I can't talk.
Can't talk. Get up." He's like, he gets back on to be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna need your help, Mona, but I can't talk right now." And he's like, "You're talking to me."
One thing that they mentioned, you know, they being Remedy folk, mentioned is that you don't get Mona doing internal monologue. Like Max narrates
Oh, you're right.
everything still, and so when you're playing as Mona and you're not seeing, you know, what she's doing because Max doesn't know, you hear him like assuming what's going on and kind of like filling in the gaps, you know, as best he can.
Oh my god, that was genius.
Because you
Yeah,
still hear
cool.
his where he's like, in this scene that comes up where you watch him fall again, he was saying things like, "I was hoping that she'd make it to the other scaffolding in time."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Like you said, where he's assuming what's happening
that's
from his
so-
perspective.
And it's
I didn't pick up
it's
on
nice
so
that they
smart.
didn't have her like,
Now I'm Max Payne.
I'm no damsel in distress. Now I'm gonna give my like dramatic monologue. You
Yeah,
know,
because who wants to hear a woman talking?
Exactly.
Well, it's also-
Finally someone said it.
it's
I'm
just like
kidding again. I sounded like a bad guy in this episode. I'm joking.
I'm not.
hey, you got one kind of joke.
Well, if I say it and so many times, is it really a joke,
Such a
Matt?
fan of post irony.
I prefer pre-irony.
pre-cum.
I'm preing right now. I'm gonna pre.
The tip is wet.
All these are great comments. I think it's great because I think there's something about Max being that sort of narrator, and I think it'd be really corny to hear another person like
Super.
do it, you know?
Yeah.
Because like, and I don't subscribe to this, but there's a fan theory that, you know, basically Max is completely fucking insane, and that's why he sees himself on the TV. That's why he keeps like seeing like all these meta narratives all around him, and the fact that he has psychotic episodes where he's basically having like extreme hallucinations.
Yeah.
And he is basically, you know, anytime he's lucid, he's acting like a complete fucking maniac.
Yeah.
Like I don't really subscribe to that theory that he's just insane.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, I don't know, that maybe there's more to it, but I always hate that fan theory because you can apply it to anything. I think it started with like in the first episode of Pokemon, Ash falls off his bike and hits his head, and that's when he goes
it's
into
like
a coma.
in Rugrats, all the parents are actually dead. You know what I mean? Like shit like that.
Well,
where they're,
that
like,
one's true.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah,
Whoa,
yeah,
that's crazy. But those other ones,
The grandpa murdered everybody.
yeah. Well, it happened. It's in the Hanukkah special.
I saw the Hanukkah special.
Well, you didn't
that's-
look close enough.
That's
You don't know
where
what I'm talking about.
That's where I learned
what
the
did they
word
call
shmagegi.
the fucking
Spaghetti.
the
What? I'm sorry.
the Maca babies.
What? Yes. What word did you learn? It's not like you just said. That's
Say
where
it
I learned
again.
the word spaghetti.
No,
It's like say the word again.
I'm so it's close to spaghetti.
You just said the word.
Shmagegi.
Did you hurt your spaghetti?
Yeah, it's like it was a term they used to describe, like, I think somebody got bonked on the head, and she's like, you just got hit in the smagegi. Smagegi?
Did you hurt your spaghetti?
Something close to that.
Schmagegi ta.
You just got fucking bonked, dude. It's peanut butter spaghetti time. All right, carrying on.
Whew. Did you guys like these sniper areas where you're basically Max is like, and this is one minor complaint I have with the game. Basically,
here we go.
was Max is like, I need you to cover me while I run across the field and open this door. And he's like, would you believe it? The door doesn't open. Will you do it again, please?
I like how progressively he like almost gets more frustrated, and it doesn't start with the "can you believe it?" Like the first story is like, "This one's locked. I'll try another one."
Yeah.
And then he goes over. He's like, "This one's also
I believe
locked."
it's 4
Yeah.
times.
And then he's like-
I think it's twice and then twice.
He's
It
like,
could
"I don't
only
know
be
if
3.
you'd believe it." Well, because then there's not just the doors that are locked, but he also has to. I gotta cross the courtyard and get to
Yeah.
the gate, and then I'm gonna open the gate. Now that I'm at the gate, I'm gonna go through the gate and get to the door.
And then you have to like go around
Door's
the
locked.
building and find a different vantage
Yeah,
point.
you have to
Yeah.
like backtrack, then come forward. So I
I
thought
fucked
this was
part up a
cool.
couple times.
Max kept dying for me because
Yeah.
I can't fucking
The
shoot
first time
anybody.
I did it, I fucked it up. On this most recent playthrough, nailed it.
Well, the first part too, it's where waypoints, you know what I mean, really come into play like in like newer games, you know what I mean? Where even in like Alan Wake, where you could be like, okay, this is where I'm headed. Whereas sometimes it's just like he was like, she had to move to the scaffolding, and I'm looking around, I'm like, there's fucking like 17 scaffoldings here.
No, I
can
did
get
get
to
a
all
little
of
bit
them.
lost a couple times. And
Yeah.
but the thing is, whenever I got lost, I would find like a stash of pills or something, or I was like, oh,
Or an enemy would start shooting at me, and I'd be
Yeah.
like, this is a
yeah.
direction.
But
I was
when you-
guided by enemy bullet fire.
If
Like,
you
that's
if
how I
you
knew
do
where
get
to go.
lost, there's almost always like a stash of ammo or health pickups
Yeah.
off the beaten path.
That's
so
fair.
I think they kind of like knew that you would get
Yeah.
a little lost, and they're like, let's throw them a fucking
But they also
bone.
like you kind of get like soft locked sometimes when you're doing that, where like if you take too long and then you finally realize where you're supposed to be going, by the time you get there, Max is already
dead.
almost dead. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
really?
And then,
Yeah, that happened to
Because
me.
it's the same idea where we'll get to later with another escort mission, where like if you hesitate for like just a couple seconds, or like you go in the wrong direction for half a second, you turn around and suddenly the person you're escorting has 7 people with shotguns
yeah,
just
totally.
fully unloading.
Yeah.
into them. Yep. But no, I thought it was cool in concept. I didn't really like it. I didn't have a ton of fun with the
sniper
snipers.
part especially.
The sniper part especially, I didn't have a ton of fun with.
But being Mona, otherwise,
Otherwise, the combat was fun. But
I really liked-
specifically like I enjoyed more going from scaffolding to scaffolding
Yeah.
than I did picking off the 3 enemies that were fucking shooting Max, who's killed 100 people until now. But now suddenly he can't kill these 2 guys.
yeah, I guess he was probably just playing helpless.
Yeah, he's a damsel in distress.
He just got bonked. Maybe,
that's true.
Maybe give him a second.
Yeah, but
maybe.
like you can also hear him the whole time being like, you know what I mean, and like
yeah.
he's occasionally still killing people too. I don't know. It felt it was cool to be Mona. That part specifically felt a little bit like
it made sense
fucking
that you
shoehorned in.
at least
Right.
It felt like a Rockstar mission. I'm not gonna lie to you. It
I
felt
feel
like
that,
a
I
Grand
feel
Theft
that,
Auto
I feel
mission
that.
where it's like go here, then pick up this guy, bring him back over here, and then you got to bring the car back to the spot you started.
follow the train. I do think, at least in those sections, it made sense as to why Mona could have a better vantage point. Like he was
Yes.
like
Yes.
typically Max was like under. He had the
He
low
was pinned
ground.
down somewhere.
They
too.
just
like, there's
they drew it out for
barricades.
too long.
I agree. It could have been a cool, quick thing.
I like the length.
I think they could have maybe executed it better, at least in the sense where you always like the length. But anyways,
It was good. Yeah.
I feel like if it was like you're in that first courtyard, and then he gets through the first door he goes to isn't all 4 fucking doors aren't locked,
Right.
And he just goes right through, and then he's like, all right, before I head out into this next yard, I'm gonna need you to cover me again. Like that would have been a good way to draw it out, instead of him being like, I'm gonna make a fucking pentagram right now.
Right,
paths I'm
that's the
taking
part.
through
That's
this
the
one
part that
area.
specifically felt like a little much. Where I was like,
It felt so silly.
I was like, I just need to like walk for a while and then do the same thing again. Where everything else in the game flows so much, like
This
that
was
part
a
felt
very-
like a little hiccup to me.
And I
but
did
whatever,
like-
it's such
yeah.
a minor
I
complaint.
guess
did like the-
narratively, I see why that'd be frustrating, but at the time, I was just loving, just like I felt like I'm helping Max, and I'm like getting these super. It feels like you said, it feels great to get those kills with the sniper.
Yeah, it's very satisfying to get the shots, but it's also like sometimes it's like even the angles you're at, you're like, this still isn't a good fucking angle.
Yeah,
And the
it
AI
just
moves
No,
forever,
sometimes,
so-
yeah. So when you finally do meet up, Max and Mona are reunited. Who's there but Valerie Winterson?
No,
And
why?
she's like, I'm just gonna arrest her, and you're like, oh no,
Weird you already have your gun out.
because I'm a cop. Do you know anything about America?
And she's very much like, Max, mind your goddamn business. This has nothing to do with you.
Also, what the fuck are you doing here?
Also,
He's like,
why are you fucking everything
nothing.
up?
And Mona's like, she's gonna kill me, Max.
I just got here.
She's like
Max.
whispering in your ear.
Max, we didn't even bone yet. You got, I don't think. So, she's gonna kill me. So what happens is,
Max, we didn't even bone yet. I don't think she can't remember either.
Honestly, Max, I don't remember whether
Max,
or not we...
you gotta admit, it's been a pretty crazy 24 hours.
Honestly, I'm having a hard time keeping track of it.
I mean,
Max
when-
is like, yeah.
Same.
So you make a split-second decision to shoot Winterson. You shoot your
Blasts her.
partner,
He fucking blasts her.
and
But,
then what?
and then Mona successfully escapes. But from the grave, or from the ground,
From the grave.
Oh, graves are in the ground, but she's not quite dead yet.
Winterson whips up her Glock 9mm, I don't know, guns and blasts Max a couple times as well.
Right. So he falls, and and goes down a little trench.
He go.
Huh? It felt very similar to when, and again, I keep drawing these comparisons, but they're there. Mm-hmm. It was very similar to when Nightingale fires on Alan Wake, and Alan Wake is like gets shot at and like falls down into the trench.
Yeah.
It's like it felt like the same scene in so many ways.
Right.
The Remedy vocabulary of like Max Payne falling into the trench, like all of these words would be highlighted in a Wikipedia page that you could click, and it's just like
while you sit in your room like with like mushrooms growing in the corner, you keep pissing in, you know what I mean? While you're like you have like 37 Word documents that are just about like the connection between like the word trench in every single Remedy game.
Is that a thing? I just noticed that like I've been playing Death Stranding this week, or for the past 2 weeks. When you piss outside,
3 weeks.
Really?
You've been
Maybe
playing it for a long time.
It's been a minute. It's been maybe a month.
It's April, Matt.
Anyway.
I have a feeling it's been about 2 weeks, but
Yeah, I think it's only been 2 weeks.
when you piss outside,
you
it starts
piss?
to grow mushrooms. You have to
Immediately?
piss sometimes.
Like the mushrooms immediately start growing.
A little bit, and then like when more and more people piss in the same spot, like the mushrooms grow, and then like
What?
helpful like bugs like grow in that little like mushroom. You know what I'm trying to say? It's a world building thing.
That's
Are you
hilarious.
fucking with me?
No, but you said pissing on mushrooms or something.
No, you with your piss corner full of mushrooms. Well, because mushrooms,
piss
they
make
grow in
mushrooms?
moisture like that.
it's not just moisture. It's also like the breakdown of things and the fact, like it's the same way that mushrooms grow on shit, because it's you've sucked everything you can out of the nutrients. So now the next step is for this fungus to come in and eat the rest of it away, which is why something like waste, like piss or shit, can only be broken down more by fungi such as mushrooms.
Okay, and if
yeah.
this seems totally off topic and unrelated, here's a picture of Sam Lake in a Death Stranding t-shirt.
That's pretty good.
The other thing I want to mention is that, did you guys notice throughout this area, you know, I am rewinding a little bit, but throughout the area where you are Mona, there's those canisters that are like, they're tall, cylindrical, I don't know if they're like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like a butane canister or something.
Oh,
They're-
like a big CO2 container. Or
Yeah,
something.
and then you shoot them and they flare up and explode.
Yep.
Those are all over Alan Wake.
Yeah.
You use those to like fight the Taken.
They're in all of like
like
the
the barrels?
industrial areas.
They're tall cylindrical canisters.
They are
You shoot them and the top flares.
Oh yeah, those are like
They're like
gas
big-
canisters.
Yeah, I don't know like
Yeah.
what kind of gas it is exactly.
Yeah,
but
there's
like,
some
No,
in
but
the
they
first game.
always hold some sort of gas in them.
yeah,
whether it's nitrous or-
I've never seen those in games.
Speaking
Then
of
like they're
fish lock.
all over
Yeah,
fucking.
It's probably, I don't know. It reminds me of oxygen tanks, but I don't know.
It's just
why
a
they
it's just a
have-
canister.
Yeah, but I just thought it was funny that I was like, oh shit.
That those are because you shoot the tops off
And,
of those.
like
and
I
Alan
didn't
Wake
find
to
those useful
fucking-
at all.
Yeah.
Like at one point there's a room. Ramona, she like walks in, she can pop like 3 of them, and they're like right there. And then all the guys are like on the other side of the room. They're like, okay, cool.
Or they all run
Yeah.
past it because those ones take so long to blow up.
I couldn't make.
There's
good
the one
use
where
of those.
Max is like, you have that quick. Like, I think it's the first one. Max is like, shoot those, take them out. And so I shot him, and both of them ran away from it before it blew up. And I was like, fucking super helpful.
I remember there was so many. Jumping back to Max Payne 1, do you remember the ones that would be on a shelf and they would rocket launch?
yeah, those
They
were
rocket
cool.
launch?
Yeah.
I liked those.
Dude, those made me laugh so fucking hard because they got
love
me.
those.
They killed me like every time because I would just be like blasting wildly at a wall, you know, with the Uzi, and then I'd hit one of those and it would come kick my ass. It was so funny.
So, after you escape from Winterson, she shoots you. Of course, you go night-night again, which
You-
means
you have the
another
epic
nightmare.
fall. You have the epic fall, the fall of Max Payne.
The second fall in this one chapter.
Now
Yeah.
you're in
But this is the fall.
a
right?
nightmare version of no. The fall of Max Payne is a metaphorical fall.
But also, like, this was a very pivotal moment.
Oh,
I thought it
yes.
was. I thought it was a double.
Well, because this is what he
double
says at the
fun.
beginning of the game. This is a moment when it was too far gone. You know what I mean? There was no turning back at this. You know, that wasn't the end, but it was the point of no return.
Yeah, that's
Right,
why
so
that's,
you're-
like I took that as so metaphorically, but also this was his big fall because he got fucking almost killed.
I'll accept it.
All right.
So you're in a nightmare version of the hospital, and you're hearing Mona's sexy tones calling to you. you pull her out, she's on a slab, and
dead.
I don't know what those are called, like the weird capsule hotel style.
The morgues.
Yeah,
I think they're-
just the
but it's
their
also in a hospital room.
body
Yeah.
refrigerators. Who knows?
I think
It's like-
it's
It's like a weird combination of like a regular examination room
when
and a morgue wall.
when the rest of the exam rooms are full, they do have to bring you into the morgue, and they're like, "Sorry, this is the only room we
Anyways.
have
And as you're
available."
going through the nightmare version of the hospital,
There's a dog losing his shit.
yeah,
you better find it.
I hate dogs that can't chill when they're in they're in my house.
It's my dog.
It's my dog in my house. So you're going through the nightmare version of the hospital kind of becomes a nightmare version of the jail, and you're seeing all these doppelgangers of Max in the cells, like talking to himself, and each one represents a different sort of like phase of like the grieving process.
Yes.
He's like acceptance, denial, depression, all these things. And,
Anxiety is one of them or whatever, and it's
yeah. And it's also calling back to the Address Unknown Funhouse. I think you're actually in the Pink Flamingo Mental Institution when you're there.
You see, there's the cardboard cutouts and everything. They're there.
So one of the things I thought was really sick was as you're going down this corridor, and it's a scripted kind of sequence, it has like trigger points.
Right.
You're going down the corridor and you're seeing all these different versions of yourself, and then they're talking to themselves, and it's again so similar to the guy who's like mumbling to themselves in the jail cells in both Alan Wake and Max Payne 2.
Right.
But he like his head turns to the ones as he's like approaching them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
It's a very little detail, but when I see characters like look at stuff in games,
Like that you're not making them look towards where
Yeah.
like their head just naturally kind of goes.
yeah, like
So-
in God of War for PS4, which is coming to PC probably around the time this video releases.
Yeah,
I can't fucking wait.
I've heard a fair
I'm
amount
so-
of hype around that. Yeah.
It's like one of my top 10 games of all time.
Yeah.
I'd love to do it for the show. I'd definitely replay it.
Once it's on PC, I'm ready to go.
Oh, for sure. I'd
Yeah,
double it.
that game is so fucking good. But what I was going to get at is one of the things the game will do is, there's like hidden items, like maybe like a thing in a tree you have to like shoot down, like
Right.
loot and stuff. Kratos will like kind of like glance at things when he's
Oh, hell
idling
yeah.
That's such
to
a good.
hint to you where things are. And it's
Yeah.
so subtle. The game doesn't really, I don't think, even mention it. But it's, I don't know, those sorts of things. I think I did see Alan Wake doing it sometimes.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I don't think they fully implemented it in Alan Wake. I think he might have, just to cover my ass.
I know he did occasionally,
But-
I don't know what he would have been looking at.
in
I feel like it was
American
generally
Nightmare,
like the TVs and stuff as you pass by them.
That
yes,
could have been it, yeah.
That's it. That's
That's
definitely
yes.
it.
Yeah.
But in American Nightmare, it was integrated into the combat, which was so important.
Oh, really?
Because
he would like
there's-
signal where enemies were coming from?
Yeah, because like if you're aiming at a guy this way and he hears something, he'll cock his head a little bit, like, what's that over behind
Right,
me
like
while I'm
listening.
still
That's
shooting
great,
this way,
which is cool.
Which is great because you get ambushed from the back in
Alan Wake,
so
yeah,
much.
that was one of my. I mean, not to get into a different game, but that was a major complaint. Was that in the combat a lot of the time you get blindsided
You do.
over and over again. Sometimes.
And usually there's some sort of cue, but you miss it. So having another like just literal nod is awesome, and I think Jesse does that a ton in Control. It's so just tasty. It's such a cool thing that they do.
So the chapter there was called a binary choice. And it's the binary choice of do I fucking shoot Winterson or not?
Yeah.
Because I think it's implied that if that Mona would not go.
Well, and
Peaceful.
she
Winterson would have shot Mona.
Winterson
Yeah.
stated outright, she was like, if she resists at all, I'm gonna shoot her down. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm gonna drop her right here.
So they would have either killed each other or one of them would have died. So this is that kind of idea where it's
So-
like Max had to do something.
In this dream sequence, you'll see a TV screen, and it says a binary choice on the TV,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks almost identical to the Night Springs logo, which I just thought was like just cool because and that's the Twilight Zone logo.
Yeah.
right.
But
yeah.
I just thought it was cool to
Oh,
see
yeah,
like
yeah,
them
I
kind
didn't
of
pick
like
up on that.
drawing those.
It's
I
like
don't know if you guys have ever watched like the first, the first couple seasons, the first run. I don't know how many episodes there were. I think there was. I'm not getting into the numbers.
Of the Twilight Zone?
Yeah, of the initial run of the
yeah, no,
Twilight
I've
Zone.
I've seen a handful of the. I haven't just watched it. but,
It's
you
such
know.
a good show.
Oh my
I
God,
mean,
yeah.
crazy. It's how well it holds up, and
That's the thing
writing.
that really blows me away with it, not to get into it more, but just the idea that like there's those topics that are still so relevant today and that the perspective of that they're coming from hasn't changed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's still a very interesting perspective.
Yeah.
Not to get caught up in.
And it's nice when a work of art I like makes a nod to another work of art I like.
Which
Yeah.
Remedy fucking loves to do.
Yeah. I mean, the references are cool. Like sometimes where it's like,
Passwords, John Woo.
yeah, it's like that. That's cool. But like also, it's like on a deeper, more intellectual level. There's like other stuff from like, oh, cool. Not only do they like badass shit, but like there's clearly like an appreciation for some like a wider array of influences.
You're not just like, I love cops and mobsters and
Yeah.
cops and robbers shoot loot.
I've seen a lot of people talking about Max Payne where they're just like, man, if you love pop culture references, you'll love this game. And I'm like, maybe, yeah, but like they're very not always subtle, but they're like, it's not like
It's not in your face.
SpongeBob. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not. You don't see a SpongeBob poster. Or they're talking about like
Right.
friends.
It's
You know
not
what I
like
mean? It's always very tasteful.
not like GTA. Like we were
Yeah.
just talking about online. Like sometimes those references in games can be so over the top.
Yeah.
Anyway, you eventually do get out of this dream sequence, but the idea of this nightmare sequence is like, loss of identity, and you're seeing yourself as the killer, like you saw yourself as the killer in the first game and in that doppelganger sequence, and he's going through a lot, and this isn't the last time we kind of explore Max's psyche.
I'm gonna check my notes for something. Please continue.
After you come out of this nightmare, you're awake in a hospital, and you have no guns. How did you get to the hospital? You conked your head.
You're not
I'm
really
assuming
sure.
that you just got brought to the
You
hospital.
took a tumble. Well, when you fall, they say he's down there.
Yeah,
Like
you're
you can
right.
hear the other cops being like, he's down there, go get him.
So whoever was with Winter Sun was like,
Winter Sun.
go get him. The Winter Sun.
And now you know that Winterson is the dead lady from the intro of the game.
She sure is.
It's all coming together. There's a cleaner on the other side of the hospital door. Hospital door is shut. He can't get in,
Man, this
but
part.
you can get out,
Yeah.
which didn't make sense to me.
No, it didn't at first. Took me a second to pick up on what to do.
No, I mean like, why can you open the door but he can't?
I didn't know
you-
that one either.
Can you
'Cause
trigger him before opening the door?
Nope.
And he can't get in?
he comes up and he's
I thought
like,
he was guarding the door.
They want to kill you.
Yeah, but he's like, I'll get in there, Max Payne. I'll fuck you up.
Do hospital doors lock from the inside? You know what I mean? Maybe.
I guess. Yeah, it seems weird that all you need to do is walk to the door and push it over, and he gets hit by the door and you get to run away.
I
But
thought he was always facing like outward from the door.
For the once it
Initially.
starts up with the opening cutscene, he's looking right at you, yelling
he's
at
like
you.
talking
through
shit.
He's like, oh, never mind.
the-
It was fucking hard.
and then turns around and just posts up.
This part is difficult though. You basically
kicked
need
my
to
ass.
like run through the hospital from the intro of the game again. Once more, they reused certain maps and
Yes.
levels in a way that I'm sure helped them to turn this game around in like
The short
under
time
2
they did,
years.
Yeah.
I think
But that doesn't feel lazy or insulting.
it doesn't. But I think that both
not
these
questioning
like
that, I'm
Max
saying
Payne
it
1 and 2.
It sounded like you were posing
sounded
that to
like
us. You're like, you guys weren't insulted by that?
Lazy fucking stupid. Brevity. No, it does not feel lazy.
No,
It's-
same way
it's
that
too
the
unsafe.
using photo references didn't feel lazy.
No.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they did a good job at doing stuff that was clearly saving time and money without feeling cheap. Revisiting these things made sense in the context of the game.
Yeah.
And also you revisit them in such a different context in the story, where you're like you're predator or prey, or
Yeah.
you're like it's just a normal everyday interaction, and now suddenly it's a panic scenario. Like
And it's never the exact same path. Like when you're in the police station,
Right.
like you have a set area that you can go to, and then part of that is like where you end up leaving out of, but then it turns into another spot as well. Like it opens up.
I don't think that happens in Alan Wake, except for the lodge.
Yeah, I think the lodge
You
is
see,
really-
the daytime and nighttime.
Dude, man.
And there's obviously just suddenly you can go into like the offices. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I don't think that's really a
Yeah, they didn't do a lot of reusing of the maps, I don't think.
no. But in this one, they did a lot because you have to go back. And and the thing is, I think the reason it doesn't feel lazy is because it fits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like go here and then come back here because this is where we meet. We meet here every time. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like,
Right. When
it's-
some games do that, where it's like, cool.
yeah, every time you finish a mission, come back to this house so that you can report to all of us.
Oh my God.
And then like in every Fallout game or
Ah.
fucking Evil Within 2 when we tried to play that, we had to
Wow,
keep coming back to
yeah.
the one surviving guy in the house, and you're like, cool, man. I
should've
really know this one section of the neighborhood super well.
Yeah.
If you would come with me,
Mm-hmm.
we could still be out there.
So, what you have to do is
Wow, I never like conceptualized that that's why games do that as a hub world.
So it's easier, I'm sure.
just, like,
Just
come
like
back
be
to it,
like,
yeah.
oh, I don't have to fucking give you a new mission in a
Yeah,
different
like,
location every fucking time.
dynamically. All right.
yeah, they're efficient, but they know how to work with a minimal palette, in a way that feels expansive and organic. It never felt really, and that's why that one part where you're doing the sniper stuff felt a little tripped up to me, because it was the first time where the limited resources and reusing things felt a little, you could feel it stretching.
Yeah.
Whereas with this is like the fourth fucking time you're in the hospital, I think.
Yeah, because you open up in the hospital and then like you're not there, you know what I mean, and then fucking
a
and
nightmare,
and then in the nightmare, and then you're in the police station for the like third time in the nightmare, you know what I mean, and it's
Yeah.
just so. But they always like it never feels pigeonholed,
Right.
Like the construction scene did.
So you shove the door into the guy, and he's like, "You're fucking dead, Max Payne." Oh, you idiot.
So did you guys run immediately, or did you think you could kill him by knocking him down over and over again?
I thought I could get the gun from him.
That's
did
what I
too.
thought. I thought if I kept knocking him down with the door, that inevitably, because if you just shoot dodge into somebody, it will knock them down.
So
Yeah.
in Resident Evil 4, you know how you can like hit guys with the door?
yeah.
You can
Oh, they're
take
like,
out
"Ugh."
like you can kill like bosses with the door. and
That's
stuff.
right, in Resident Evil 4.
Like 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 the Wolverine
exploit.
claw guys and shit.
yeah.
Can you just slam the door open? Is that like an ability? you have?
Basically, yeah.
Does Leon
Just
do
the way
his
you
super
open it
punch?
is like aggressive, you know.
Yeah,
what I
you
mean?
can
Like-
either like inch the door open or like kick it open.
Okay.
When you hit enemies with the door, so there's this guy I watch on YouTube sometimes. I don't like his newer videos as much, but who am I to
His
judge?
first album was way better.
But he like calculated how much damage the door does to people and how much HP enemies have, and it was like, well, let's see, what can you do
Yeah.
using only doors? So I mean I mean to say that because that game logic.
Yeah, it carried over.
Hey, maybe you could, if you, assuming that the door takes off some HP,
Even if it's just a little bit, you know what I
right?
mean? I
Maybe you
figured
do it 100 times,
he'll die and give me his gun.
right?
Nope.
Apparently not.
No, he does not.
There was, I don't want to say it's a lack of conveyance, but I didn't really know what to do here because I wasn't sure. I was like, yeah, am I supposed
Yeah,
to
that's
have
fair.
a gun?
I think
was
so.
it in the room or something?
The only way you get it is when you like the way he's
You also-
threatening you
you
kind of
don't-
implies you need to run.
If you don't have a
That's
gun,
it.
yeah, it's important to mention. I mean, if you've already gotten this far in the game, you've probably in this video, you've probably gotten throughout the game. You don't have a melee without a gun in this game.
Yeah.
Right.
Which you did not in the first one,
No.
which you usually had a bat
Yeah.
or a metal pipe. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? You
Yeah.
had one of the two. The one scene where they give you nothing and you got to do a similar
have the
thing,
bat.
you have the baseball bat. But I've noticed it's also something that Max
funny to
Payne
think that
does,
Max-
and I think it's because I
Max
don't,
is useless without guns.
Right.
He just can't fight anybody.
I don't know if it's just like the style of these two games in particular, or if it's just because they are older games, so they don't have some of the like quality of life things newer games have. Where that was not the only position I was put in either of these two games where I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do right now? You know what I mean? Where you kind of have that half a second where you're like, it is not clear where I should go. You know what I mean? Or like the way I should go about it.
I wonder, like, does that bother you when it takes like a minute? Maybe a minute to figure it out. It's like, I know some people complain about that stuff where I'm like, I've played games like Bill and Ted for the NES. Oof. I owned that game as a child.
Really?
I put hours and hours
are
and
you
hours
serious?
into
Like,
that
where you
game over
gotta
the course of years.
jump through time and like.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, that was a game I owned as a kid. Over the course of my childhood, I put many hours in that game, could not figure out what the fuck to do.
No.
And I know that's like a game, I know the nerd has like tore it apart and stuff. But like, there are games where I could play for hours and never understand my objective.
Yeah.
In a game like Max Payne, where I'm like, am I supposed to run? Oh, I guess after like maybe dying twice, I'm like, I got it.
Right.
Like that sort of problem solving, and leaving you to like figure it out.
Yeah.
That is something that's been almost entirely removed from modern games.
Yeah, and it's really, I don't feel like that's asking too much. You know what I mean? That the only part that ever actually upset me was the ending scene of Max Payne 1, where I genuinely could not figure out what to do. Because I couldn't shoot the wire through the gate.
Yeah.
Right.
I
wasted like all of my ammo, you know what I mean? And like nothing doing.
It feels like in lieu of an actual boss fight, they just gave you like a complicated thing to figure out.
Same again.
Yeah.
And that's a theme in this game as well.
I would say Control is the first Remedy game where they actually handled boss fights decently. And even I know some people have complained about the bosses in Control as being kind of lame. They're not incredible. It's Remedy's first time actually, like Alan Wake doesn't have a boss.
Yeah. Anytime you have to fight
Final
somebody
boss, I mean.
Yeah, but
Not
anytime you
true.
have to fight any like people who are slightly stronger,
What about
it's usually just like, oh, I have to remember. It's like a platformer where you're like, oh, I have to remember the pattern.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's
With
it.
this, it's like, oh, I have to dodge the garbage that the tornado shoots at me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think this was a bad experience. I think maybe if they sprinkled a little bit more of that, like, figure out what to do earlier on, maybe I would have been more like, oh, okay, I just don't have a gun. I
Right,
because
because it is mostly
it's not-
straightforward.
it's not like
Sometimes even though.
because
Go
like
ahead.
sorry, like you're playing a shooting game, you don't have a gun, you need to kill guys, go find a gun is the
Yeah.
obvious solution. But for a second, I was like, man, what do I do? And then it took me a couple tries to actually successfully do it.
Right, and so you're basically running through this hospital. You know, you go through the like different office buildings or office
I got
rooms, I should say.
so good at that like first sequence where you like knock the guy over, go up the stairs, get into the next room.
I died a few
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Eventually, you know, you do find a gun on the ground from like a cop or somebody
Yeah,
who
a
does
security guard gets shot.
Right.
4 bullets.
Right.
So you gotta
Yeah.
really make it count.
And there's like 2 guys right there in front of you, and you gotta just pop them real quick. Great sequence though. Ultimately, you know, even though it is a little awkward to begin with, and you're not really sure what to do, it's like,
still really cool.
I don't know, use your fucking brain.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I
Like-
hear you. I do, because it's like, I feel like some games suffer where if that mission was in a game that came out today, you would not only have a thing in the corner that was like, knock down the guard outside the door and then try to run out and escape from the hospital.
Right.
But then you would also like click in the left stick and it would show you a highlighted route
Yeah.
of like the best way to get out.
That stuff, I
Whereas,
remember
like-
I first saw that in Dead Space, and I was like, oh no.
I think there's a
Yeah.
middle ground
there
that
is.
you can reach to. Like, it would have been nice if something in the corner was just like objective, escape from hospital, or like run out of hospital, and then I would have been like, okay, I'm just supposed to fucking get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's like you got to know where to go though. Like
That-
you have to
You
trial
still
and
have to
error.
figure it
You know
out.
what I mean?
Yeah, that can be
I feel like
useful.
there's a good middle
Because
ground.
I did die a couple times being like, I can't knock the gun off this guy.
Yeah. And there was also like a couple like I went to the wrong door. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once or
Oh,
twice,
yeah.
And then like you're like fuck, and then you're ruined. You know, because you get shot 4 times and you can't do anything.
Eventually you do get a gun.
Yes.
But even then, there's like a sequence where there's like you open a door and there's like a stairwell, you know, like a big, you know, industrial stairwell like you see in big hospital buildings. And there's just like a fucking parade of like 9 guys. And they all have very powerful weapons.
Yeah.
And you don't.
Very hard part.
Yeah.
And I tried to grenade him and stuff. It was not working.
No, well, because the movement the movement is so dynamic of like some of the AIs that like if you throw a grenade like in Max Payne 1, you're gonna kill every enemy that's right there because they're all moving as like a pack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But in this one, it's like you hit them with a grenade and you'll get like 2 out of the 9.
But
Right.
the other guys,
But the other guys will be like, "Fuck a grenade!"
My note in here, it says, very hard.
there was a, I think it was in the first game where you have to move through some apartments. Maybe it was the second game, and there's like a dumpster fire down below you, and you have to cross. They're like very destroyed apartments, and you have to like cross over some scaffolding, or literally just like, no, this is better than the second game.
We're going to get to this
Yeah,
part.
We're about to
shortly.
get to it. All
that.
right, never mind.
Yeah, that's a great scene.
Yeah. Well, I guess my point still stands. There's a couple times where I would stop playing, and then when I came back, I was like, oh, like where am I? I was a little lost, and I could see that happening in the hospital
Like
as
you
well.
go take a fat dump, and then
Yeah,
you come back
and
and
you're
you're
like,
like, "Where
huh?"
was I?"
Totally. God, that was like 6 hours ago. I don't know.
That's like
But
a week
okay.
ago.
I couldn't remember which game that was in.
So, after you get through the hospital, eventually,
Go to hospital.
I'm gonna go hospital. You decide you need to go meet up with Alfred Woden, and you learn that Mona was telling the truth. Like, the cleaners
wants
or not the cleaner, the inner circle is trying to
Moida,
clean people out.
everybody. Yeah.
But you learn that Alfred Woden is very sick. He has cancer. He's in a decrepit state.
He's in hospice.
And that you learn that his former protege is Vladimir Lem. So, between the first and second games, at some point, Lem joined the Inner Circle.
Mm-hmm.
Alfred was his mentor. And Lem decided, fuck this, I'm going to use the cleaners to take over the Inner Circle and then own both the Inner Circle, which has obviously like powerful connections.
Yeah, they're the
clearly,
fucking Illuminati.
but then also own organized crime. He's trying to fucking take over the entire underworld. And I think that's sort of, in New York State and abroad, but still, I mean, the scope of it is like pretty intense for like one guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you're like, okay, Alfred, thanks for telling me. I'm gonna go to Lem's club.
Yeah, because he's like, I'm done waiting.
He's
So
like,
far,
okay,
I've been
buddy.
letting
And so
Lem
this
come
is the
to
part
me.
that was like kind of confusing to me.
So, correct me if I'm at the wrong spot, but I believe I'm at the right part. It is kind of because they mentioned real quick why, like, when you're on your way to Lem's club, you mention that. But then it mentions very quickly that, like, there's a meeting between Gagnetti and Lem already taking place that you're going to be a part of as well, or whatever. You're, like, heading there to crash that party.
The thing I didn't get was there's like the really nice ballroom and stuff, right? It's like the fancy bar. Is that vodka? Is this the former Ragnarok after it's been remodeled?
I believe so, that this is the new vodka, because then from there it's like it seems like you're going through buildings Lem owns. You know what I mean? Like, I've got to get to the garage.
Okay, and when you get there, you show up at the front door and they're like, "Oh, the boss said this," and
Yeah.
I like you just walk in the front door of this club, and you're just like, "Well, I'm here."
Yeah, I know.
There's just like guys.
I stood there for half
standing
a
around.
second to like look around. And I was like, "What's going on?" And like the dudes are just talking. I'm
Yeah,
like, I
they're
just
watching-
fucking walked into the
they're
building.
watching-
I was like, "What did
Even Max is just like, "Ah."
yeah, we're both like,
And then they're like, hey!
This is a great level. I fucking love this whole
It's
sequence.
so good. This is the one that I noticed. You get two options on what you can do, where it's effectively like
There's different paths.
you reach a point in the apartment buildings when you're talking about where you had to cross the scaffolding
I got fucking
with the fire.
lost there.
Yeah, because you can go all the way upstairs. You know what I mean? You can go all the way upstairs, and then you find the guys watching porn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then you go down like another floor, and you can go out, and there's like
Yeah.
the scaffolding you can follow. Or you can go downstairs and just go out onto street level
Yeah.
and head out on the street to go over to the garage.
Oh!
Well, even before that, when you're
thought-
still inside vodka, you can go straight through, like to the ballroom,
Oh,
or you
yeah,
can go
yeah.
to the
Side panel.
kitchen.
Yeah.
You know, like there's different paths.
That
the
kitchen
cool
was
thing-
huge.
I don't know if you guys
Did you see that shit?
Yeah, it was fucking big.
I was like, oh my
I don't know if you
God.
guys got to what like because I assume we all chose similar paths, maybe, but like probably little differences.
I did all of it. I
Oh,
was
okay,
like,
yeah,
I was
we
like,
go
I gotta
back
look at
and-
every fucking inch of this.
Right. So I just went the upstairs route. I didn't go downstairs. If you do that, you inevitably get to a door where you open the door and there's a bunch of Gagnetti thugs or whatever standing around, because
Oh, yeah. And
Lem's thugs are all in cleaner outfits.
Yeah.
And you're killing both of them the whole time.
And
Also,
there's-
All right, let's hold that for a
okay,
second.
sorry.
Because that's a really good part. So basically, you do need to fight through vodka. You're trying to get to Lem. The club is crazy. Like there's like a giant sort of like lounge ballroom area with like a really nice bar and like seating. And it's like there's a balcony
There's
and
multiple
there's
levels,
guys
yeah.
like popping you from like all levels.
Yeah.
And as you go through, there's just like guys all over the fucking place. Like, they're kind of aware something's going on, but they're, you can catch them off guard.
Yeah.
But it's
Well, because I think
huge.
they're fighting each other too a little bit. So every now and then you enter a
Right.
room where like no one's shooting at you, and you're like, "What?" And
they're shooting each other.
Yeah, and you're like, "All right."
So then eventually you do go out of the building and you're going through these like slum apartments, and he mentions that this is like one of the few areas in the city where people are still addicted to V,
Yes.
and there's still like
And it really
There's
looks
the
like
remnants on the walls.
yeah, it really looks like the first game too.
And then at one point, some of the gangsters. So basically, there is a war. There's a gang war going on between Gagnitti's men and Lem's men, and you're caught in the center of it.
Yeah.
Some guys are like, "Oh man, this is just like the fucking days when we were pushing V." Did you hear them say that? They're like talking about basically being V dealers back a couple years prior.
I think I missed it.
How they were like,
Everybody's
"Yeah, this
dying
reminds me
again,
of that time."
Yeah.
They're like, "There was that cop," and they're like talking about Max Payne.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I remember this.
Then do you guys find the old man watching TV?
Yeah, asleep.
Just sitting alone. Yeah.
Did you talk to him and stuff?
I shot him in the head.
Really?
God, what the fuck?
Okay.
Another homeless guy in the dilapidated
I
apartment?
don't know if he was homeless.
He
He
didn't
was
seem homeless. He
in
just
an
seemed like
apartment.
I just like, so I had encountered, like, you encounter other people watching TV who are enemies who then stand up and are startled by you. So I just walk into a room and went boom, and then like, you know what I mean?
Okay, well,
kept
first I walked
going.
in, I turned off the TV. He was like, "Oh, that's all right. I don't mind. If you want to turn it off, that's cool, man. Whatever." When I turn it back on, he's talking. He's like, "Yeah, like he basically tells us like there's this like story about this like cop who like killed all these guys and like they killed his family or something. Like it was crazy. Like you all kind of like the guy, and like." He's basically being like, "Yeah, you look like Max Payne. I think, yeah, it reminds me of that story about that crazy cop." He goes on for a while. Like he really. I'll play a minute of it here, but
They said on a real case that took place around here sometime back. Yeah, I remember reading about it in the paper. Sure, yeah. This is a rerun anyway. I've seen it before. No problem.
he goes on and on and on, just rambling. Did you find him, Andrew?
Yeah, I can't remember if I listened to him. I definitely I walked past him. I saw that he was watching TV. I don't remember him talking.
The only reason and sometimes you need to interact with the people, and you can see after you're done interacting with someone and they won't say anything, Max will kind of like do like this.
Oh, he does
motion?
a little, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which I think signifies like I have nothing to interact with.
Fuck
Yeah.
off, man.
The only reason I really drew out those conversations because I didn't the first time I played Alan Wake, and on my replay of Alan Wake, I found that if you stayed in a room and NPCs were talking, they'd finish their conversation
They just keep going.
and then they'll say more shit, which is
Yeah.
like that's when
Like that. thing with
in the
Barry.
diner in the first scene, that's when the Anderson brothers are like, "Tom," like.
Yeah.
I know they call you Tom at the lounge,
Right.
but they call you Tom right at the start of the game.
And also when in Alan Wake also, when you're leaving the police station.
Yeah.
And you just stay there and listen to him as he calls.
Barry Wheeler on the
Everybody,
phone,
Barry,
yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
That goes on for quite a while.
Which is probably arguably one of the most that tells you so much more about
Oh, yeah.
those people he calls are so fucking important to other stuff. Well, and so connected to other things.
Yeah, it's really there's a lot hidden in the lore. It reminded me too of the way that hotline calls would be shorter. Then there's a long version as well. So it's like they even early on they're finding ways to get the goods to you. And then give
But
you
if
some
you
more.
want, because that's what I've always liked about these games, is it's like, you get what you put in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you want it to be a really deep game with a bunch of shit in it, there it is. If you just want to run through and murder everybody, go for it, man.
Do that too. Yeah. Have a good time.
So did you guys notice as you're going through these apartments, you need to like go out the building window and like walk along like the fucking side of the building?
Yeah.
You see like an M on the wall, spray paint on the wall.
Maybe, but not that they didn't stick with me.
There's like I don't remember how you trigger it. You need to like crouch in front of it for a few seconds or something. There's an M spray paint on the wall as you're on the outside of the building walking along like the I don't know what it's called, like just like the ledge.
Yeah.
Along
a ledge,
it's
yeah.
like a little trim. Mm-hmm. It's reminiscent of Mario Brothers, like the OG Mario, not Super Mario, but the arcade Mario
arcade
Brothers, and like you can like trigger like a fireball that will like follow in the same
What?
pattern as the Mario fireball
Oh, Jesus.
and like chase you around through there.
Wow.
And it's like a little reference to Mario. And
That-
it's such an odd Easter egg in the game.
that M sounds
cool, though.
familiar, but I don't remember the sequence.
Because I clearly didn't interact
Yeah, well,
with
we'll
it.
show it here. It's a very odd. It's like as weird as the Buffy Easter egg, where it's
That
like,
one-
what?
That one was
made
cool.
me. Yeah, I was like, I can't believe. I was like, Buffy? Like, I was like, wow. I guess it's very
I mean, it was kind of a. I mean, it was a big show at the time, but it was kind of a cult classic.
Super relevant.
Yeah,
at
I
the
watched
time.
a lot of it at the time.
I've never seen it.
Oh,
I watched the fuck out of that show.
Heard,
That
heard
and
it's great.
Angel.
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know how it holds up, but I definitely enjoyed it
Probably
in
not
2001. You know.
Yeah.
So going forward, you do eventually run into Vinny Gognitti, who is wearing a giant Captain Baseball Bat Boy mascot suit.
We skipped over you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I didn't.
It's okay.
I meant to get to there and give it to you.
No, that's all good.
So when you get down,
I just thought it was
into
an
the
interesting
buildings,
part. You inevitably hit a door before you run into Gagnitti in his baseball man suit. And you open the door, and because you're just in a leather jacket with guns, and you run into other dudes with leather jackets and guns, they're like, oh, you must be the backup they sent. And you're like, you go along with it, you're like, yeah, but it's just me left. The rest didn't make it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm on the backup. And so they're like, well, come on with us.
And
you
they're
know?
like old men.
Yeah.
It was very depressing.
It was like a Soprano style. Like, these are like old mobsters. Like, they're all 40. Like, there's
guys-
the fat guy with the fucking shotgun. Like,
the only guys left.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
they're the
Yeah.
only ones left. And so they go. And my favorite part is when you get there.
You
and I
work
wanted
together.
and I wanted to talk to you guys about this because I don't know how it played out because I jumped the gun.
I really want to know.
But
how
when
did
you
it.
get there to like the place where Gagnati's gonna be, and there's a guy waiting outside, and he's like, "What the fuck are you guys doing? That guy's a cop. It's Max Payne." I immediately started shooting them.
Yeah.
Will they just start shooting you? I'd imagine.
Yes.
I didn't even get that far. I think they got killed before that guy said that.
They died, and I reloaded.
Yeah,
because
me
I wanted
too.
to try to keep going with them. Because you got like 4 dudes with you, and I'm like,
Yes.
"Fuck, man, I'm gonna."
I
Fucking
had the exact same.
take the
You know,
lead.
my first playthrough that did happen. Thinking back,
Yeah,
That's so fucking funny.
it's so
Like,
cool.
It took me a second. I was like, "Who are these guys?" I'm like, "Am I supposed to meet up with these guys?" I was confused.
Yeah.
I'm like, "They look like mobsters." And then they all died. I was like, "Oh shit!" So I reloaded and I got them to where that spot was, and the guy, "That's Max Payne." You know, they all started blasting me, and I died again. But then I did it one more time, and I was like, "Fuck you!"
I don't care at all in a game like Grand Theft Auto when I'm like out on the city streets or like even like I don't know Cyberpunk. It's like cool, I'm on a city street. It's very unremarkable. But those scenes where you're outside on the city streets in Max Payne feel so significant to me for some reason.
It's because I feel like I felt that I had like a very similar feeling, and I think it's because of how suddenly vulnerable it feels.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the game, it's like you're barely making it. You know what I mean? Like you're just surviving. It's literally like you're fighting for your life, but you're moving from one small room to another. Sometimes like a big open room, but you're moving from room to room. So you always know if I need a second, I can just stop here. You know what I mean? Or wherever you can see every angle people are coming at you from. But like when I was outside, I'm like, am I going to start getting shot from the windows? Or are they just going to start coming out of buildings? Like I felt there's like a vulnerability to being outside that I feel
Yeah.
like
Not a
they
lot of
nailed.
cover.
Yeah.
Also, I mentioned it to you guys, but the skyboxes where there's just like the scrolling like pattern of like a
yeah.
sky. It's so surreal. It looks like it reminds me of like Quake or something. You know, it's like it's so fucking weird.
When we played Duke 3D,
Yeah.
like a million years ago on my channel before we even did Hidden Machine, I felt that same thing because it wasn't obviously as nice as in Max Payne, but it was just like a PNG, just a picture that was maybe rounded off, and the skyboxes in games, old games, are so crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like this weird liminal space that doesn't exist in modern gaming and didn't
Yeah.
exist prior because they couldn't animate those sorts of things.
Yeah.
So anyway, after all that, you do get to Gognitti, however you want to say it. He's rigged with a bomb, and so you need to basically escort him through like a series of buildings into his apartment.
Yeah.
The first time I played this, it was unbearable.
Really?
I sucked shit at it so hard he kept blowing up.
I lost him a
This
good amount
time,
of times.
I nailed it somehow, even on a hard difficulty
sure,
level.
yeah.
I don't know how if I just like had the practice,
Right.
but this is a fucking hard part.
I feel like it is one of those things where it's
I have no idea what's going on out there. In case that doesn't show up on mics, sounds like somebody's dragging furniture down the stairs.
someone's pulling a couch down a flight of stairs alone. Fucking lost my train of thought. What were we talking about?
The escort.
Oh,
with
the
Gognitti.
escort. I feel like it's 100% something that like I would benefit a lot from coming back to it a second time.
Yeah.
Because
I
the
missed
first
a
time,
lot.
well, and I kept making the mistakes of when you know it's not even knowing where the enemies are coming from, but just knowing that like you do kind of have to stick with him. Because it
Yeah.
makes it feel like he's like, I'll just stay here and be safe. You go get him. You know what I mean? And you're
Absolutely
like,
not.
lie.
It's a little misleading.
Little misleading. Which I mean, like, if you just pay enough attention, it's not hard to realize that you do need to stick with him. But there are those moments where you're like,
You can go like 10 paces away.
yeah, and then
he
suddenly
just-
he's swarmed by 4 dudes just unloading a shotgun into him. And he's just like, oh, Payne, you gotta save me.
He can't take a lot of damage.
No, he
Nope,
dies pretty
It's a
quick.
fun sequence in a way, though, after a while.
It was,
You know,
it was interesting.
you go
for
to his
sure.
apartment
liked
and
it.
you find out that he is a Captain Baseball Bat Boy fanatic.
This entire especially since he has the same voice as Barry Wheeler, they kind of occupy the same headspace. And getting to his sick ass apartment, his apartment was awesome. It was beautiful. But yeah, it was literally everything was super Baseball Bat Boy.
You listen to his answering machine tapes.
Yeah, but
The
what were
lady's
they?
like, when we play cops and robbers, you're not supposed to beat my ass. And I was like, Jesus
yeah.
Christ, this guy sucks.
He's such an asshole. And he goes on this big rant because Max doesn't say anything.
No, when he's like going off about the stuff
Yeah.
he has in his house, Max
like, I'm a
is-
collector.
Yeah.
But like, it's just such a funny moment where you can imagine it if it was like a movie. Max would just be like looking around and just like maybe scoff and like not even react. But like he can just, Vinny could sense his like contempt.
It's just, you know, that
He's like,
Vinny's
"I'm a
already,
collector."
or that Vinny's already so insecure about this that he's just like, no, it's fucking, I'm not a baby,
You
I'm
know
a
how much
grown
this is
man.
gonna be worth? I'm an investor.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is
Did
fucking
he get
hilarious.
he get stuck in his double doors as he tried to leave?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got stuck in the double doors for me too. I had to push him out by like closing the doors
did,
again and
yeah.
then hitting him in the ass with the door to like pop him out of the doorway. He just like, he was just
He's got a funny,
like just
in the
stuck in the
costume.
fucking doorway, and then he'd like stop, and then he'd try again, and like
Yeah.
just in place.
You got that walk down.
He really
Thank
nailed
you.
it, yeah.
So, you know, you get through this, you think you're getting away, but then you go to Mona. You see Mona. Mm-hmm. You become Mona. Mona's trying to get to Max. She knows that a trap's been laid. Max isn't going to make it very far without her help. So she's trying to get out of the funhouse and get to where Max is.
Oh,
Funhouse is on fire,
Hell
which is a
yeah.
callback to the scene in Punch No's restaurant where
Yes.
it's on fire. Handled a bit better in this game, I think. A little less confusing in some ways.
Yeah.
Still both great sequences.
Yeah.
I didn't really have any complaints about the first one. It was just, it more felt like the chaos of a real fire in the first one. Where you're
True.
like, I can't see where there's not fire. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And you have to just trust your gut.
Which is
But
still
great
for
sequence.
2001, man. The fire and Max Payne, pretty damn.
I had it in my notes that the fire looks amazing.
looks
Like, it's one of the
fucking-
best textures in the whole game.
Even
Oh,
the
yeah.
fire in Oblivion, which is 2006, 9, I don't remember. 4,
20?
20. I have no
6,
idea.
9, 4, 20.
They used like they like took a video of fire and then cut out all the black parts and like made it transparent and like it looks like dog shit. Like fire doesn't look good in games, but like for in 2001 for them to have made like not realistic looking fire, but like
It looks
kind of looked real.
You knew what it was, and you weren't
Yeah.
like, that looks like shit.
No,
You're like, oh, look at that fire.
It looked remarkably better than a lot of the stuff in the game.
Yeah.
And Max Payne 2, same idea.
Yeah, so great sequence, just another like intense battle
And
sequence.
this is your third time going through the Funhouse, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's
And-
so good.
And it stops you from, again, that like redundancy, the repetitiveness,
Yeah.
because
You can't rely on what you learned before
no,
necessarily.
exactly. First time you're just going through the funhouse. Second time you're behind the scenes of the funhouse. Third time it's on fire and now everything's crumbling. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like, each time it's the same place, but not the same place.
It really helps. I'm just thinking about this right now. That your starting point is never the same. 'Cause
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah,
games
that's
you
fair.
get dropped into the same spot,
That's
even if it's
lazy.
a different thing. You're just like, oh, this part again, which I know sounds very bitchy to complain about, but like,
But it's like she fucking lives there, so like obviously you're gonna start in her room, you
Yeah.
know what I mean, and have to work your way out from there, rather than like Mona's at the front entrance and now has to get to the back of the building.
yeah,
Totally.
'Cause that's
I
where her escape
and,
door
and
is.
just like having like dabbled in the game creation a little bit and like, you know, looking at maps and stuff, like you can tell when they're just like, just use the same spawn point.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
yeah.
It's like, it's not that crazy just to be like, let's have the character spawn over here.
Yeah.
Even
And then
as
rethink
a-
how we handle it.
even arbitrarily, even if it's just like come through this door instead. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, even if it doesn't, you didn't think it out. You're just like, new spot.
mentally perceive it as a new environment.
So Lem catches up with Gognitti and Max,
He do.
and it's not good. And you find out that Winterson was Lem's lover.
He was dunking it in there, dude.
Scandalous. He was
Yeah.
dropping them in.
He was
Thumbing-
dropping him in.
He was thumbing it in. Like a soft rope.
He
Yeah.
was just fucking bottoming her out, dude. He was
I was.
Dude, she needed crutches. He was destroying that. Her pelvis shattered. He was just pounding it.
She needed reconstructive surgery.
I didn't catch on to that, but I mean, I don't know what kind of weird stuff you guys look up online, you know?
It was
Vladimir Lem Rule 34.
if you had the widescreen, if you had the widescreen mod, you could see him in the background.
In a lot of
cutscenes.
Just in the way,
You
right
need
on
one of
the
those
edge.
curved extended monitors
Yeah, you need
to
a
really
3D
see
monitor.
everything.
Where he's just, leave her alone.
So, I mean, the first woman who died was also like a lover of Lem's.
Yes.
You find out Lem's a bit of a player.
He talks in the first game too. He
Yeah.
seems like he has a couple, like Max references it's one of his girlfriends.
Hey, both character models
like-
are good-looking guys, you know?
And Winterson was kind of like, I'll do anything for you. Like, I'll kill Max for you. Like,
Oh,
I'll,
yeah, she was in love.
like, you know, and Lem clearly didn't value her. No. Similar to how Thomas Zane took advantage of Cynthia Weaver's love.
No.
You know what I mean?
But it seems
that
like
was so fucked up the whole time.
What?
Cynthia
yeah.
Weaver's character.
Oh, yeah.
You're just like, why are we trying to make Thomas Zane seem like fuck good guy here? Asshole.
He's got his whole ass wife, and he's just using this other lady because she loves him. I think Lem valued Winterson. I keep saying it weird. Winterson.
Winterson. Winter's child.
Winter's child. Destiny's child. I feel like he valued her more because of her position within the police.
I don't think he valued her. I think he valued what she could do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he saw her usefulness.
Because he was not okay with you killing her.
No, he was
But
very
not like
upset.
sad.
Right, but
Yeah, angry.
it didn't seem. Yeah, but who knows what his complex feelings were because he doesn't really show a lot of emotion.
Nope.
And he also clearly is a very cutthroat son of a bitch, as he basically, you know, admitted to being.
Yeah.
Effectively asking for your blessing to kill you earlier in the game when he saves you from the police
Yeah.
station.
Yeah.
And the thing is, too, at that point, he's saving you from the men he's already sent to kill you before. So he's not really saving you. Because he
Right.
sent all those cleaners there to kill Mona, but, like, kill you, too. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
if they can also collect Max, please
So-
do.
You get shot, you go down.
right in the fucking...
Another nightmare. You're ready for the next nightmare.
People get shot in the head a lot in this game and turn out okay.
It's Max Payne.
I thought this was interesting that you were probably going in and out of it as you were on the ground.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And so in the nightmare, you're seeing on TV what's happening in reality around you, which is, again, just to bring it back, similar to in Alan Wake, you're seeing on TV what was happening to you in the cabin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, as you're like blacked out in the dark place, you're seeing what was happening in that reality there. This nightmare scene, great. I
Yeah.
mean, there's no combat or anything,
No.
but you are trying to find and shoot your doppelganger.
Yes. And then inevitably you do find and shoot and be shot by
Yeah.
your doppelganger.
And
But
and
also, is this where you find the TV episode showing what happens to Gognitty?
that's why I just said, yeah.
You said you shoot your doppelganger.
Well, I also said you were going in and out of it, and so when you're in your nightmare on TV, you're seeing what was happening around
I see
you.
what
Real
mean,
time,
yeah.
And what it was that you were seeing was Gognitty getting put through a brutal quiz game, a Captain Baseball Bat
Quiz of
Boy
the year.
Yeah.
quiz, where if he doesn't answer the questions correctly, he gets blowed up.
Which is genius. That's such an evil thing
So brutal.
for Vlad to do. But
Because then you get to die knowing that not only are you a loser, but the thing you thought you cared about the most, you actually didn't.
Yeah. Because the first question was like a softball, to use some baseball terminology. Do you remember what the second question was? It was a trick question.
I can't remember it, but I
was
remember
something like-
him being really upset because it
The answer was
sounded like an easy
yeah,
thing,
it was
but
like,
it wasn't.
actually, there was this thing that like only like the geekiest power nerd would know about baseball bat boy.
Yeah, it seemed like some sort of trick question in a way.
And then Vlad blasted his ass.
Yeah.
Right up.
This whole sequence is awesome. It really was like where I was like, wow, this game is like, it's unique.
Yeah.
A lot of games don't get so cerebral.
No.
And it was a real testament to how much they improved on the nightmare scenarios from the first game because those hit emotionally in a very similar way, but these are just constructed so much better.
Yeah, because the the impact was the same, but I didn't fucking hate it the whole time.
Right.
Are they in Max Payne 3? I haven't gotten that far yet. Does he have similar sequences?
I can't remember. It's been a while.
Just blackout drunk sequences, like drug binges.
Well, yeah. But I don't know if they
so he
get
fucking
into...
blows the shit out of Vinny Gognitti.
Yeah, and
Kills him.
you later on
Yes.
find his body. And
Let's specify.
What?
Like I said, he blows the shit out of him, and then he was like, kills him. I was like, he should specify.
Mona saves you though.
He's a sexual man.
You see Mona in your dream, and you're kissing her. It says Mona and Max on the wall and blood. She's like, Max, get up. Max, you gotta wake
Max,
up. Max,
get it up.
Max, time for school.
Max, you gotta go to work.
I don't want to go to school anymore.
I'm 45.
My mom died. It's happened in a comic you read before Max Payne 3. What are you talking about, man?
So they head together to Woden's Manor because Vladimir Lem is heading to Woden's Manor to kill Woden and finish off everything and become he killed his rival Gognitti.
Yep.
Now he needs to kill his other rival Lem, and he'll own everything. Or Lem.
Woden, yeah.
Woden, he'll own everything.
And this is when Woden fucking panic rooms himself, right?
Yes.
Right, but you find out that Mona, you still don't really trust her because you realize that she's been working with Lem.
In some capacity.
Potentially, but that she's been working clearly also with Woden.
She's basically a double agent and has no real allegiances.
Because it was like she told you earlier in the game, Woden wasn't who she was working with. It was a senator.
Right.
And then you get to where the senator is, and he's dead. But then Woden absolutely knows who Mona is, and she seems to be working in his interest to a degree as well. But then obviously she brings up the fact that her and Lem have a history of working together, and you're like,
right,
dipping your toes.
And so, once again, and I keep saying this, but as you'll see in all Remedy games going forward, there are these uneasy alliances that our protagonists are put into, where you're asked to trust somebody that you don't know if you can truly trust.
You don't fully understand their motives.
Right.
Whether it's like the guy who's supposedly taken your wife hostage in Alan Wake.
Oh, yeah.
Or whether it's the voice in your head or the hotline call, the board in control.
The
you know what I
board.
mean?
Yeah.
Like,
that one hit me the most, where at the end of the
In the
Foundation
Foundation.
DLC, I was just like, oh, shit.
Yeah. So, when you get to the manor, you're like, we can't get in. She's like, don't worry. And she like pulls the secret lever, and you're like, shit, she knows how to get in here. She's like, she's been working with Woden too. Like,
she's been fucking Woden.
Yeah. So
everyone's fucking each other back then.
She I don't remember exactly when this happens now that I'm going back to it.
It is when you go into so we skipped ahead a little bit because there's a moment before you get to the part where she finds the secret lever.
Right.
You have to fight your way through the manor for a bit.
Right.
Before you guys meet. It's another sequence.
Like a large
where
courtyard or something.
Yeah, there's another sequence where she's like covering you.
Yeah.
And you're going through.
As the AI is covering you and you're playing as Max.
Yes,
now.
yes. And then inevitably you reach that point where you're like, it's locked. Don't know how we're gonna get in. She's like this.
Right. So that part where because there's several times where she's up on the balcony, she's taking the high ground, you're taking the low ground. Fucking cool part of the game. Yeah. Great level again.
And she it seems like at multiple times leading up to it, she's kind of trying to get ahead of you because you're kind of leading the way at this point. And I thought that was a cool sort of foreshadowing thing that wasn't necessary. Like if you only notice it in hindsight because she keeps going, I'll hop down here. It looks like I can get down over here. And Max is like, no, stay up there. Trust me. I don't want you to get hurt. And she's like insisting she be down there with you. You know what I mean? Like following.
Yep.
And you're like, no, stay up there. You'll find another way around. She's like, okay, fine. You know what I mean?
Do you guys remember when you're in I don't know, just the whole thing. I'm trying to think of a specific part, but I'm realizing I'm thinking of multiple parts and playing them.
Yeah,
but that whole battle through the opening parts of the manor.
Oh, spot on. Especially
sick,
it's another moment where you have there's different paths you can take to a degree, but there's all the different levels.
Yeah.
Where you're going underneath the balcony or the balcony you just crossed, and there's guys on there now again, and they're all fucking. You have to figure out where people are shooting at you from. And
that was I love that where it's like
sealed.
as you lace back through areas that you've already crossed because you're on a different level now, and you're looking at them from different perspectives. It just made the buildings feel so real and
Yeah.
you know, just very good design.
It was super. It seemed it's like in a lot of games, like Control, it's easily explained away, simply by the state of the building you're in. You know what I mean, and the shifts. But in other games, it feels like you walk in and you're like, this is an impossible structure. You know what I mean? Like this couldn't exist logically. Whereas in this, it's like an architect designed this room, this building. You know what I mean? And then they just 3D rendered this building that an architect designed.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
So
We had a fan comment what that's called.
when a building is well designed,
No, when the mechanics of the game are supportive of the logic in the world.
No, like real life logic.
Yeah.
oh well, that I don't remember what that's called, but
I don't know either,
that
but
was talking more about when when like the tutorial type mechanics are integrated seamlessly into the world, where it's like
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
diegetic or something.
Yes, there you go. I never
Where
heard
it's
that
like
before.
you know, like the tutorial, instead of being like press, you know, go here and do this, you like it, you know,
like look up with A.
all
or
of
shoot
the
with A.
like
Look up with A.
Look up with A. What the fuck?
well, like in
Controller sucks.
Control, like there's a tutorial, there's a combat tutorial,
Mm-hmm.
but instead of just being like, you know, in some games it's like Max Payne 1,
Mm-hmm.
there's a tutorial mission that's separate from the game, makes no sense.
Right.
In Control,
I played that after I beat the game.
it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
In Control, there's like a combat tutorial, and it has like a whole like thing that connects to the lore, where it's
Yeah.
like it's a ritual and like
Yeah.
And that's sick as hell. And probably pretty hard to do. You know,
yeah.
to make
I
your
mean, most
world
games
make
don't. I mean,
sense.
Well, they really
I don't know if you
had
guys
to-
remember. Sorry.
No, they clearly really had to figure out how to make that work because they already have the astral plane existing as a concept, but like for
Yeah.
them to also be like, this is now how you receive these abilities so we can work the tutorial and without it being this fucking weird pigeonhole
and having
thing
it feel believable
is
is
was
crazy.
fucking
Like, do you remember the boot camp level in Half-Life, like the training?
Oh my
Where
God.
it's like, where it's like, and it was very common in games to be like,
Yeah.
do you want to play the tutorial? And you do like a fucking 10, 15-minute tutorial mission, separate from the campaign, not story involved.
and
at
then it
all.
would just like drop you right back into where you
And I'd
were
be
in
like,
the
all right, now
campaign.
play the game.
I thought you guys both played Dishonored, right?
Yeah.
I thought
Not
they
a
did-
lot.
Well, if you played through it's just the opening scene where they kind of give you that same option where it's similar in the sense where it makes sense because it fits into the story because you come up to the princess or Lady Emily, you know what I mean? Like the girl who you're trying to save the whole game. And she's like, hey, Corvo, since you just got back, do you want to go play hide and seek real quick? And you can be like, yes or no.
Oh, that was
And if you're like,
badass.
no, she's like, all right. And you just
I think I
keep
only played
going.
Dishonored too, but that's cool.
And if you do say yes, then it's like, it teaches you all the hiding mechanics during that and like how to sprint and slide, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think I started seeing that happen in games until the like after 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's realistic because I can't think of any titles before that.
Because even Alan Wake, you know, that game's tutorial mission has so much lore and so much significance in it.
And
That's the
and
dream
it comes
sequence.
across
Yeah.
and it comes across 100% as just a bullshit tutorial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That you're like, this doesn't matter, and I'm never gonna have to think about this again. And then you're like, hey, remember that guy
God of Light.
that
gave
you
me
like
a
saw
gun?
for like 10 seconds?
Yeah.
And said a couple things to you.
You're like
He's got a book out.
sweating. I should have mentioned this earlier, but I just was reminded in this mansion. I found that I kept throwing grenades on accident a lot. Did you guys do this?
No.
So I customize my key bindings.
Oh, okay.
So that's probably why I didn't run into those issues. But I very seldom play with default key bindings for
Yeah.
mouse and keyboard because I
I
don't.
usually, yeah, I
Because
usually,
I'm weird.
I usually change it too, but I kept it
Changed
default.
mine too.
But it's the same button. You switch, you alternate because you have a sidearm, and that can either. I think it can be melee or your grenade.
Yes.
And I would always try to melee, but I'd accidentally have the grenade switch.
Oh, I didn't melee even once in this game.
Oh, did you have?
I did it to experiment with the environment.
Did you
not
have
usually to do damage?
weapon on switch on auto or no?
I turned that off.
Because if you go in the
think it was
settings, you can
on.
turn off auto switch weapon, and I'm sure if you pick up a grenade when you have melee equipped, it's just going to swap you to the grenade.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And in
So
case
that's
anyone
probably what it
doesn't
was.
know, like, you know, when you pick up a gun in Max Payne, it equips that gun right away.
Yeah.
You just walk over a gun.
Doesn't matter what it is either.
Yeah.
Which is why I like that it gives you the option to turn that off, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like that it doesn't.
Crazy it's not default.
It doesn't affect
That is
either.
surprising, yeah.
Because I was worried primarily that if you turn that off, when you run out of ammo for a gun, it would not auto switch you. But if you, even with that setting off, if you run out of ammo while you're using a
still
gun,
switches
it'll
to the
auto
next
switch
gun.
to the
Yeah.
next
Right.
weapon.
The only other issue that I found with this game was anytime I saved, getting back into the game, I shot. That happened
Oh,
to you guys?
I did that in Max Payne 1 as well.
No.
Every single time I clicked my save file, I'd shoot my gun.
Yeah.
So I just started hitting enter.
It didn't happen to me in the first game, but it did in the second game.
It
Every
happened to me
time
in
I
both of them.
saved, I'd blast one off when I got
How?
back in the game.
So you know when
So I would
because
just
you-
press F9 to load my save.
yeah, but so if you go and manually save rather than doing the F5 for quick save,
Yeah.
Oh.
so you hit escape.
I
you
only
go
quick save.
Yeah, so if you manual
Oh.
save, you will shoot. 'Cause
Why is enter? Or because you're clicking on your save?
if you click
I
on
think
your
so.
save,
Oh, that
it'll-
makes sense.
Yeah.
That's why I just switched to hitting enter,
That makes sense.
and then it didn't happen. But because it was happening to me the entirety of the first game, and I was like, doesn't really matter. You know
No,
what I
yeah.
mean? But there was a couple times where I was like, it alerted them to me. You know what I
That's what
mean?
I
And
was
you're like,
afraid of,
oh,
yeah.
cool.
But at the same time, I don't know how I'd prevent that in programming. Like,
Well, you can't take away people's ability to click, but you can give them two
Oh,
other
okay.
options to not do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Which they did. So
Yeah.
but I guess there's a lot of times where more so in the first game for sure.
Also,
But I accidentally throw a grenade. I'd be
I'm
like, "Fuck!"
only like guessing, but sometimes things like that happen because modern computers run at different speeds, and
Yes.
so like stuff where like, you
there's
know,
no input lag.
yeah, like a click might have registered differently back then
Yeah.
because
That's fair, yeah.
A lot of DOS games, they would run at the speed of the. Oh, I'm gonna mess this up. Of your processor speed. So like, with DOSBox and
I
stuff.
was like, this is all gonna be over my head.
Oh yeah, just think of it like this: like you would load up an old game, and if you had before they fixed it, if you had a modern fast-ass computer, that game would be running extremely fast, like literally speed.
So you
not,
set
like,
it to run
not
at the same
well.
speed as your GPU or whatever?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they had to. That's where emulation comes in, where it makes it seem like it's older hardware.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
otherwise the game would be like blazing.
But you'll still
fast.
find like small errors like that in some older games
Yeah.
playing on modern hardware. Even if they've been patched, you know,
Right.
there's certain things. But who knows? I'm just putting that out there as a possible.
So
thing.
it does make the game a 0 out of 10 for me.
Unfortunately.
0 to 10
So
wouldn't play.
as you battle through, you know, Lem is like sometimes on the other side of bulletproof doors, like Tanya's
Yeah.
like,
Like,
Max.
There's that
Payne."
It's
glass.
similar to how Nicole Horn was tormenting you throughout, you know, getting through the Acer building in the first
intercom and
game,
stuff.
being like, give up, you bitch.
Right.
Stop. You're going to die here.
Max said no.
So eventually, Mona, Max, Lem, and Woden are all in the same room at the same time. Am I missing a big part?
No, just because we got out of order a tiny bit because we went to when Mona opens the door, then we switched back to them making their way through the manor to that
Oh, I didn't
point.
say the
And
part.
you never meant, yeah, you
Mona
left that.
Mona turns on you.
yes.
She conks you in the head with a
Oh, she gives you a good old bonk.
yeah.
And you go, ah.
And then what happens?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, does that, then it leads to where we're headed?
I'm letting you guys
We're
take the reins on
suddenly-
this one. I do not remember the
I was
chronology.
like, I don't
of this.
totally remember. I remember that happens, and I remember the next big thing that happens. I
Yeah.
don't know if there's any gap in between.
I guess
those
I don't
two.
remember what happens exactly after you get hit.
So you get hit in the head, and then
You go,
the next, like, you get up or whatever.
Oh well,
And
no,
then-
that's. Now we're gonna look dumb, but isn't that what isn't Lem telling her like to kill you?
No, okay, so what
That's
happens,
later.
it just clicked for me, I remembered again. So she hits you like that, she points the gun at you, there's a camera looking at her. Woden's watching you through
That's
that
it.
camera from the panic room.
there you go.
She looks at the camera, looks back, and she's like, I knew I couldn't do it.
Yeah, she hesitates. Mm-hmm. Yep.
She's like, I knew I was going to hesitate, I
You
knew I
saved
wasn't going
us.
to be able to kill it.
That's right.
Fucking thank
Woden
God.
comes out and he's like,
Comes rolling out.
He wheels out.
Professor.
Stop!
and he feels bad about how it's going down.
He does. He feels bad for Max.
Regret from the former slime ball.
And then,
He's like, there's been enough senseless killing today.
but then Lem shows up. Like I said, all four of them are in the same place at the same time. And he's like, you know what, fuck this. And he shoots Mona.
Uh-huh.
He blasts her.
And you're like, no. And then Woden's like, that's it. Enough. This sucks.
He's like, me, I'm dying right now.
"That's right, it
I'm
stinks."
80 years old and dying of cancer. I'm going to attack this grown man with a gun.
So he gets up.
Overpower him.
He fucking gets shot in the gut almost immediately by Lem.
like he like grabs the gun for half a second. He's like, "Hey," and Led's just like,
Yeah.
like because he's a fucking 90-year-old barely alive man.
Yeah, but like,
Yeah. Also, don't close quarter someone with a handgun.
No.
You know.
You're not that guy on TikTok, all right?
dude, don't get me started. Fuck that guy.
He's my favorite.
I wish he was not serious. It'd be very funny if he wasn't.
So Lem's like, man, pretty crazy how this all turned out at Max, isn't it? And you're like,
Fuck you.
you son of a bitch, you killed the woman I love. And he's like, Max, have a blast. And he pulls. I don't know what he says. He says something dumb though, and he basically sets off an explosion, and escapes. Starts to escape, and then so he's basically set the whole manor to explode.
Blaze, yeah.
Well, because he sets the explosion, but the first explosion goes off, and both of you drop through the floor together.
Yeah,
That's right.
and then he goes out the back door.
And he's like, "Oh fuck, I lost my gun." Max gets up to reveal, "I landed on the gun," so he's got the gun. And this is another scene, like in the fucking police station or whatever, when you're running away from the people, where you're like, "I've got fucking 8 bullets in this Desert Eagle, and I'm gonna immediately run into a room with a guy with an MP5."
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So you're going through, and it's like there's gonna be another big explosion, and there's like the explosions are routed to happen all through the basement.
Yeah, you can see
It's
the
the
barrels.
first explosion that's about to happen.
Barrels. You've seen these barrels since you started
Yeah.
going through, and you didn't really know what they were.
I tried to shoot them, and they just start pissing.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah, I like
actually-
that.
And then mushrooms grow.
Yeah.
No, I did. It was cool. Like I didn't know what it was at first.
I was like, why isn't it blowing up? It's
got-
explosive.
It's got piss physics. Yeah.
But the thing that I did not understand at first was, Woden's like safe room also like falls down. It's like a little like shuttle, like
Yeah.
like a little trailer almost.
Right.
Standalone safe room.
This fucked me up.
And it's like I'm like I better get in the safe room to hide from the explosion.
Yeah.
And then the other guys, the enemies are like coming in as well, trying to get in there. I was like, I kept dying. I was like, why am I dying? I'm in the safe room. I was like, oh, you need to shut the door.
You need to shut the
That
door.
like, and for me, like,
I died
didn't
like
even
8 times because I
What-
didn't know what the fuck
What
to do.
turned me on to go into the safe room is those 2 enemies that come in. They go, "Oh, he's gonna blow up the other fucking bombs. We better get in the panic room."
Right.
And then I chased them into there, and then blew up. And I was like, "Why did I die? I was in there." And then had the same thought where I was like, "I think I saw a button."
I did not see the button.
the when I finally got it, sorry, what?
The button is the button is if as you walk in, it looks like an elevator almost. It's on the right hand side.
Yeah, you won't see it.
Yeah, like it's not like right ahead, like as you open the door. So it's not hidden, but I didn't look over there.
But I got in there, shut the door, and the guys couldn't get in, and they blew up, and it was very satisfying.
and they said, "Oh,
And this part's kind of difficult though, as you're going through because you're fighting explosions. If you stay in one room for too long, you
It is
die.
kind
Get
of like
blasted,
There's
you
like
can't slow down.
There's like shelves and stuff all around. You gotta like try to shoot through and get past. There's like high level enemies, but eventually you do catch up with Lem.
This is when he blows up the stairs, right? And you have to take the fucking handicap.
Oh my God, yeah.
That was so funny too because I loved everything about that quick sequence because it was like, not only is he at the top of the stairs, like occasionally popping out to shoot you, but then you finally get the thing to start coming down, and then he gets behind the locker and pulls the locker along, and then you see him just reach his hand out to bring the thing back up. He hits it, and it brings him back up, and you hit it again, and I just thought that was such a funny little
was a
like,
very
sequence.
like little boys.
It was very,
fighting
yeah,
kind of
exactly. It was
moment.
like 2
In
friends
case
who were like, "Hey,
anyone-
fuck you, no, fuck you."
If anyone can't see the visual, because I'll put it up here, it's it's a chairlift.
Yes, for
Yeah.
like that you'd see in a home.
Yeah,
Probably
and it's
for
a
Woden,
pretty big stairwell, and so
Yeah.
it's like
You take a minute going up.
Yeah.
It's like,
It was
you're just like,
slow.
that's a very hard part.
That was
Because
hard.
his gun is powerful.
Yeah.
He can take you out in like 2 or 3 hits.
It's like it's like this. Oh, it's like the stairway in the Acer Tower. Where Nicole Horn is at the top. You remember that?
I do remember
it was
that.
towards the end, and the door flies open, and she blasts you and throws some grenades. And
Yeah.
you just have to
a lot of parallels there.
move your ass down. Yeah.
So when you do finally, he hits a dead end. He's up on top of like a dome thing.
it's a really wild looking thing.
Yeah.
That, like,
I don't really understand what the fuck this structure is.
I believe
in reality.
So like
what
I
is
think
this?
in reality, like the thing he's standing on initially is like a thing that's in there as like an earthquake You know what I mean? Like it helps prevent crumbling of structures during earthquakes because it's attached to suspension things, and I imagine it gives a little bit of wiggle room or something or counterbalance in a building.
All right.
That's my entirely uninformed, actually no clue of what that is, opinion on what it is.
I just looked it up on the Max Payne 2 wiki.
Thank
It's
God.
the platform at the top of the manor.
Okay.
So I did
so
look up the
matter-of-factly.
visual of it, and so it looks like he's like atop of like a domed greenhouse sort of thing. It's like a crazy
It
like
does look like a greenhouse.
green there's like green like metal and like glass.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And so there's but it's like frosted glass. It's all
Yeah.
like white.
So that does make sense.
And then he's on top of it.
Maybe it's just an accent for like the top of a very beautiful.
Right, so
expensive
maybe it's like
building.
a you know not like a rotunda, but like you know what I mean, some
I
sort
bet
of like
you it's the counterbalance for the spike on top of the building.
right.
there's
But
such
what is he on?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the thing he's on is the counterbalance because you know there's
But
the spike
but he's
above
on
him.
a dome. He's on top of a dome.
Yeah,
What
on
is
like a little
at
service
the top of the
platform.
building? So what's underneath that dome? Why is there a dome?
Oh, I've got no fucking.
Right.
Oh well, that's.
I'm assuming it's like a glass ceiling.
It's the lobby. Underneath that is the lobby.
Right. Does the lobby have like a dome ceiling?
Maybe you just look.
I don't
up and it's
remember.
Like the
I don't know.
Sistine Chapel or
If
some
someone
shit.
in the comments knows, because like it just makes sense. Yeah, then there is a spike, and that's what you're talking about. The tension rods and stuff hold that spike up.
Yeah.
So essentially, what you gotta do, he doesn't really want to be here.
Your cat looks a lot different than the last time we saw him on camera.
Well,
He's growing rapidly.
He's like a different color.
Oh.
It's smaller, I think.
I missed the.
yes, my other cat is dead.
Oh, that sucks. That's my first time hearing about that. Hey, buddy. It's okay. You got another one. This is terrible.
God.
Matt and
Jesus
I,
Christ.
I'm very sensitive to this outside of camera. We're just making morbid jokes.
So, thanks, Sluggo.
Later,
So,
buddy.
essentially, Vlad, and he says, "Have no fear, Vlad is here." And it's like such a fucking cornball. And the whole time he's
You
like
fucking
waxing
buster.
poetic about fate and killing Max and stuff.
know.
And
So the mechanics of this fight, though.
very similar to the first battle.
Yeah.
In
which-
Max Payne.
Which,
you
thank
know?
God, because I.
In the first Max Payne, like the boss battle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you need to like
picked it
precision
up
shoot a
pretty
fucking
quick.
thing. So
I
there's
only
like
think I picked it up because of the remembering how to do the first.
Yeah.
there's like dowels
Mm-hmm.
holding up these tension rods, and the dowels are just like in these holes. You need to shoot the corner of the dowel so it pops out of the hole.
Yeah.
To blast it out, yeah.
And it's like, really? That seems like a very faulty
So
structure.
you're like, you're not using nuts and bolts up here? Like, what are you
Like,
doing?
know,
I was
welding.
They
curious.
look like wooden dowels.
It literally, yeah, it's like they're just
Maybe
they're just
welded in
little rods
place.
shoved through. But I was curious too. I was like, just something that I didn't do, but like a mechanic. You can watch if you shoot it from the left side. You can watch it like feed out to the right side. If you were to go around and shoot it from the right side, would you knock it in
tell.
the other direction? I couldn't.
Yes.
Yeah.
tell.
Oh, okay. So it was like you had to.
You have
That's
to
pretty
keep
cool.
shooting. Because the thing is, you have to keep going around. You know, there's
You
like
can't really
a
stop
track
moving.
and kind of go around. So circles. Lem's gonna keep throwing grenades at you.
Yeah, he has an endless supply of grenades that first destroy. They destroy that little greenhouse windows, but then it also begins to destroy the ground. So you have
Right.
to you have to watch your footing to not fall down to your death.
Yep.
And he's just lobbing them while it,
And,
like
and so once you smash that out of there, a platform falls on him.
Yeah, big old spike
he's not
comes
dead.
down. He goes, "Oh,
At
miss
first.
me, pussy."
yeah.
Then you just fucking shoot him.
Yeah, that was if I can be honest, super anticlimactic.
Right, because he takes like, I don't know, 10 hits maybe or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
it's
do-
like it was like fighting a regular guy, kind of.
Right, which in one sense I appreciate.
He is just a guy. Yeah.
You know, he's... I don't know. Is he gonna like take like a super drug and be like, I have the invincibility
I
vial?
hear you,
Yeah.
but I mean at the same time, it's like all I had to do was like, the moment I realized I had to shoot him, I started shooting him, and then it was over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Again, Remedy is not very good at boss battles.
no, they're not.
But at the same time,
I don't know how you could.
What
because
could
they're-
you do?
They're kind of realistic.
you, 'cause
like
Like,
because
they're
any
realistic
boss in a
worlds.
game is in general is an unrealistic, like it's a mech.
I thought
It's
Alan
a
Wake
super armor or
Alan Wake did a good job. I thought with the boss battle at the end, where you just kind of you fight the Taken version of like every single friend you've made.
Oh,
No,
that
that's
was-
in the DLC.
That's, yeah.
That is a DLC. So that's not
And even that's better than the boss of the actual game,
just
which
the
is
tornado, right?
Just
have to
tornado. You just need to
hop-
like shine the light on the tornado.
Yeah.
And that
Which is more of like
that boss battle is better than the one where you just need to fight the fucking TV.
Yeah,
Or
the wall
of TVs.
Yeah. Yeah, they've progressively gotten better, but I don't know what I would do in a world that's semi-grounded in reality where it's just real people shooting guns at each other.
usually
What else
they
you do? You have to fuck with the
Body
environment.
armor.
body
more
armor or like
enemies.
usually generally
but
what it
dude,
is
like-
it's either waves or they do something like I thought Max Payne 1 was going to take the helicopter in a different direction.
I thought I was going to fight the helicopter.
Because
Yeah.
that
hit
is
the
the thing
fuel
that they
tank or
would do.
something?
That's how you take it and be like, this is a regular person, but it's way harder to kill him because
Okay.
now they're in this armored flying
I'm on board for this.
death machine.
I was gonna say body armor is like, because you get shot even with body armor, you're going down.
Right.
But maybe not if you're a military guy or something.
I'm excited for you guys to play Quantum Break because I feel like the Quantum Break final boss battle is like a direct homage to the Lum boss battle, and it's like
okay.
I don't know, structurally it's like so similar. I played Quantum Break first, and so when I played Max Payne 2, I was like, oh man, I feel like I've been
Right.
here before.
It's like very I think that's a cool thing that they do. It's what's weird to me about the mechanics of the boss fights in Max Payne 1 and 2 is that those mechanics are not introduced to you before them.
yeah.
There's the wedge you need to shoot out from under a truck.
Okay, in Max
that's
Payne 1, yes.
There's
yes,
like
fair.
and I think that's it. That's like the only time you have to like precision shoot something from afar.
Yeah.
So
but I don't
maybe-
believe it happens in Max Payne 2, which I mean, the assumption is you played the first game if you're playing the second one a lot of the time.
Almost like one
Right,
big
but
game.
also
So you have that-
I think part of the boss battle is figure it out.
Yeah, no, fair.
The puzzle of like
That-
how do I fight this guy?
Yeah.
Maybe the experience of the boss fight wasn't the challenge or what you're actually doing, but just like I got to figure out how to do this because it's very memorable to me. I'm gonna always remember that boss fight.
Yeah.
But like the boss fights in the first game, I just shot a guy, and then the last boss fight you have to do
And it works, but it's like it's very strange. It's a very strange mechanic.
Yeah.
And again,
I also
it's
feel
like
like-
tension rods or tension cables.
Yeah.
Gotta loosen the cables.
I do think you lose a little bit. I don't know. I didn't really care to see him die. I kind of just wanted Vlad to be a good guy.
So did he.
But he said
Yeah.
it's not his nature.
But also, that's weird though, because he says that, but then at the end as he's dying, after you shoot him, he's like, I thought I was the good guy. I thought I was going to come out the good guy. Which admittedly could be like fucking winners write history or whatever. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like he could make it out. If once he's on top, he could make people think he got there wherever he wants them to.
Right, and who's to say what he would do once he had all that power?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, because who was he battling against? Alfred Woden, who was like the leader of a shady, like
Illuminati.
secret society, and then Gagniti, who's just like a fucking abusive gangster.
Yeah. And it seems like the trope of Max Payne in the first and the second one where it's like what's going on with him is something having to do with a woman. Whether it's he's mad that his, you know what I mean? He's pretty pissed his wife got murdered. Or like
really
he's
mad
in love
about
with
that.
Mona, you know
He's
what I mean?
broken up over it, yeah.
Yeah, he's a little
And there's a
upset.
lot of
I've
sequences-
seen him more upset, but
In the even in the comics, just to add to your point, in the comics that you read that are between Max 2 and 3, there's a line where he's like, "There was again another event in my life that began with a woman." Like it's always you're right.
That's what he
everything-
says at the start of the game when the lady gets shot, the hostage gets shot in the warehouse.
Yes, you're right.
Another woman died on my watch. But it's like, it's more in the sense that like, I don't think they say it much more clearly in the first game. Max Payne does not care about the bigger picture.
No.
Max Payne did not care that Valkyr was like invading the streets, you know what I mean? Max Payne did not care that this Illuminati might be doing sketchy shit. In fact, when he found the computer with all the info, he was like, I can't read any more of this. I'm not
he's
going to
like-
do it.
This is not for me. I don't care about the greater reaching aspects of this.
Right.
Little cat.
You want a little bit of beer? Want a Mick Ultra there,
Little
Sluggo?
Mickey. Is he old enough to have a Mick? Ultra?
No, he's only 7 months.
Oh, okay.
But no, but he doesn't, and especially in this one, I think it's
So next month it'll be fine.
you might be able to. You could have your own internal debate of, well, was Vlad the good guy? Was Max doing the right thing? Max doesn't care. Max is just trying to make it through.
You know,
Yeah.
Max
Kind of hoping he doesn't.
he has he's not really a good guy or a bad guy. He's
No.
purely, motivated by selfishness. Not to say
It's
like
self-preservation.
it's not like, he's not hurting others. I mean, he is. He's killing a lot of people.
He's murdering people.
But like he's not like he's not ever pushed by a greater sense of justice.
Yes, but there's also never like the intent behind what he's doing is never really malice. Either.
No, never.
You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
I guess self-preservation is the best way to put it. But I think you could argue he is a bad guy if you were to, as an outsider.
oh, if you go at it from, I am a human being in the real world reality.
Yeah.
If somebody was doing this,
Maniac cop.
yeah, and you were like, well, I get where he's coming from because his wife died, but like you kind of went overboard, right? You'd be like, that's not a great guy.
Sounds like this guy had a psychotic break and never came back.
yeah,
Killed
like that's
several hundred people. Granted,
Yeah.
some of them were bad guys, but even still, did the bad guys deserve to die? Maybe.
Well, because then the argument is that, we can get into a philosophical debate about crimes of necessity versus crimes of, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Crimes of passion.
yeah. Like,
It's funny to me that Gognitti ended up being, and Lem ended up being the last remaining of the, like, crime organizations that we're aware of, because if it seems like Vlad and Lem, he's like top tier. This guy is like serious shit. He's a strong guy. He's got a strong family. Like, he's a smart guy. But Gognitti seems like such a buffoon.
I think
like,
that's-
it seems like he was like
Yeah.
the weakest link. And
yeah, but I
somehow
think he
ended up-
just, like, he's like a cockroach. Where in
Yeah.
the first game is just, like you mentioned, that all the...
There's a lot of
all
cute
the,
cat action going on.
Yeah,
in this
sorry if
show.
we seem distracted.
okay.
There's a kitten fucking with laundry.
It's okay. We've had a lot of serious Max Payne shit.
But, Gagnati's only really in power because of the vacuum that was created.
It's like Gagnotti.
I don't know how to fucking say
That's,
his name.
I think that's the first time we've had that one.
Gagnati?
Grognat.
Gagnetti?
Gognitti.
Gognitti?
That's how I say it, but it might be Gog.
They say Gognitti and Gogniti.
Yeah.
Gognitti?
I
Whatever.
like
Gognitti.
Gognotti.
I like
Fucking, what's
Gognitti.
his first name?
Vinny.
So Vinny. Vinny's only in power because of the vacuum that was created from Max murdering all the other people. And while Lem is also somewhat in that position, it seems like Lem was... While Vinny fell into place, it seemed like
Right.
Lem was on that track.
One was
sure.
hustling.
That's
He
exactly.
would have
Lem
gotten
was...
there regardless, yeah.
He
So it's
really
funny
believed
that
in
they-
hashtag the grind. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like Lem is...
True.
So it seems like... And that's why inevitably I think Lem came out on top over the two of them.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, one of them's an actual person with drive. You know what I mean? We've got drive. We've got power.
We
put it
stay
to work.
hungry.
We devour. That's Lem.
Yeah.
But
Vinny's like,
Gagnitti is
he's scared.
Yeah, he's just an opportunist
afraid.
punk.
no, yeah, exactly, and like that's proven by
He's
like
proven
the-
himself to be a coward in every situation you find him in.
and they just try to like push that even more home with like the message on his answering machine from the prostitute that's like, hey, don't beat the fuck out of me. What the hell? Playing cops and robbers.
So,
a hot prostitute.
at the end of the game,
Hot pros.
everyone's dead except for Max.
Max is dead.
If you beat the
Mona's
game on a
dead.
higher difficulty level, Mona lives.
She lived.
Oh, yeah?
That's non-canonical, though.
Oh, that's non-canon?
No, really?
Apparently.
Shit.
Fuck.
Well, I guess I haven't found that
I mean,
out
hey.
yet, but...
She got shot in the head and made
She-
it through that one.
Mona, what's her last name?
Mona
Sachs has died a lot of times. So maybe it's finally time. They didn't intend for her to, it seems like while they did leave it open in the elevator scene in the first game, it seems like they never intended for her to actually...
I think the key to remember that Matt brought up is that they didn't intend on making a second game.
Yeah.
So I think that they meant for you to go, is she dead or not? And not ever know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Apparently, the true story is, initially, her death was definitive and graphic.
Oh.
And one of the people working on the game was like, that sucks, that's a bummer. So, as a compromise, Sam Lake wrote it that she has an ambiguous fate.
Right.
She in the original cut, she gets blasted and she falls back into the elevator, slumps down on the floor, and her neck is right at the separator between where the elevator and floor
Oh,
is.
Jesus.
The door closes and decapitates her, and then her body gets
Yeah, probably.
shoots blood out.
Oh, that was like, were you serious?
Sam Lake sent it to me. Yeah, it was.
Oh,
it was
it's like,
cool.
I don't know what the fuck. I can't tell.
He talks to me.
I can. I'm like, you guys you've watched so many fucking interviews I don't
We
even
have,
know
yeah.
about and read so many goddamn like
Hey,
comic books.
that could have been. That could have been what the original.
I'm assuming that she was just brutally shot.
Oh,
She was probably shot more than one time.
he's gonna puke.
I don't think he's going to puke. And,
No, he's trying to eat
And
something else
please,
before.
the cat is being a cat, and we're nearing the end of our discussion.
Yeah. And please.
Max Payne gets carted away. As you said earlier, he had like a dream about his wife, and it was all right.
Yeah.
He comes to terms with everything that's happened, he finds momentary peace.
for that, and maybe it's because he thinks he's dying. You know, what I mean, maybe it's
Yeah.
like maybe he
think
thinks
that's the
this is
only thing
maybe he thinks like they're gonna. I made it out of this last one. I don't have an ace in a hole on this one.
Yeah.
Because the
Let's-
last
No, he
time
doesn't have
there's
Woden
no
help
Woden,
him out.
and he hasn't made any new connection. Everybody's dead.
And
Yeah, while
Jim
the-
Rivera did live though. You can
Yes.
you might assume he was dead. You do see him get shot, but there is like an
And you wouldn't.
interactable item where you can see
Yeah.
on a monitor he's having surgery and he lived.
And there's also the news segment. It's the
What?
only TV.
Do you
that,
not believe me?
I believe you.
So
I
for-
just have played the third game.
the
Well,
most part,
we're talking
I've-
about the end of Max Payne 2.
Yeah.
like 10 years passed, but he could have just had a fucking heart attack by then. But anyways, so I don't give a shit. Don't
That's
stop looking at
exactly
me.
what happened.
That's exactly what happened. I was like, I don't know. He's an old fucker popping pain pills all goddamn
exactly
day
what
and
happens.
screaming at everybody. Heart's
Yeah.
gonna explode.
But even still,
But,
him being dead, maybe not.
No, but it's the only TV that I found where anytime a TV is playing something in this game, it's on when you enter the room. You know what I mean? You don't turn on that TV.
That's true. Yeah.
You walk into Woden's office with like his desk is like fucked up or
You
whatever.
did have to activate
and there's a big screen TV in there, and if you interact with it and turn it on, it starts the New York news station or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Being like, Deputy Chief of Police Jim Rivera shot and wounded, but in stable condition now. The fucking, you know what I mean? Whatever.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was cool. Where because it is that like you. It's another thing where you're like, it's all about what you put into it. Because it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter if Jim Rivera is dead or not.
It's
Not a
nice to
big
know.
character, you know what I mean? I wish they had done more with Woden, I'll be honest with you, because I thought he was
Yeah.
going to be a way bigger deal.
I'd like to know what
And then
else
he made it
he's
into
got his
about
hands on.
3 scenes,
Yeah.
and then just gets shot in the belly twice after, like, you're not even learning what his motivations were.
Yeah.
I wish I knew more about like why was he training Lem? Like how did he
Yeah.
hook up with him? Like how like you can just get into the inner circle like that?
Yeah.
Like,
Also, it seems like he was there was some stuff like I think an answering machine message that you can listen to at the mansion at Woden's mansion from Vladimir Lem, where he says something like,
Yeah.
"You were never there. You never accepted me as your child." There's like a weird father son.
Yeah,
Because
he's
him
like-
and Mona both have a message on there. Mona's
Yes.
like, Woden, he's on his, Lem's coming to kill you right now.
Yeah.
You got to do something, you know.
But I think he does say like would it have been like so crazy if you just say Vlad, my son, I love you or something like
yeah,
it's
So
like
there's-
whoa he's nuts.
which clearly gives you insight into Vlad's like whatever internal.
I mean, it could also, like,
structure.
for all we know, there's a deeper thing where he is actually Woden's son. You know what I
maybe,
mean?
yeah,
For all we
fuck
fucking
it.
know. And it's just, you know, or it's just, he's looks at him as a father figure and he's
took him under his
projecting
wing,
a
yeah.
lot on
Yeah.
him, you know.
So yeah, I guess the story of
I know, I was like, fuck. My chest itched.
the story of Max Payne is that it just seems like everything that he loves ends up dying, and he takes the responsibility for its death.
And because
That's incredibly profound and really fucking sad for like
they-
a kind of goofball, cheesy at times story. Like it's real serious. Like this is a real. he's
they
not a real
touched on
guy,
that
but he's
for a
real
second
guy.
at like in the second game, throughout that last sequence, kind of when the manor and right beforehand, where it is your fault though, kind of, because Mona more than once goes, "This isn't your thing. You don't have to do this.
Yeah.
You can just go home and lay down in your bed and forget that this is happening."
That's he does.
And instead, he insists on going, and then Woden dies, Mona dies,
His
and
involvement-
Lem dies. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
fucking suddenly, everybody's dead. And like, who knows that Mona would have died if she wasn't trying to protect you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who knows if Woden would have died if he wasn't, you know what I mean, reacting to what was going on, you know, already.
He had terminal cancer, so.
Well, who knows if Woden
Right,
would
but
have
he
gotten
wouldn't
shot
have been
twice in the
murdered.
gut, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
by Lem. Like, yes, he would have, you're right.
He was on
Maybe
his
he wouldn't
way
have been
out.
murdered in cold blood.
But yeah, so that's an interesting thing because
Yeah.
unless there's things that we find out in the third game about more so about Max's family's death, that
No,
didn't seem to be
even
his.
that-
That wasn't really.
You can even get down to that where it's like, yes, his wife and kid died.
Mm-hmm.
You can just do what a normal human would do, though, and grieve, try to move on with your life, or kill yourself, or get addicted to drugs, or become an alcoholic. You know what I mean?
He chose
or
all the
go-
above.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's where I'm at. Like, but he instead
But
he was
also
like
massacre.
D. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, he's like, I'll kill
Uh-huh.
everyone.
So it's all it is.
So
like,
it is kind of his fault at the same time.
the game's very heavy though. The theme, and especially in this one when he's talking to Lemon stuff, where it's like the theme of choices are everything.
Right.
The choices you make shape what's happening. And so,
He could have just gone home.
whereas like when you come across the other people like Lem or like Ignati, it's not, you know what I mean? They're always like, Lem not as much, but the other guys, and like Punchinello, it's like, it's not their fault. You know what I mean? Things have gone wrong. Other people fucked up. How'd you fuck up and let him get here? You know what I mean? Whereas like with Max and Lem, that seems to be, and mostly with Max, that he accepts like, I'm the reason this is happening.
Yeah.
I'm only here because I came here. You know what I mean?
It almost seems like he's comfortable in that role of the catalyst.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. Well, I think that we covered pretty much everything. Are there any closing thoughts? I mean, that was that's a good statement, but is there anything else you want to just get out before we close this thing off? Before we pinch it off?
Before we drop this one off at the pool?
Good game.
I hope there's no remake.
I really don't want them to remaster these games because they coming into it, I was anticipating. I've played fucking the original Fallouts. I've played old games.
Yeah.
And sometimes they really fucking don't hold up at all.
Yeah.
You know
You need to get into a very specific mindset.
And then read
Yeah.
a 10-page book, like a 10-page handbook on how to do everything. You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Can be great.
Yeah.
But this is not one of those games. It just works.
This game just holds up.
Yeah.
Like both of them do. They just hold up. They're just still
Yeah.
fun. The mechanics are still fun. The gameplay's fun.
Does
it's
it feel
compelling.
like a brand new game? No.
No,
But, like,
obviously, but it doesn't matter.
it's like chess.
It's like playing
You know
through
what I mean?
Fear. Like if you've
Yeah.
played through the game Fear before, you go, this feels old. This feels like the, you know what I mean, like the early days of FPSs. But it's still a great game, and you still have fun with it. And I'm sure they've done a remaster of Fear. I don't know, but I wouldn't want one.
Just go play Halo.
Yeah.
Still
No,
good.
it's been coming up a lot, and then recently, at the time of making this video, it's late December 2021. In some countries, the game has been delisted from Steam, which is what happened
to Alan Wake.
right before
GTA.
GTA?
Yes,
Okay.
Rockstar took down the GTA original games, delisted them, and to give people the definitive edition, which was totally botched.
Yeah.
And they did eventually rescind that and go, hey, sorry, we'll put the originals back up, and we're gonna fix the new one.
They fucking took them out of your library. Took them out of my goddamn library and
What?
put the definitive
Really?
editions in. Because I own
fuck?
every GTA game, and they swapped out. Like I had to re-download the game suddenly.
That sucks. I didn't
Like
know
they were
that
no
happened.
longer
I didn't know
downloaded.
they
I had to
could do that.
re-download. I don't fucking know.
Well,
You can do
it's all
whatever you
through
want.
like the Rockstar launcher and shit.
Oh.
Yeah,
But they took down
and-
like the any third-party listings and shit. So it's like,
called,
so
like, the-
people are like worried that like, oh no, is Max Payne delisted? Because I'm sure it's just some rights thing though. I don't think they're gonna fucking
What's the-
remaster it.
what's
I
that?
just hope not.
I hope not as well. What's the Rockstar client called? It's like
Rockstar Game Launcher.
no,
Yeah.
isn't it called like the?
It's called the Rockstar Game
the
Launcher.
Lounge or something.
Oh well, you have the Rockstar like the social club.
Yeah, I was
They
just
call
like,
it the social club.
man, why is everything like party? I have also seen like a lot of fan renders of like Max Payne and
Max Payne 4K with RTX.
Like, do we want
Unreal.
like a Black Mesa? You know
No,
what I mean? Do you guys remember Black Mesa? What a
I heard
botched.
it did not go well.
some
was-
people like it. I don't know how. It sucks.
It was perfectly like it was functional. You know what I mean? But it really like they were like, we're gonna put in all brand new voice acting. We're doing ourselves, and we're remaking all of the character models. And what you could have done is go, these characters from Half-Life 1 are in Half-Life 2. So I could model them after
them
the
back.
character models from Half-Life 2, and instead they didn't. It was a shit show. Black Mesa was a shit show.
I think they did improve on Zen. What's the alien levels at the end? When you go to a different planet, when you go to the alien
I can't
planet,
remember what that's called though.
I think it's called Zen.
Yeah.
I do think they improved on that.
That's come.
That's
well.
the worst part of Half-Life. I think they improved on that. Everything else was just kind of like, oh, damn.
It was just like Half-Life's another one of those games where I'm like, if you go into it with the mindset of this is the game I'm playing,
Yeah,
then you're gonna have fun with
it's
it.
an incredible game.
It's super good. Super
One of the
fucking
greatest games ever made. Did not need a half-assed.
good. Yeah. A half-lifed.
Yeah.
Remaster.
So anyway, I really I hope not. We'll cover Max Payne 3 eventually, and then we'll move on to Quantum Break in the near future, and then we'll be done with Remedy until
Max
Alan
Payne
Wake.
2 or
Alan Wake 2.
when Max
Yeah,
Payne
or
2
in
comes out.
yeah. They-
Or one of the other 6 games they have in their pipeline right now.
Right.
I really want to try. I might play Death Rally, so maybe we'll see a review of that, or maybe if you want to.
I might try their multiplayer game whenever they release that.
Oh yeah, I think I definitely would do that. And then yeah, if anyone hasn't played Death Rally, the OG Death Rally,
It's free on Steam.
it's free on Steam.
Oh,
and,
okay, fuck.
the remake is like $2 or $3.
Yeah. It's not just right now. It's Death Rally. We used to be free on the Remedy. They just on their website they just put it out for free, but then it switched over to Steam. So yeah.
And if you enjoyed this video, go check out the channel because we got a bunch of other videos talking about Remedy games, releases, and other games that we like.
We have over how many hours of Remedy content, Matt?
Over 24 at this point.
Oh my God. Is that
Dedicated,
including this
make a day of it.
But also, I mean, we cover other genres and other franchises too.
Yeah, there's other,
and there's a lot of stuff that I'm excited to get into in 2022. Well, this is coming out in 2022, but we're not
right now.
We're not there.
Yeah, I'm excited to explore other games, other franchises, and talk about other experiences with you guys in this series. I think that it's interesting to hear other perspectives on a game that rules.
Hell yeah.
That's why we're trying Fortnite out as our next game.
Yeah.
And then right after that, Minecraft.
Yes!
I've been hearing good things about it.
I've heard good things about Minecraft. Small game, indie developer.
I think so.
Yeah, technically.
It's like,
All right, somebody say the things. You?
What things? All the things we just said?
No, you didn't tell them to do any of the things.
Also, hop on down here, subscribe to this channel, baby, because we need them. We're trying to hit, as many as we can. Really, there's no
what we
limit.
want.
There's no caps.
no
We're trying to get as
ceiling.
many subs as we can.
We're
So
some
just
no limit soldiers.
tell all your friends. Share this wherever you want with your fucking stupid nerd friends. I should probably stop insulting the fans.
They like it.
Change your diaper, you little piss baby
Yeah,
idiot. And
Yeah. Leave a comment. Tell us, what have you been playing lately? What did you think about this? Did you like Max Payne? Did you fucking play this game?
yeah, do you know what that structure was that you fought Lem on top
Can you
of?
tell us? Because it's killing me.
And should they remake it?
No.
We already answered that question. Don't
right.
tell us. I don't want
If
to
you
hear your
think
opinion about the
they
remake.
should, then you're a fake gamer and you do not belong on this channel.
Also, for all you people that played Max Payne 2 with the Max Payne Sam Lake user-made mod, please stand in solidarity with your fellow brother. All right, identify yourselves.
Terrible.
Goodbye.
Terrible, terrible thing to do.
Bye.